Greetings, Professor. Nothing to report. Besides some spoilers and some adult language. Have a nice day.
Part 3. Ebon Tide. Harpstring Moon. Fembly Embly Assembly. It is the year 2020, and all of Fodlan is consumed by war. Even while nobles and commoners alike shelter indoors to avoid the plague, Edelgard and Dimitri-stans meet on the field of battle to cancel their rivals. Meanwhile, the Golden Deer take advantage of Bleagle and Blyon's distraction to extend their meme empire across all websites of the fandom. In this time of strife, 5 podcasters come together from all sides and attempt at long last to bring peace to these tortured lands.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a super special episode of the R Anime Podcast, brought to you by Tokyo Podfathers. Today we're talking about everyone's favorite weeb-adjacent game, Fire Emblem Three Houses. Yay! We're finally doing it. Okay.
Fembly Embly, 3 Hemblies.
Yes, that's what we love to call it.
This is the Fembly Embly Assembly.
The Fembly Embly Assembly.
Fembly Embly Assembly.
Thrembly Hemply Assembly.
So I'm brought today is brought to you by a special group. We have Sinris and Mia joining us on the same mic. How are you guys doing?
Hi.
I am Ferdinand von Eyre.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I was wondering who was going to take that intro, and I was going to try and do it, but it's already gone.
Ugh. Battle.
Can I go home now?
Oh no.
Bernadetta.
No more thorns on this rose. That's stuck in my head forever. Good. Oh my god. We're also brought to you by Tactician Jack.
Hi.
Which we just learned that your username is actually Fire Emblem related, so this is in the Fates.
Fire Emblem Awakening.
Is it in the Fire Emblem Fates?
Mad respect.
I didn't hear that. Like, legit didn't hear that.
Oh,
I'm also going to say pretend I didn't hear it because you're talking about Fates. So.
And we're also brought to... Why do I keep saying brought incorrectly? Please cut this out. We also have the most amazing Colonel Panic. How are you doing?
Manuela is my favorite flavor of clam.
I was about to introduce you as the only fan of cereal, but that works better too.
No, I am also a cereal stan. I'm there in the cereal club.
I think Panic has a different reason for liking him than you do, but we will get into that.
Oh, maybe we have the same one.
Okay.
I guess we'll get to that.
We will get to that.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, so this is a very, wide variety of topics that we have to discuss, but overall, let's just start with what is Fire Emblem, and is this your first Fire Emblem game? I'm shocking. I didn't introduce myself. I'm shocking. Thank you.
Not Ferdinand von Eyre.
It's never,
not Ferdinand von Eyre.
It's
Thank
never
you,
addressed in this game, but what is a Fire Emblem? Why are they all called that?
Funny you should ask.
I can explain that. The first Fire Emblem, Shadow Dragon and something about light. But anyways, there's a literal Fire Emblem.
Literally the title.
It's like a little shield thing, and it's got little orbs in it, and that is the Fire Emblem. Okay. What it does, it's like magic shit.
Yeah, in
And
Fire Emblem.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say in Binding Blade, which is the 6th one, which has Roy in it, for all you Smashers out there. Fire Emblem is a thing that they have to get from Burn, which is sort of like the bad guy coded kingdom, and it's like a crest that you put in. It's like a seal that you. It's basically like a key to the door of like the tomb where the Binding Blade is kept, which is like the big fancy sword that Roy gets and absolutely breaks the entire game.
How many synonyms for emblem can they fit into the lore?
And technically,
sigils and crests.
Of Flames.
Yes,
Fire Flames is a Fire Emblem. So
it's
Violet has the Fire.
Yeah,
it's true.
They are the Fire Emblem.
You're my Fire Emblem.
Aww.
Come on, baby, light my Fire Emblem.
The real Fire Emblem was the friends we made along the way.
Yes.
Well, that but unironically.
Yes.
You play the game for the supports.
It's true.
Yeah, so I mean, this is my first Fire Emblem game, so it's been a pretty interesting ride because I've heard about this series for so long, but this is the first time I jumped right into it for that waifu husbando farming, and ended up liking, the plot and the lore and all that stuff along the way as well. But you guys have mentioned that it's very different from other Fire Emblem games. Can you guys go into that a bit?
Well, first of all, all Fire Emblem games, you don't really make choices, like story choices.
The choices make you?
Route. It's like one route.
Oh, no.
Like, imagine if Azure Moon was the whole game.
Yeah, it's like, I would argue that you don't really make choices in this game either.
That's getting it really deep. That's getting quite deep.
Okay. But okay, I'm just saying the point is, like, there's no routes. You just get one route.
All right, I guess you make one big choice.
Except for Fates. Fire Emblem Fates had 3 routes, but that was kind of weird.
Not good.
So let's just not talk about that.
I will say that 7 had 3 routes technically.
Did it?
7 is the one that has you've got 3 lords similarly to this one.
Oh.
You've got Hector, Eliwood, and Lyn, and the game starts on the Lyn route where you get Lyn's backstory, and then there's like a small time skip after Lyn like ascends to the throne of her like respective small country. And then, like, the 3 lords come together. Then it's, like, the Eliwood route. And then after that, you can replay the game from Hector's perspective.
They have 3 lords.
But the roots...
3 lords.
The roots don't, like, really...
Bladelgard, Blimitri.
It's okay. The roots don't, like... I mean, the thing is, the roots don't really change anything, like, very, very drastically, unlike this one. And it's like, yeah, Silver Snow and Verdant Wind are kind of the same. And, like, yeah, Azure Moon and Verdant Wind kind of do a similar trajectory. But, like, the content of each route of these is, like, way, way more different. Like, there are split paths in other games, but they all kind of, like, round out to the same ending. I think Hector's...
Like we said, that was kind of weird.
It's definitely the most
I heard that I heard that the, like, school format was different, too.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
This is just a fucking... This is Hogwarts dating sim.
Usually...
Right.
Like, usually, it's not a school. Like, post-time skip,
and then
it's
afterwards,
more kind of like where you go from one battle to another, and you can go to like shops and stuff in between, and you can do the paralog battles and side battles, but it's not. There's not really a central location like the school or the school activities kind of thing that you can do.
Right, and also like in addition to the social component is way, way, way less of a thing in the old games. Like I don't know. I mean, I haven't played an earlier one than 6, but in, like, 6, 7, and 8, I don't really remember in, like, 9 or 10.
For context, what number would 3 Houses be?
14?
14.
Okay.
14.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Final Fantasy 14.
Final Fantasy 14.
Is it like 16? I thought it was 16 if you include, like, remakes.
God damn.
If you include like Echoes, Shadows of Valentia, and Shadow Dragon, the remake of Shadow Dragon, I think it might be more. I think it's
27.
12. Okay, Awakening is the 12th one. Fates would be the 13th. Oh, so this is maybe the 14th? Yeah, this is the 14th. Okay, yeah. This is the 14th, like, main game. People maybe count Echoes because I think that was, like, kind of a huge...
It was a very big revamp from Gaiden, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
Is that counting the gacha game?
No.
Does that count? Is that numbered?
I refuse.
No, it's not.
I refuse. Yeah, well, that's good to know. So it is a pretty big departure from the other games, just in terms of, like, the choices you make and having a school setting and an importance placed on, like, the socialization of characters.
Yes, that's been a thing, like, genealogy of the Fire Emblem. Genealogy of the Holy War, which is, like, the 4th one. The 4th game was the first one to introduce kind of supports, but it was very basic, and it was kind of like, if they battle next to each other, they get married, without a lot of, like, support combos sort of thing. A little bit.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah.
Right,
but
and by the time you get...
Right,
by the time you get to, like... it's pretty bare bones in Binding Blade, which is the one that has Roy in it, and then in the one after that, I think that is when they started really fleshing out lots of support conversations. And notably, even though supports exist in more of a full form, and they do have like a sort of vague in-game like boost, they don't really tell you how to get support points, and there's no visual indicator that you get them at all. Like, occasionally, you'll just be, like, playing, 2 units will just coincidentally be next to each other. You may not even realize they have a support. The game doesn't show you which units have which supports with each other. There will be, like, little sprites that are grayed out. And then if 2 of them just, like, fight together enough, it might end up turning out that like they had a support conversation, and then just you move one right next to the other, and it'll say support, and you're like, oh, I guess these two can talk now in the middle of this fight.
I also want to say that even from the Rare Awakening and Fates, like the new generation of things, Three Houses does way better with supports, because, I mean, not only are they fully voiced, but they're actually longer. Like, not in terms of, like, ABC, but, like, the actual conversations. Because there's one support conversation in Fire Emblem Fates, that's literally the two characters standing there, and you get 4 dialogue boxes, and they're all ... And you click, and it's ... from one, and then ... from the other, and they trade silence, and then it ends. And
that's the legendary Felix Cyril support.
But that's hot, though.
Where they just do their own thing and don't pay attention to each other.
And that's, like, kind of an anomaly, even for Fire Emblem, but, like, the support conversations were very basic and short, even in, like, the newer ones, so Three Houses really stepped it up.
That's really cool to hear, because I feel like the supports are the bread and butter of the game. You know, there's a lot of cool aspects to it that I feel like you could find in other games, but what really drew me to the game were the supports and having your characters interact with each other, and thus further characterizing each character and their houses and the world, etc.
It's like, okay, yeah, sure, there's a big engrossing storyline and a combat system. That's cute. Can I talk to people?
Yeah. I want to connect, but I can't get the support with this character.
But I have to fight 3 times, or I'll waste my activity points for the day.
Would it be accurate to say that Three Houses is like a major step up from the past in terms of writing quality, or was it good and then took a dip and then came back up? Because like Fates was not good, and as you've explained it to me in the past,
you can marry your sister.
It's like Fates was a point where the series kind of took like a hard pivot to be more anime, and like catered really hard into just like generic anime archetypes. Which then Three Houses has like taken a step back from to great results.
Yes.
Regarding whether it's better or not, I feel like that's tricky to say, because some roots feel like, oh yeah, this is well written. Or some like parts of the lore. The lore is definitely way better written, and like the backstory of everything. Because like Fire Emblem characters didn't have last names until Three Houses.
Wow.
Yeah.
John
the age-old, like, Marth Fire Emblem, Roy Fire Emblem, Erica Fire Emblem. That's the classic.
But
Dr. Fire
Emblem. It's also hard to say, because, like, the story's also different, and I like it in some ways, where it's, like, it's not all, like, just typical JRPG sort of thing. But it's there's also parts of it that I'm, like, that I don't really like how they were written. So I think the characters are definitely written better.
Yeah,
but
I would agree.
I feel like I want to say that, like, Fire Emblem Awakening as a story overall, I feel like I can't really say that Three Houses is definitively better as a whole in terms of, like, story than Awakening was to me.
You think so? That's interesting, because I've remarked this to you, I think, Ben, but I remember basically nothing about Awakening, and I played that game a lot. I did the whole, like, eugenics everyone into having Gale Force. Like, I played that game, like, very, very diligently, and I remember, like, remarkably little of the
IB
plot.
training your fighters.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Do you know about Awakening, Panic?
No, not at all.
Do you know, like, the premise of that one? So Awakening is, like, the time travel one, where there's, like, stuff happening in the past and stuff happening in the present.
Yes.
So you can have your past units hook up, and then depending on, like, who hooks up in the past, your present units change, like, their qualities based on their parentage.
It's one degree. It's present and future, because the kids
kids
come back from the future to hang out with you.
So depending on what happens with your
grand
present
order
units, your
of
future
Fire
ones
Emblem?
change.
Sort of.
Sounds interesting.
Heroes.
No, that's Heroes, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, I guess.
But yeah, you can super gamify it and do, like, a breeding program in order to perfect all of your children from the future.
Oh,
yeah,
fuck
sorry,
yeah.
that was why I said eugenics. I don't believe in that, but you basically do that to
but
your children.
But it works in video games, so, I mean, who are we to argue?
You marry the parents who give the kids the best abilities and the classes you want, and then
makes sense.
Or hair color.
Makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah, hair color is important.
Yep.
Hair color is really important. Gotta get that
Smallest
optimal
hair color
build.
is, unfortunately, not as good on a lot of But anyways,
it's true.
Yes. So I don't know. I really liked Awakening and the story, especially if you make certain choices with your unit. Like if you marry Crom, the story is like even better. I think. Like it's like that makes it really good. So I don't know. I guess there's just like a lot of elements to like what makes a story, video game story, like Fire Emblem, good. So it's hard for me to say that like Three Houses is better. Is significantly better in every single aspect.
Do you guys think the fandom generally considers this a step up?
Yes.
Oh, that's a good question.
Twitter considers
the general
a step
perception
up.
is that it's much better.
Yeah. It's sold much better too, right? It's the best-selling one.
Yeah, easily. I mean, I think up until Awakening, the franchise was more like a cult hit kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you know, we all know, like, Roy, Marth, and Ike because they got into Smash, but, like, most people don't really have a lot of exposure to the series other than that. Like,
I heard of Fire Emblem from its inclusion in a gacha game. I think it was Puzzles and Dragons.
That was your first exposure to it?
That's how I heard of it. That's, like, the first I heard of it was from... My friend was playing that, and they mentioned, like, Fire Emblem getting in it. Like, I don't even play that, but that's how I heard it. And I was like, oh, I've heard of this. And, like, you do hear about it in Smash, and, like... That was my first exposure to it, so I never really got to play the game. So I would agree that it hasn't really been mainstream up until recently.
Right.
My introductions to the series are very much along the line of what you were just describing, Mio, which is that my first one was a long time ago. I think like when I was early in high school. It's probably around like 2009 or so. I went through a kick where I had like a Game Boy Advance emulator on my computer, and I was downloading a lot of Game Boy games.
So
I had like a site that was like, oh, here's all the best games for the Game Boy Advance, and then I was taking other ones I'd heard of and stuff. So one of the first games that I played on it was Advance Wars.
Yes!
And then Advance Wars was great, and I finished Advance Wars, and I was like, okay, next
what
one
about
up,
Fire Emblem
let's play Fire Emblem. I've heard of that from
Final
Smash.
Fantasy.
And I played through, it was the one with Lynn.
Yeah, that's 7 Blazing Blade, I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I played through like the opening cutscene and dialogue, and then the first battle starts, and I'm like, son of a bitch, it's just Advance Wars again.
For fuck's sake.
I had no idea what kind of game it was.
Yeah, it's funny because you would think from their inclusion in Smash that it's like a cool action game.
Yeah, I was expecting like a JRPG.
Right, but it's like big brain tactics, lots of feelings, because all your units die in real life if they die in the game.
Right. So I was like, okay, I just played Advance Wars. I'm not playing Advance Wars again. So I didn't play any more of it. And then years and years later, like 3 years ago, I bought Fates because I was a Corrin main in Smash 4. And I wanted to play the game that Corrin was actually from. And it was okay. You know? As my first like one that I actually played, I enjoyed it. I know that people say that it's one of the worst ones. And I believe that, but I thought it was fine.
Okay, but what route did you choose first? I'm just curious.
Which one did I do first? I did, I don't remember the names of the different routes, but I did the
Hoshido is
Hoshido
Weeb,
one.
Noir is,
You did the Hoshido one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Fates is something.
Okay, so Panic, what's your background with the game?
Oh, it's real easy. I played Smash Brothers Melee on GameCube. There was some Fire Emblem characters in it. Just like Sinris, I had a period of time where I played a lot of Game Boy Advance games on an emulator. Saw some Fire Emblem games, and I'm like, that's where those guys are from. I'll download some of those and try them. And with zero investment in the story or the characters, I went in, lost some guys, they were dead forever, and I said, this sucks. I didn't continue. And then I saw the character trailer, little dialogue teaser thing from Manuela, and I was like, I'm getting this game. It's like, fuck, it's a game, as I hear, it's a dating sim, and there's a horny teacher? Yes!
I respect you a lot, Panic.
Thank
this is also
you.
the first time I'm talking to you properly, but I respect you immensely.
I respect his energy.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
We live by the MILFs.
Live by the MILFs.
Die by the MILFs.
Hopefully she didn't actually die on your run, because I'd feel bad.
Will you join the MILFs who shadow my every move?
I am the man of my sword.
So,
proposal, the plural of MILF, it declines
milves.
like like elf, so it goes elf and then elves, so it goes milf and then milves.
Milves.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Right.
I feel this. This works for me. Okay, so
Grammar.
we're talking about a lot, talking around it, but what do you guys like about the game?
Manuela.
Panic's just gonna go MILFs. That's it.
Manuela and
Got that out
Rhea.
of the way first.
Done with this one, on to the next topic.
Yeah. No. May I?
Yeah.
Go for it.
I have, so sort of when you were asking also, Ben Sinris, what do I call you anyways?
You can just call me
Metal
whatever.
Rain.
Okay, whatever. Metal Rain. Metal Rain.
Metal Rain is such a funny edgelord name. I love it.
It is.
Yeah, it was my high school band nickname.
Nice.
Really?
Yeah.
Your band. I didn't know
What's
this.
What's
Yeah,
the
Mr.
band
Sankata
called?
gave me that name.
Which metal instrument did you play?
Concert band. I played percussion, and
Nice.
we had a piece called Arabesque, on which I played the Glockenspiel.
Wow.
Nice.
And
Shout out to Germany for the best instrument.
the band director likened my part in it to the falling of Metal Rain, and then people started calling me that.
Metal Rain.
Oh,
Did he mean that in a
shit.
compliment or as an insult?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Because it's like,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I
that's-
remember. It's a really nuts piece. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
There was a part on
nice.
it where we didn't have enough percussionists to go completely off track. We didn't have
That's
enough
fine.
percussionists who could play like the mouth instruments, and so I was playing the xylophone piece, the xylophone part, and the glockenspiel part. Which most of the time they didn't play at the same time, but there was one point where they did. So I stood in between them and played one with each hand.
Oh my god.
Nice. Oh, that's cool.
What a
Nice.
legend.
It's
Yeah.
pretty badass.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
God damn.
There's your
Damn,
heroic
son.
origin story.
Anyway, moving on.
There you go.
We got his origin
okay.
story,
Yeah,
finally.
It's true. I think with regards to this game, I don't know, what I like about Three Houses, or what I have thoughts on, I guess, it's something that I'm still not sure that I like. In terms of like being a step up or step sideways from writing quality in the past, a lot of old Fire Emblem games I find have a pretty, not just linear story, but very like, you're the good guys and you're fighting the bad guys.
So this is more
who are
morally
trying to
ambiguous.
resurrect a big. It's very not ambiguous. You're like, you're
yeah.
definitely the good guys. There's no doubt about it. Like,
Yeah.
the bad guy is killing people and, reviving zombies and a dragon, and that's bad. You don't want that. Dragons are bad. And
They totally
in this
look
game,
evil.
Dragons are cool.
Right.
What are you talking about?
and in this game, it's I don't know. Like, you actually get to like talk and think about like, I don't know. Like, did Edelgard do nothing wrong? Did Rhea do nothing wrong? Like, things go really deep, and you can actually like sit down and have a conversation about that. Like, obviously, we're all entitled to our opinions, and I think the game kind of purposefully keeps a lot of like deep lore details obscured so that you can kind of just form your own opinion.
Well, there is an age-old rule of thumb that goes, empire is always evil.
Right.
If a
I
story has an
disagree.
empire, they're the villain.
And it's like,
Yeah, so that's it.
and like I don't know, I like the moral ambiguity elements, but there are some times where I feel like I get kind of bogged down in it, where it's like, I don't know, I want to know, I want to like pick a side.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I don't want to have to be like, man, I'm working with Rhea in these 2 routes and she seems fine. But like, Edelgard clearly has her reasons. What are those? I haven't played Crimson Flower, so I don't know all of them,
Yeah,
It's
and
like-
that's a pretty cool aspect of it, is like you do get to choose, even though
Right.
like Panic was saying like before, you don't really have choices. But like in this time,
yeah, you get to
you
choose
do get to choose
go.
which route you get to learn the most about, and then you can do it again and find out the whole story.
But to be honest, you make that choice really early before really
Yeah.
knowing anybody. You're just
true.
like, I like
Yeah.
this guy with the bad haircut. I'll go with him.
Yeah,
Definitely
This
one of my
boy-
favorite moments. One of my favorite moments in the game is when you have when you're like sizing up the 3 house leaders, right? When you meet them and you have the weird dialogue with Sothis where you're like, Dimitri, like, oh, he seems like a nice young man, but I
there's
sense a
something
darkness
more.
hidden within.
yeah, that's
And
so
I was like,
foreboding.
dude, I've known you for like 3 seconds. You seem totally fine. Like, I liked Dimitri the most of
There's
all the
a
lords because he just seemed like a
darkness
chill dude.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
It's kind of funny. I remember in the lead up to the game being released, you and I, Mia, having
Yeah.
a lot of like analyzing like every bit of information they dripped to us and seeing
Yeah.
the 3 leaders, and we were like, okay, so like Claude is the cool hot one, Edelgard is like the other cool hot one.
Yeah.
And then Dimitri's just like some fucking goon.
Yeah.
And then we both played like the first chapter of it up to where you pick your house, and you're like, wait, I think Dimitri's my favorite.
Yeah, because like Claude just like sasses the fuck out of everyone, like kind of a bit too much, and Edelgard
Claude
just seems
tries
like
to
too much of a
fuck you
hard
as
ass.
soon as he sees you.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like, immediately. I was very taken. I was like, yo, he wants to fuck. And
Well,
I was
that's
like,
so
yeah,
lame.
I'm kind of down. But yeah, that's what he's
Yeah.
doing.
No, he just wants the sword of the creator.
Yeah, that's true. Well, you know, he wants to fuck, yeah.
Yeah, he wants your sword of the
I
creator.
am the creator of my
Oh,
sword.
but you don't have it at that point, actually, so whatever.
He knows. He knows you have that
He
potential.
knows it's coming.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's such a great point.
What I like about the game is I do like the characters and stuff, and the supports between the characters and just getting attached like you do with like waifus and husbandos and all that. But I also really like the tactics part of it. Like it's a lot of fun to play the maps, and like I don't know. I once grinded maps for like 8 hours in a row till 4 a.m. in Awakening once.
Nice.
So I like
Wait, not nice. Was it nice?
I
You're in
enjoyed
the
it.
grind.
Yeah.
You can do a lot of grinding in Awakening. That game really lends itself to the grind, like real
Yeah,
hard.
I was grinding for either supports or for abilities to pass on to the children.
Yeah, gotta
Right.
get Gale Force on everyone. That's just like if everyone had Kanto.
Oh, got it.
Like imagine if everyone had Kanto.
No, if you had Kanto, but you could also attack again.
Again, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's right. It's Kanto, you can attack again, but after the second attack you can't move anymore.
got it.
Yeah.
It was fucking absurd. Absolutely obscene. Like there was no reason not to just like give everyone Gale Force.
Yeah. For me, like, this game has a little bit of everything I like. You know, the character writing in it is really solid.
Yeah.
Like, surprisingly so. I think almost every character in the game started out like, whatever, like, you have a cool design and therefore I like you, or you don't and therefore I don't. And
Or they're
by the
Petra
end
and they
of...
talk in a cool way, so also therefore you love them.
Yeah. By the end of every route, I'm really in love with pretty much every character in this game.
I definitely agree.
There are, you know, a couple that are kind of duds, but
Name them.
they're-
Coward. You won't do it.
Hanneman.
You know, you gotta
No!
Yeah.
Could you?
Your crest.
The father of Christology?
It's time to pass Christology on to Linhart.
Yes.
Or Lysithea,
yeah, it's
the
true.
golden child of Christology, if you get
Yeah.
your parent ending. Which luckily is not romantic, unlike some of Hanneman's other endings.
This,
Lithia and Ada.
Point it!
I just ignored Hanneman, so I didn't even know that that Lysithea and him had a support. Is it just him being like,
I actually
you
got
have two
their
crests?
support.
That's strange.
No,
It's because he
Support with
follows her
Lysithea
around,
is basically
right?
like...
No,
he's like,
it's a very...
Dude,
they have a good
you
ending.
follow me around everywhere. Stop watching me. And he's like, look, I know I'm being rude, but also consider my research.
Also consider, I live for crests and you have two. Please.
I'm dying.
I'm dying over here, man.
So I'm not sure.
But like, it's got great character writing. It's got good tactics, sometimes verging on great tactics. I think this is where the DLC really shined. Is that the fights in them are
Oh, yeah.
stellar.
Put me through the
I'm
ringer.
excited for
Holy
that.
shit. Thought I knew
Yeah.
how to play the game until the DLC showed up, and I was like, yo,
Yeah,
I did
seriously.
not know anything.
DLC
Finished
Nation
2
arrived.
routes, I don't know jack shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
It's got sick deep lore, which I am an absolute fiend for.
Ancient
It's
aliens.
got, yeah, ancient aliens are canon.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's got moral ambiguity, which I also am a huge sucker for.
You've doomed our D&D campaign with.
Yeah. It's got a little bit of everything. I don't think there's anything the game does that I don't like.
Yo, a
You know, at
Three
least in
Houses
terms of,
D&D
like-
campaign? Yo.
No. That was just a side joke. Ben has just entrenched us all in moral ambiguity, and we don't know who to side with.
Nice. I love that.
That's always good.
Panic. Oh, well, are you still going? Sorry.
No, I think that sums it up.
feel bad getting
this
you
is
off.
pretty much like,
Oh, that was also
this is
kind of
pretty
a
much like the perfect game for
throwing
me.
some shade way to say it. Are you still going? I'm sorry.
No, I like what he's saying. I felt bad.
you
He
done?
hesitated.
Excuse me, are you still talking?
No, I loved it. I'm like so sad. I was like, I want to hear more, but I'm not sure if he's still talking. Oh no.
no, I'm good. Panic?
Yeah. Okay. So, as I mentioned, Fire Emblem wasn't always my thing. And I, like, it wasn't even a joke that I saw the clip of Manuela doing the thing.
I believe you 100%. Anyone who knows Panic knew that was not a joke.
Someone on Twitter
he's like, I'm getting
that,
this game.
and I was like, okay, this is Fire Emblem. That seems different. She's a teacher, so do I play a student? I know she's a romance option. Wait, I'm a professor? This is Hogwarts? You have tea time with people? What the fuck? So I was hooked when I learned the premise that you're like a house leader of one of these 3 houses, and people were playing it, saying it was good. There was a lot of fan art. Like, I didn't get it at launch. I got it a couple weeks later because suddenly my Twitter timeline was just nothing but this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really took over. It reminded me of like the Persona 5 takeover where everyone was talking about it and playing
the
it.
Animal Crossing takeover currently happening.
Yeah, we're in the current Animal Crossing phase. Yeah,
it's true.
So
I'm literally playing Animal Crossing right now because I cannot get away from it.
Yeah. So I saw that there's like I knew from the beginning that there was going to be a time skip. Like, it was impossible not to spoil because there was a lot of art that looked way different.
Yeah, that's what it's sold on. Basically.
It was they were like selling it with that. It's in the commercials.
Right.
Oh, cool.
I didn't see
so it's pretty upfront with that.
Yeah. They made it like pretty blatant. They were like, yeah, you meet these kids and then they grow up
and kill each other.
Part of the inspiration
there was a strongly
for
implied and then they kill each other.
Yeah, because Three Houses inspiration was a lot from Genealogy of the Holy War, and they wanted to do the thing because in the backstory of Genealogy of the Holy War has a lot of the major players of the war. They went to an academy together at school, so they're like now they're in this big war against killing each other. So that kind of idea carried over to Three Houses.
Yeah,
so
but it's like imagine Hogwarts, but everybody leaves for 5 years, and all the houses come back and murder each other.
And they all either have way better or way worse haircuts.
Hell yeah, it's like oh my god, Harry Potter themed battle royale.
I would unironically be down for this. Let's make it happen. Yeah. So, do you like it for other reasons, or was it just like the premise and
I obviously kept playing. Like, I did the first run of Crimson Flower. Mm-hmm. I was very unsure what to do at a certain point. I was like, well, fuck, do I just lose the house? Do I get another house? What happens if I choose the other one? So I just went with Crimson Flower. And I romanced Manuela, of course. And I was like, this could be it for me. But I'm gonna play the other routes. I'm gonna learn what the tragedy of Dusker is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna really dive deep into that.
Oh, the tragedy of Dusker.
Have you heard about the tragedy of Dusker? Have you heard about? We have a minute to talk about our Lord and Savior, the tragedy of Dusker.
I remember when I was like knee deep in Verdant Wind, and I was like, "Oh, you're on Azure Moon now, aren't you? Like, what's that like?" And I think you literally were just like, "Have you heard of the tragedy of Dusker?"
Heard of the tragedy of Dusker?
It's all anybody talks about.
It's every single scene. It's mentioned at least once.
Yeah.
Well, what even happened? I forget. What even happened at the tragedy of Dusk? Is that where his parents died?
The family got slaughtered,
and he blames Edelgard.
And it was well
not
it was
yet.
blamed on the bastard later.
Oh man, am I skipping any topics?
Yeah, we haven't gotten to the tragedy of Dusker section.
Is that a point?
We haven't gotten
we have a whole section in the notes.
We do have a whole section in the notes on the tragedy.
Could you
of
add
Dusker.
that? It's like a 5th topic block.
Yes,
tragedy
that's going to be.
Dusker.
I'm just bolding that in our topics. But first, we have to do the I am Ferdinand von Eyre section.
Yes.
Yeah. So
are
let's just
Ferdinand
jump
von
in.
Eyre?
We are all Ferdinand von Eyre on this blessed day.
Our anime Von podcast.
And we're gonna talk. We'll probably talk about.
podcast.
We'll bring up our favorite supports, romances, and characters along the way, but let's just jump right into it, and let's talk about the Black Eagles Crimson Flower route. This is an interesting one, because I feel like it's one of the most contentious, and also, you know, I guess it's like kind of difficult, because when I started playing the game, I asked Twitter, which route should I start with? And that was a bad decision, because I got every response, and, you know, I got like, you know, play the Blue Lions route because it's easier for beginners, then play, you know, the Golden Deer one, because then you'll, like, learn more about the lore, and then some of my closest friends were like, just do, like, Black Eagles first, and I was like, I pretty much got the game because I liked Edelgard's design, so I just jumped right in with Black Eagles, and it worked out pretty well. I still didn't know how to play the game, but, you know, easy mode when you're not killing people, you're fine. It's all good.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I thought this was a pretty interesting route. And I do like the idea of starting off as kind of like the antagonist route first, because I know Jack doesn't like calling her the bad guy. And I do agree that Edelgard is not necessarily a bad guy, but she is always the antagonist, no matter what route.
I think that's a good distinction.
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
She's the Ashelon of the...
I dislike admitting it.
But yeah, it's not about who started it, but she 100% started everything. So
yeah, right.
Yeah. So, but this time you get to start with her, and she finishes it.
I forget. Is there anyone here who really likes Crimson Flower?
I do like Crimson Flower, but I like Crimson Flower, but I have like some minor beef with like various narrative elements for that and Azure Moon, but we can get into that later. But I overall do like Crimson Flower. I think it's a really interesting route. I think you really get to understand Edelgard's perspective and why she's doing what she does, and that's really supplemented with also the supports where you get to see how the various characters have suffered under the current system. Like, it makes sense. I fully conceptually understand where she's coming from and why she's taking the actions she is, but I have some complaints about how she goes about them. I'd like to speak
to the manager.
Yeah, I would like to speak to the manager, but she is the manager, so that kind of...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I have an interesting perspective on Black Eagles because it was my first route, and then I did Silver Snow. And then I finished Silver Snow, and then did Azure Moon, and now have come back to Black Eagles.
Yeah, because there's a difference between Crimson Flower and Silver Snow, as hopefully people by now know. In Crimson Flower, you choose to go with Edelgard when she's revolting against the church, and in Silver Snow, you side with Rhea when Edelgard is revolting against the church.
I was so close to doing that too, because I felt so betrayed. It's like, what the fuck?
I didn't see this at all. I felt betrayed too. Like, if I didn't know ahead of time, I probably would have missed it and not gone with Edelgard. But, yeah, continue, Cinerus. I would like to hear this.
So my first playthrough, my perspective on Edelgard specifically was that I thought she was, like, cool and interesting, and then you get, like, the first support with her where she tells you about how, like, she had, like, 12 siblings or something, and they were all tortured to death, and, like, experimentation that she was the result of, and everything. And I thought she was, like, a really cool, sympathetic character.
Yeah.
And I was, like, on the edge of my seat with all the mysteries they're building up, with, like, the Flame Emperor and the Death Knight and everything. And then she turns around and she betrays you. And I was pissed. I was absolutely livid.
Would you say you felt like Dimitri in that moment?
Imagine my shock.
Absolutely. I was... full disclosure, my favorite character in the game is Hubert.
Nice.
Why?
I feel the vibes.
I feel like I was almost more upset by being betrayed by Hubert than I was by Edelgard. Because I feel like...
I expected this from you, but Hubert,
I love that picture of Byleth, like, being betrayed by Edelgard and just look over her shoulder at Hubert like, why?
But I ended up siding with the church against Edelgard because I felt like I was invested in her story and I wanted to help her up until she, like, breaks into the Holy Mausoleum and is like, take all of the crest stones and kill all of my friends.
Until she
shoots
up the school.
Fuck you, I guess.
I'm pretty sure she doesn't tell. She says if you guys, like, fight against her, she's like, yeah, kill them. But she doesn't, like...
Yeah, but you don't get...
I think she says if they fight... She says if they fight back, kill them.
Yeah,
but
so it's not like she's not preemptively killing.
No, but then you're supposed to take the crest stones because you have no idea what's going on. So
yeah,
like, what the fuck is happening?
It's kind of like,
So
if yeah.
I feel like Edelgard's problem is messaging.
That's why for that battle, the only two fighters I had were me and Linhardt, and I got Linhardt to work me and then run away from the monsters while I went straight to Edelgard.
That's pretty smart.
Linhardt has warp.
Yeah, Linhardt has warp.
Yeah, that's smart.
I feel like
nuts.
Edelgard's problem is messaging. Because if on the first playthrough she had, like, told me in advance when we, like, go to Enbar together what she was going to do, I'd probably have gone along with her. But she doesn't tell you shit, and then she just shows up and, like, says if you aren't with me on this goal that I'm not going to explain to you, then I'm going to kill you. I'm like, all right, fuck you then.
Right.
Yeah,
like, I'll fight back.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this, and I said that that's kind of like the game mechanic bullshit of, like, if in any story that wasn't reliant on Edelgard's betrayal being, like, a twist, that would be like the dumbest thing ever, because it would be like, just tell us what you're doing. But I understand that they needed to do that to have the full like betrayal twist, so then you go either Silver Snow or with her. But as you said, they should, like, it's kind of suspect that if Edelgard is so, you know, if she believes in her message so much, why wouldn't she have faith in it that other people would join that message while giving them a heads up? Like, especially you, when you've gone and you've seen her become, like, be coronated, you're really close to her, like, you know, she should kind of place some trust in you if she really believes in her message.
I think you should have made the choice before the Holy Mausoleum battle and not after it. Because after it is kind of weird. It's like the game is like choosing for you.
Yeah, like, why would you fight against her after she's raiding the Holy Malus, whatever. You know, after she raids everything, like, why would you be like, so we just fought against you and you kind of tried to kill us?
Now let's talk.
I believe in you. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so I feel like that you should have done that. Like, make the choice before the battle.
And Rhea shows up with crazy voice.
Not to go, like, deep lesbian here, but Edelgard's problem is communication. Like, if she just, like, all she needed was to just let us in a little more on the plan. Yeah. And, like, you know, it's a video game. Yeah. She's an interesting character. It would be easy for us to just be like, okay, God sucks. This is cool.
Yeah. She clearly trusts the professor.
See, but I also feel for her why she felt she couldn't, because she's like, it's part of her character, and it's like makes me emotional for her, because, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's definitely in character that she handles it the way it does. Definitely. It's just like, because she is the way that she is, I can't in good faith, like, side with her.
And it's kind of tough because we're not talking about, you know, I'm so sympathetic for Edelgard and I understand why she is how she is, but we're talking about a war in people's lives. If you're going to say that you're doing something for the betterment of all, like, mankind, you kind of have to get over your shit a bit and be like, this is what we're fighting for. This is what I want to do. Are you with me or are you against me? You gotta break it down. She doesn't do that when you're like when you're fighting in the Holy Mausoleum.
She does it enough to assemble a fucking army. Why doesn't she get all her other Imperial friends in on it? Like, the entire house is from the Empire.
You told fucking Medity, but not me.
Yeah. Right, that guy who just like kills people in the background. I loved when Medity fucking shows up in the DLC, and I was like, oh, it's you.
Yeah, so let's not forget that Edelgard is also the villain of the DLC.
Wait, who the fuck is she?
She knew everything that was happening in the Abyss all along.
Medity?
Yeah, because Medity is the one behind everything, and Medity works for Edelgard.
Yeah.
In the DLC?
Yeah, Medity shows up in the DLC to be like,
I'm gonna
now
Google
you've
this
fallen
person.
into our trap.
Yeah, he's the guy who hired all the bandits to go into Abyss.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were just working with Alfie.
Yeah, I thought the villain was...
Yeah, he was just working with him, I think.
Was Kirei Light.
He totally is Kirei.
He is Kirei Light, yeah.
But it's not, like, explicitly stated, but I think it's pretty obvious that, like, Medity is the guy in the base game who shows up to, like, help Edelgard when she reveals that she is the Flame Emperor. He's also the guy who shows up near the end of the DLC to say, like, this has all been a trap, and I was orchestrating the whole thing.
Yeah.
He works for Edelgard. It seems like a pretty easy...
Excuse me, can you spell his name? I have no idea who the fuck this is.
He's just like the sus emperor dude.
I will say,
I haven't played the DLC, but I feel like...
M-E-D-O-D... Oh, him!
Yeah.
Is he behind everything? What do you mean?
I don't take it as him being responsible, because I do think Alfie is responsible. I think he just hired that guy to help. And then, like... Medity, whatever, says like, yo, I'll be back, you know, and we're all like, oh yeah, I played Crimson Flower, I do know, like, whatever.
I do remember, because okay, first up, even though Edelgard's hit rate in the DLC is total garbage, I did have Edelgard fight Medity, because I was like, what is she gonna do? Because when the Death Knight shows up, she says, honestly, what a nuisance. Like, at the end of that level, and I was like, that's so funny.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I bet she's like, Carrie, so why are you like this?
Yeah, right. And then when you have her fight Medity, he's like, oh, Princess Edelgard. Hello. She's like, I think she, like, calls him a traitor and tells him to draw his sword or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, like, they do work together later, so clearly... Right. At least that part is a bit of an act. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Alfred is definitely the one pulling
behind her back. Maybe he did something behind her back, and that's why she's like.
One of the things I loved about.
I don't think it's a. Oh, go ahead.
One of the things I loved about replaying other routes was that, like, I started with Crimson Flower, so I knew the entire twist. And I had played the quote-unquote antagonist perspective. So I'm playing the other ones, and anytime something mysterious is happening, Edelgard and Hubert are off in a corner whispering about shit, and when Flane goes missing, Hubert is right in front of the fucking house where Flane is. Just being like, oh, I haven't seen her.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. What happened?
And it's like, that's the other thing that on my revisit to the route now, on my second playthrough, I'm like, every time Edelgard opens her mouth,
it's like,
I get so mad.
You're lying right now, and I know it.
every other word out of her mouth in the entire route is like feigning ignorance about something that she knows the answers
pretending not to know.
Yeah. She's just keeping like the entire thing hidden.
But I love her anyways.
Okay, Jack, this is your turn. This is your defense of Edelgard section.
You get 5 minutes.
I feel like I should have planned better and like.
No, just speak from your heart. That's all you need.
Shit.
Well, I feel
first of all, she's hot.
I feel like in the first half of the game, the church does a lot of really sus stuff. That's just like, because like there are 3 nations in Fodlan, right? But then there's the then there's the church acting as kind of their own nation and like executing people and doing stuff like that. And it's like, I don't know, it really like kind of alarmed me, especially when they're like, "Oh, you're part of the church now," and I'm like, Wait, what? I just work here.
I didn't sign up for this.
Why are you telling me I'm here? And
I just work here.
Well, you're not. I just work here.
Yeah. So like. I have like kind of a personal history with authoritarian religion.
Yeah, I was wondering if we should bring that up, because that's the thing people on the server might know, but I didn't know if it was too personal for a podcast.
No, it's fine. But yeah, I used to be Mormon, but not anymore, fortunately.
Not any Mormon.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
So basically, I don't know. I was already like really suspicious of the church and didn't like the church. So it was kind of no-brainer for me to side with Edelgard, although I think I learned about the twist before it happened in the game for me. I was spoiled on that, but I knew I would pick Edelgard anyways. Because, like, I don't know.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah. I mean, I think I was saying to Metal Rain earlier when we were chatting that it feels really weird to call you that.
Yeah, I love just switching between the names.
40 different names by the end of this.
I don't know, man. We were talking earlier, and I was saying, like, yeah, like, Jack, to your point, that I think the game does a pretty good job at, like, priming you for taking Crimson Flower if you want, because it does give you, like when they're executing, like, the Western Church people.
Yeah. Oh, you mean when they're executing the people who just tried to assassinate Rhea, you think they shouldn't have done that?
Yeah. No, I mean, like, look, what I'm saying is that the game frames it in such a way that you're supposed to be, like, I remember the dialogue options at that point being, like, the church executes people, I think is like a dialogue option.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, I think the way that the game wants you to respond to those things, I don't necessarily feel that way, is that they want you to be like, oh, there is something a little fishy about the Church of Fodlan. Like, it's, and then, like, Geralt also is like, watch out for Rhea. And you have no idea why the fuck he's saying that, because she seems nice, right? But
he's watching from the afterlife as I pass along the wedding ring.
She, is like smiling down at you creepily. She always says.
Yeah, and I think they do a good job of framing it is, like, every time they have, she'll just say something like, if you point your sword at the church, you point it at the goddess herself, and you're like this feels a bit authoritative.
Show the students what happens when they point their sword at the church.
Yeah, make an example out of this guy.
Yeah. That one definitely freaked me out. I was like, okay.
Just stop pointing swords at churches. It's not that difficult. Most people
I think they do a good job of, like, showing Rhea and the church as pretty sus, even if they don't go into, like, explicit details, because they are dealing with, like, random, random people attacking them on a regular basis. They got, like, Flan getting kidnapped, which is still kind of weird thinking about that. So, like,
yeah, because I feel like Edelgard of all people wouldn't be down with that, even if she, like, knew about Flan. But, like, because that happened to her as a kid, so it's like, why would she?
Yeah, that gets into my biggest issue with Edelgard
because Hubert is standing guard in front of the house.
Yeah, so that's weird. So basically, I just to sum up my thoughts. I don't agree with everything Edelgard does, but ultimately, I feel like she's the one that I I want to say she's the one that's most right, but that feels like too...
You connect with her ideals the most.
Yeah. I connect with her ideals the most. I connect with her goal. And I don't agree with everything about how she does it, but ultimately that is kind of not the most important thing.
And you can respect that she actually does try to make a difference as a leader. She's proactive, not reactive. She genuinely believes in what she's doing. And she shows that, you know, they've had hints throughout the route that, like, she doesn't think she's going to be alive that long. And she's going to pass the torch on as soon as she's accomplished what she wants to. It's not an ego thing. It's not about her. She genuinely does believe in her ideals and goals and values. And that's pretty respectable.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's funny that you say it's not an ego thing, because I feel like what I've learned about Rhea from a lot of the like backstory stuff is that Rhea has done most of what she's done like out of very selfish motivations. Like,
you think so?
Well, I mean, the reason that she as Saros like fights against Nemesis and then does that whole thing is because he slaughters the Nabateans, which it's not to say that isn't justified. But it starts as, like, a personal crusade. Like, she goes after Nemesis, and she just, like, stabs shit out of him. She does the thing, like, she jams the heart in you, because, like, she wants to see her mom again.
Yeah, that's true.
And, like, you know, that's why when you break with her in Crimson Flower, she's like, you're just another failed experiment. Mm-hmm. She, like, doesn't actually care that much about you, because you stopped serving the purpose of letting her reunite with her mother. And I definitely think that seeing that side of Rhea is, like, I don't know, kind of weird. Like, in her A support, have you gotten her A support?
Yeah.
Where she's, like, feeling your hair and stuff like that. There's, like, this major, like, boundary crossing moment where you can either be like, I'm kind of into this, or you can be like,
Yeah, right.
For me, I feel like Rhea is worse. Like, just ultimately flat out worse. Maybe probably the least moral person in the game to me. Well, except other than the Slithers. Because just for how long it's been going on. Like, yeah, Edelgard does bad stuff, but at max, it's like 5 years of war, right? Versus, like, thousands of years of, like, oppressing Fodlan, keeping them technologically...
What, 1,000, not thousands.
Sorry, I thought I said 1,000. But yeah,
it's so only 1,000.
Basically just the extent and length of which Rhea has been doing stuff.
But a peaceful 1,000 years.
Right, and I think...
I'm saying she kept the peace for 1,000 years.
Was it peaceful? Because you look at the Blue Lions.
But how much of people suffering? It's like, okay, so there's an arranged marriage here and there, and
the continent wasn't at war with each other, but there was still violence happening.
Well, of course,
to the oppressed.
Like on a micro level, you can never stop that.
It's funny because I also was thinking that Rhea had been keeping the peace, but if you look at the actual like historical timeline of Fodlan, like. So, you know, there's year 1, which is the founding of the Empire, because it's the Imperial calendar. Mm-hmm. It's not until, like, year 91 that Saint Saros, aka Rhea, defeats Nemesis in the Battle of Tailteen. And then, I think it's, like, in 190-something, that the kingdom splits from the Empire. And that was, like, a huge conflict.
Right.
And since then, there have been, like, other
Since then, there have been no wars in Fodlan.
There have been no inter-Fodlan wars, but there have been like
wars with like
Dagda. Of course, there's still been
Dagda, Bridget, and like all like, the border skirmishes with Almyra.
But the kingdom was the War of the Eagle and Lion happened within like the 1,000 years of peace. Yes,
that's true.
So the peace has been pretty relative.
I feel like it's peace, quote unquote. Like, not really peace, especially when you consider...
But over 1,000 years? That's a long time.
There's also peace, but there's not a lack of suffering. You know, people aren't dying in war, but there's still suffering throughout the houses. There's poverty in the streets of Embar with, like, Dorothea. Like, we see the suffering through the experiences of the other characters.
Can't fix that kind of suffering. It's like, okay, now
she can.
No, she can't.
Yeah,
what are you talking
about?
Money. She fixes poverty.
She can just start the communism.
She can just cancel their problems.
Edelgard is like, war sucks, but better to have this war and then a better future than to just keep going.
How does she know it's going to be a better future? She takes away...
She doesn't know.
Probably
she
something
doesn't
else.
know, but she has to take
like,
a chance. And I think that's admirable. Even though she...
That was like all three of you talking at once, and I didn't hear any of it.
I said that, you know, she doesn't know that it'll be a better future, but she has to take a chance for her dead siblings. And I do think that's admirable. I think it's admirable to fight for something that you genuinely believe in, even though it might not be for the best. She thinks it's for the best. We don't really know. They say it's like...
I think it's for the best. Because she plans on abolishing the nobility and stuff. So come on.
This comes into I would 100% be behind Edelgard more if she didn't make her main army those who slither in the dark, who were way more offensive to her. She was they were way more hurtful to her and everyone than the church, arguably, but they were more personal to her, and she's joining them to take down the church. And I feel like that's a very weird priority to have, to be like, yo, fuck the church. These guys who kidnapped and tortured me and my siblings, I'm with you guys until we can fuck the church. And I'm not really down with that. And I think that's a very it's weird that you can't fight those who slither in the dark as your final boss. That's weird.
Yeah, that was something that really caught me off guard, because I totally figured, okay, the reason that they're letting us have Crimson Flower at all, right, is it's Edelgard goes on her rampage, you kill Claude, you kill Dimitri, you kill Rhea, and then you're like, actually, I know why. I actually don't know what happens in Crimson Flower, but I'm just saying, this was my read on why they let you do the route. And then Edelgard reveals, actually, I knew I was being manipulated. Now we go for those who slither in the dark. But as I've learned, that doesn't actually happen, and you don't do that.
No, that happens.
Yeah, it's insane
in the post text crawl. It's
why would we not take them down? Just add that as another thing. And it was they were so focused on making Rhea the final boss figure, and she worked it as a final boss figure, but I want to take down the people who personally hurt people. Yeah.
Especially because Crimson Flower is half the length of the other routes.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it's so much shorter.
They totally could have just stapled the Agartha level on the end.
Why is it half? What do you mean it's half the length? Does it literally have half the chapters?
Yeah. The other, the other three routes have not including the pre-time skip, but post-time skip, the other three routes have 10 between 10 and 12. It's not exactly the same number.
Jeez.
Between 10 and 12 levels, and Crimson Flower has 6.
What the fuck? Yeah. Okay.
Honestly, I do want to give credit to the length of Crimson Flower. Sometimes I felt like Azure Moon was getting a bit too long for me.
Is Azure Moon the longest, or is that Verdant?
I think that's Verdant Wind.
Yeah,
Azure Moon and Verdant Wind are tied.
Very long. I was surprised that was more boss.
Oh yeah, Verdant Wind is one chapter longer, and then Silver Snow and Azure Moon are tied.
Verdant Wind, I will say, didn't actually... Well, it feels long, but you do this kind of weird, bam, bam, bam. It's you get the Great Bridge of Myrden, you go to Enbar, you're done. And then you pretty much, shotgun the last, couple final chapters.
It felt really, Star, and all is good in the world.
You spend a lot of time, sort of amassing your armies, and you have cute banter with Judith, but... I don't know, you mostly are just you're mostly just on the counter warpath. You do the Dimitri but better. You beeline straight for Enbar basically.
And really in Azure Moon, half those chapters are spent with Dimitri staring at gravel.
Yeah, that was the thing too. It's I'm so in on, well, we can get to that more later, but I'm so in on him, his mental breakdown. I'm here for that, valid. But we have 5 chapters of him staring at gravel, not really making as much as much progress as I would like.
Relating to Crimson Flower, what's the reason he doesn't have an eye patch?
That's a good question.
He never got kicked out by Cornelia, so he's the king. He's the Tempest King in Crimson Flower, so he never was chased out.
He wasn't imprisoned and stuff, right?
Yeah, Rufus. He was never framed for Rufus's murder or whatever.
Yeah,
so that's
that
why.
Sense.
So he's always been king. He never had his.
That's right.
Feral stage. He is kind of feral, but
he's always a little bit feral.
He wasn't growling I need Edelgard's head and shit.
Yeah, he didn't have his dark phase he didn't have his edgelord phase. Exactly. I mean, he becomes the same edgelord pretty much, but it's different.
Can we talk about the worst comeback in the game when you're fighting Dimitri and he's why do you start a war and kill people? And she's why do you continue to fight war and why do you resist being killed? As the most no you response that is not inspiring.
I have something to say about that. First of all,
I think I know what you're about to bring up, Jack.
First of all, I agree. It's it's terrible. But apparently, in the original Japanese, because it's a bad translation.
I can see that.
She was saying something.
It was a localization issue. I read the original text.
Yeah, apparently the Japanese was something more and will that make you feel better if you
that's so much better.
Kill me? Will it soothe your raging heart or if you kill me back or something?
You know what? It might. Let me just try real quick.
Let me try.
So I think I'm probably wrong.
Yeah, just stay right there.
I might be a little bit wrong, but it was pretty much like, kind of like that. Like, yeah, but what are you gonna do about it?
Come at
Even
me.
if I die.
Catch these hands. If Edelgard said catch these hands, she would instantly be the best. Nothing wrong. No moral ambiguity. Best. If she just said catch these hands to Dimitri in that moment.
Yeah, I agree. That line
If
is
I literally
terrible.
just said no you, it would have been
You guys
better.
know that bad meme format that's going around right now where you've got like the two faces, one of which is like rage crying, like, no, you can't
just do that.
Yeah.
Haha, crest scopes.
That's definitely Dimitri. No, you can't just declare war on the church and throw all of Fodwin into chaos. And Edelgard going, haha, war machine go burn.
We need to make this. That's gonna be the promo for this episode. So I think this was a good talk on Edelgard, and we didn't call her a Nazi, ironically or unironically. So I think we did a good job.
Oh, fuck, you just did. Yeah. God damn it, now we have to talk about
I said
it.
we didn't.
I've got the translation here for that line. It is, and will it sate you to conquer and trample us in return?
That's so much better.
Yeah, it's like
that one or catch these hands. Only two options. Or Sinner says, "Burr machine, go on," like that. That's it.
I do have one more comment I want to make on Edelgard before we move on to Azure Moon, and I think this will make a good.
We have more Black Eagle talk, but yes.
Yeah,
Bleagles.
I think this will make a good segue because after playing with Dimitri for so long and hearing from you, Mia, about Claude's story and everything, I feel like Edelgard doesn't really have an arc. You know, like, I'm not done with Crimson Flower yet, but as far as I've gotten, she's still saying the exact same things now she has been saying all game. Like, there's no emotional development at all.
Okay, I feel like there is an arc, but the arc happens mostly pre-time skip of her trusting you, and then it's the arc, kind of the end parts of the arc are more like her B support and A support, where like she actually opens up to you after you choose her side, of course.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But so the arc isn't like
obvious.
Centered on throughout the time skip chapters as much as it kind of happens in the background before the time skip and after you side with her and through the time skip that you don't see. Because in the time skip that you don't see, she keeps the Black Eagles with her. Every other route, you have to join up together at the ruins of the monastery. But in Edelgard's route, she's kept the Black Eagle Strike Force with her.
That's true.
So,
that is actually an interesting point.
I think her thing is... The thing is that I think the difference that they make of, like, you choosing Edelgard versus not choosing her is she gets more and more, what's the word I'm looking for? She can't open her heart up to people. She can't feel their pain. She can't empathize with them. So, like, when she's fighting Dimitri and other routes, she's not like, wow, that sucks for him. She's like, nope, gotta take you down. War machine, buzz, like that.
War machine,
like, unironically. Yeah. So, like, but because you chose her even after she betrayed you, she was so, like, overwhelmed by how you were able to connect with her and support her, you know, no matter what, that she was a lot more sympathetic and empathetic with everyone around her. So it kind of opened her hearts up to the suffering of people, which isn't as obvious, but you can see it in her way. Like, she mentions it a couple times in the post-time skip of, like, because of you, Professor, I'm able to, like, keep the light in my heart, or, you know, it's like, something like that.
It's like Violet was like, I believe in you, Edelgard. And Edelgard was like, wow, maybe I can believe in other people too.
Yeah.
But you don't really, it's not like in your face as much, and it's not the focus as much as like Dimitri's arc over Azure Moon.
Yeah. So
Dimitri's arc is like very in the plot. Edelgard's arc seems to be more like in the background, just like how she like interfaces with the world.
Yes, exactly.
She's still going to be like the Flame Emperor, you know?
Yeah.
Like she's still going to be the one on the warpath.
Does she?
She's still going to be the one who is to the rest of Fodlan. Like
I forget. In the pre-time skip, there's a lot of situations where people are going like, haha, maybe that's too difficult for you, Edelgard. And she basically goes, you calling me a fucking pussy?
Yeah.
Does she do that in the post-time skip? Is she as defensive?
I don't remember.
There's a lot of teasing of people being like...
There's like Claude teases Dimitri and Edelgard just blows up.
Like in the post time skip, like after your first mission, where at like the Great Bridge of Myrden, I think it's Ferdinand who says something like, well, "I guess we can cross off one of Edelgard's catchphrases, like if the professor were here, we could break the stalemate in the war." And she's like, all right, shut the fuck up. You didn't need to say that.
All right.
I feel like that's and then
funny.
Remember when like Caspar's like, wow, like Edelgard was like so broken up over you disappearing, and she's like, shut up, Caspar.
Yeah. There's a lot of that happens after the skip.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's pretty subtle, but I do think since she kind of has the most, like, clear-cut ideology, like, at least, you know, she feels the most upfront about it, that a lot of the development does happen in the background, but it is kind of like blink and miss it kind of things.
Yeah, and like I said,
Yeah.
it's like kind
But
of
speaking of
the time skip.
Black Eagles Strike Force, the name that took her a whole night to come up with, gotta love
It's so funny.
so
She
funny.
was
That
like,
was so funny. I
it's
remember
so
because
funny.
I was watching Ben
El
make the choice, and it's
Shagiano.
like you have the option to be like, isn't that a little much?
Yeah.
And she's like, what the fuck do you mean? That's the sickest shit I could ever think of.
It's so funny. She's such a toonie, and it's really funny. Like, the whole
fuck do you
point of her
mean?
idea is, like,
Okay, and don't
toonie
forget,
shit.
Oh,
and
that's
don't
a good
forget that
point.
Hubert came up with those who slither in the dark, and Edelgard
Yeah,
was like,
he's not much
that's
better.
a good name.
Yeah, they're
Wait,
both
Oh, he
toonies.
definitely did
Hubert
that,
come
like,
up-
to pander to
Hubert didn't
her,
come up
though.
with that.
No, Rhea
Yeah.
calls them that in Verdant Wind.
Yeah, that's not a Hubert
These-
original.
Oh, no,
Hubert presents
that's
it as
sad.
something he invented.
Hubert almost looks like a guy who slithers in the dark, so I feel like he would, that would hit too
Well,
close
in
to
the
home.
No,
shadows
can we
will
talk?
fight
Oh my
those
god.
who
Like,
slither in
Sinris,
the
you said
dark.
you love Hubert. I despise him.
What? How
He
can
has,
you?
he has
I'm not-
resting
Okay, let's go.
villain
Condolences.
face. And the number of times you
know.
fight him in Nut Crimson where he goes,
Oh, well, that's true, yeah.
I have to retreat. I can't die like this. And then he does that
I feel like
5 times.
He's such a fully realized character as an antagonist in those because
Such
like
an asshole,
by the
just
time you
runs away.
finish, you fucking hate him because you fight him and he runs away so many times. And
But
all
he
of
also
those
starts
times,
every
he just,
fight
like,
with, time to end this, Professor. And then I end it and he goes,
the only way he fights
no.
is he just like meteors you from halfway across
Yeah.
the map.
Yeah, fuck that
if
shit.
you let down
Piece
your
of
guard
shit.
for 2 seconds.
And then he just kills like
you
2 of your
have
guys.
3
Yeah.
bow knights all at
I
once.
like him
you
much
piece
better
of shit.
post time skip because not only is he much hotter,
He has
but
the
he's, like,
Kuro
nicer
haircut,
Yeah.
kinda.
Ooh, tell me more.
That's it. That's all there is to
like
it.
he's nicer to you after the time skip because he like,
Yeah.
actually trusts you and he's not like fucking murder you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
Hubert is that guy that
He
you
opens
hate to
up.
go against but love to have in your corner.
And his relationship with Edelgard is, I don't know. It's a little sus.
What do you mean? He's a simp. We know what it
He
is.
simps so hard.
Yes, this is him.
That's his support with Dorothea.
Yo, I
And she's
love
like,
that.
listen, you just follow Edelgard around and you do all this because you're secretly in love with her. Don't deny it. I know it's true.
But then I love his support with Dorothea, where
Dorothea.
she's like, "What if we have to get married?" He's like, "What? That's kind of cool, but I didn't consider that ever. Look at that.
Yeah,
That's
their
awesome."
A support is just like, what if we get married? Haha. And he's like,
JK, what if we
married to
put our
me, get to know
Minecraft
me?
beds next to each other?
I do love it though. I love their A support. I could see them as like, I can kind of ship it. I'm down with it.
their paired ending is really cool because
Yeah.
Dorothea is like a spy for Hubert. and she,
Yeah.
like, the traveling opera. I
Oh,
really
that's
love
sick.
their
Oh,
paired
that
ending.
rules.
That's
It's
really
awesome.
sick.
Oh, that rules
I like
so
that.
much.
So we've kind of danced around it, but it's time to talk about the Black Eagle Strike Force. We got Dorothea and Hubert we've been talking about them, but what do you guys think of them all as a group?
I think,
Like as a squad?
I think
Petra
as
I
an
really
entire
like-
squad,
No, okay, I have beef. I feel like
Oh,
Petra
really?
is so overrated beyond her design.
Who?
And I
Yeah,
have
I
beef.
know. I can get that.
Yeah.
I just need to say it. 'cause I do-
What the fuck?
I do really
Yes.
love Petra.
I love her.
I think if you in your Verdant Wind playthrough, I implore you, please recruit Petra.
Okay.
Do her supports with Claude. They're hysterical.
I'm
They're like
down-
some of
I'm
my
gonna do
favorite
it.
supports. in the
I
whole
will
game.
do it because my beef with her is I like her character as a concept. Like I totally love she's a princess of a colony that was like taken by the
Hunter
Empire.
tribe.
Technically, it's not a
She's
colony.
trying-
It's
Close
a
enough,
vassal
whatever.
state.
Yeah,
Yeah.
close enough.
She's a
that's
and
a
she's
political hostage.
She's a
yeah,
political
and I
hostage.
like that, and I like how she's like trying to prove herself, and she's a tank in battle. But I hate how that's kind of like her support with everyone is like, I am a foreigner, but I'm going to keep trying hard. Also,
I am
I have
being the
broken
foreigner.
English. Yeah, like,
Yeah, that's true.
and I kind of wish they have some diversity with that. So my favorite support for her is Caspar's. Like I feel like
Yeah.
that's one of the coolest
Yeah.
supports in
Yeah.
the game because it
'cause-
actually shows the like. Some hostility from her, not like really hostility, like she's not actually resenting him, but like just exploring that concept of her character of like, I'm going to school with the guys whose dad killed my dad. That's so cool. And I like exploring that. And I wish they had more of that, just showing her kind of resenting her situation just a bit, even if she's still mostly optimistic. I'd like to see a bit more of that darkness in her.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of that in her supports with Hubert as well, where their C support begins with her like looking out off the wall of Garrick Mach in the direction of Brigid, and he's like, oh, like despite how you act, you do miss home. And then he like needles her about how she'll never be as good a queen as Edelgard.
Yeah, and I was like, we get it. No one will be as good as Edelgard.
Yeah, but you're no Edelgard, are you?
Yeah.
Isn't Hubert like 23? Imagine like needling some teen.
Yeah, because she's as old as like she's super young. I forget. She's like 14. Yeah, she's like 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so I like, obviously my favorite is Dorothea, my queen, my idol.
Love Dorothea. I married Dorothea in Claude playthrough.
Nice, good call. I mean, I married her through fan art and not in the game because I have to ship her with so many people because she has so many great ships. So I'm like juggling like who do I ship her with? But I think she's a really great character as, a commoner who's among all these nobles. She hates the nobility, but she also kind of wants to marry them. Like, we get to explore a lot of that. We get a lot of, like, world building through her character, so I appreciate that, too.
Yeah,
she also has a great design, and she's a queen.
What I like about the Black Eagles is that, like, they're kind of, like, a weird group at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, they don't really mesh with each other super well. Like, I don't know.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, but then even just before the time skip, they kind of like adjust to each other and they become this good group. And then in like Crimson Flower or in any route other than Silver Snow, because they kind of stick with Edelgard in other routes if you don't recruit them. But like they become this type group that like is a group that you wouldn't really expect them to make if you saw it like from the beginning how they are with each other.
Yeah, there's a lot of bickering at the beginning.
It's pretty dope. I have to say, I haven't done Golden Deers, so, opinion can change, but they are my favorite, like, group of people. I like them as a group. Like, my favorite class as, like, an entity. As a strike force, they are my favorite.
Yeah, I think as a whole, like, I think if I had to pick a squad that's my favorite, it would be like the 4 childhood friends in Blue Lions.
They're my favorite sub-squad.
But if you have to take like the whole house, then I would say that Black Eagles is my favorite.
Yes, squad up. Great take.
Okay, we were talking about Dorothea. I love how naturally Dorothea kind of like slots into that Blue Lions group. Because the only one she doesn't have a support with is Dimitri. She supports with Felix and Ingrid and Sylvain. And she should have more supports with Ingrid and one with Dimitri, but it feels like she's like a really kind of natural addition despite being so different.
She feels like a natural addition to like each group she's in.
Yeah.
I agree.
I stand.
Really well.
Can we talk about her stupid hat?
No, we're not talking about this.
I was going to say, we've got to take a poll. Hat or no hat?
No hat.
I like the hat. I like the hat.
I like the hat.
I like the hat.
I like hat and no hat. I don't want to pick. I like both.
I do like both.
That was
My take is that without the hat, I'm really drawn to the fact that she's just like way pastier than I think she should be. Her skin tone is just this like really strange, like sickly pale color,
and her hair is very
even
flat.
like Edelgard, who has like a little more warmth.
Maybe that's like really. Maybe that's pale. Her being more attractive to nobles because like in oldie times, like nobility was super pale because you had to be indoors. And
I actually like that.
Didn't she like she kind of was malnourished a little as a kid, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like it's
she was bathing in fountains.
Yeah. Also, I like.
That's a good take.
That is a good take. Dorothea Queen. I like Ferdinand a lot, unironically. Beams aside.
Yes.
He's a good boy.
He's growing out his hair, and he's like, "Does it look like I'm trying too hard?" You have to be like, "No, it suits you, man."
Okay, here's the Ferdinand deep lore: is that after the time skip, he has the really long hair and all.
Yeah.
This was revealed in some like character materials or interview or something. Mustache. Is that everybody like thinks that he grew his hair out to be like cool and fashionable. Nice. But actually whenever anybody suggests that, it makes him really upset because the truth is he was just like super stressed out by the war and just like couldn't function and take care of himself.
Aw.
Yeah.
I support that. Because he definitely took the change the hardest. Because his dad lost his position and it was like his world came out from under him. He's like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like at some point during the time skip, Edelgard tells him why, but before the time skip, he doesn't know why, and he's super stressed out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if Ferdinand and Hubert have conversations about their dead dads, and Hubert is like, I killed mine myself. It was delectable. Look here, this is the dagger I used.
Technically, the Prime Minister, he isn't actually dead yet.
Deep lore? Speaking of deep lore, do you guys know what Hubert's secret dream is?
No way.
Yes, become a Pegasus Knight.
Hubert wants to become a Pegasus Knight, but he's afraid of heights.
Oh my god.
Huh.
It's tragic. It's honestly
so
the
adorable.
most tragic thing about this entire game.
You gotta love him now. He's so cute. He's just afraid of heights.
Right?
I know. He's so cute.
That did endear me a lot to Hubert, and notably since I haven't consumed Black Eagles in any way, I don't really know much about him, but I'm now way more on board for Darkfire Hubert.
I rememred another Hubert moment that made me not like him is when after something horrible happens, I forget what it is, he's on the bridge, and he's like, oh yeah, this bad thing happened. What do you think about it, Professor? And you go, yeah, that was kind of terrible. And he goes, that easy to get under your skin, huh?
I see. Kind of guy you guys are all a bunch of choonies.
And I'm just like, a tragedy just happened, dude. And you're testing me? You fucking asshole.
Yeah. It's so funny. I love him. And then also after your dad dies, and everyone else is like, Professor, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? He's like, I'm not much one for condolences. So here's some logic instead. This is how we can use the fact
feelings only that's the best thing he could have done.
Oh, is that what he says in Black Eagles?
Yeah.
Well, in other routes, he just goes, I'm not one for condolences, and just says nothing else.
He then says, so here's some logic instead. Now the Knights of Saros have spread out to try to search for the killers, so security is low. Maybe that's what their real goal was.
Yeah.
That's real.
Okay, but I think that's actually one of the best things he could have said, because he would be shit with condolences. So I feel like that's his way of apologizing and saying, yeah, I'm not good with this whole sympathy thing.
Bruh, I'm so sorry,
and
bruh.
I feel like the implication is he does feel a little sympathetic for you, but he's just really bad at expressing it. And that's probably completely my interpretation.
I think there's some truth in that.
Expressing it, so yeah.
Yeah, I think there's some truth in that for sure.
It's
I think it's
implied apology for not being.
It's just a Hubert thing. So what do you guys think of? What do you guys think of the rest of the squad? Because I heard you guys loving Linhardt before too. We stand the Lazy King.
Linhardt is my next favorite in the group.
Linhardt slaps.
Love him. He's really great. I do love everyone in the group. Even Caspar. I didn't think I would like Caspar, but he really grew on me.
He's the best one. No, he's not.
Okay,
Caspar's my least favorite of the group.
I do love Caspar because one of the first things, and another thing that convinced me to buy the game was Jack sent me Caspar and Dorothea's B support, where they're calling each other Big Bro and Big Sis.
Oh yeah.
It's being
oh my god,
so cringy.
I love wonderful. It. I love when Edelgard came to him and was like, yo, your life kind of is tough because your older brother's gonna inherit your house. And he's like, Edelgard, that's the problem with you. You just assume that everyone is down on their luck. He's like, I'm so fine with this. I'm gonna make my own way. I'm gonna go out and
fine with this. I don't have any responsibilities. I could just fight crime. Hell yeah.
yeah. Gonna fuck up all these random thieves. This is living. But it's a cool attitude to have.
Is Randolph his brother?
No, Randolph is
the red-nosed reindeer.
Well, no, I think actually Randolph
is part of his house.
I think Randolph is a half-brother.
Is he the older one who's going to inherit the house, though?
No. That's another brother. His brother that's
another brother we don't get to see.
Yeah, we never see his brother or his dad, which would be kind of cool to see.
I think Flesh is...
that the Black Eagles Glen?
Yeah.
I think
think so.
Flesh is Caspar's aunt.
Flesh?
What?
Okay.
Flesh?
Yeah, the one with the pigtails and the thing,
the one who
the one who kills Rodrigue.
The one who kills Rodrigue.
Oh no! Yeah, fuck that person. I hate her. Yeah, but
that was a dumb twist. Of course, you had to kill Dimitri's other dad, Rodrigue.
No dads may live.
Except
dad
only because he renounced his dadhood.
Yeah, Gilbert renounced his dadhood, so he was allowed.
Smartest thing he's ever done.
Wait,
he was spared by the goddess.
Speaking of no dads even alive, or even when they're alive, they're not much of a father figure. This sounds like a good transition to Azure Moon. But do you guys have anything else on?
While we're talking about dads, we haven't mentioned Bernadetta's.
I was going to say
the worst dad.
Bernadetta.
Awful dad.
So okay, but I will say this about Bernadetta's dad. I think one thing that really fucks me up is...
Are you about to say Bernadetta's dad did nothing wrong?
I'm not about to say Bernadetta's dad did nothing wrong. I am about to say that Bernadetta's A support with Yuri turns the Bernadetta dad story on its head, but I will say that I haven't played Black Eagle, so I don't know the full extent of it, but in her A support with Yuri reveals that so first off, Yuri is the childhood friend that Bernadetta mentions in some of her other sports getting beaten up.
Interesting.
By her dad, and that's like the main reason she's scared to make friends with commoners. Yuri reveals that he was actually sent as an assassin to kill Bernadetta.
What?
Oh, what a twist.
That's dumb. That's like justifying her dad. I don't like that.
I mean, her dad can still be an asshole.
Yeah, her dad can. The thing is, her dad can still be an asshole, but it definitely kind of flipped a little bit.
I mean, there's probably other friends she made that he killed for the wrong reason.
Right, and her response to that is basically like, "Oh well, like, cool, we can be friends now." Like, because he's like, "But I tried to, like, I was sent to kill you," and she's like, "Yeah, but you didn't," and like, "You didn't because you became friends with me and you cared about me. That's what like a good person would do." And he's like,
"No, I didn't because your dad sent me away." Okay,
sure. Let's be friends. That sounds really nice.
I'll take it.
I don't know. I will say that without that throwing like a curveball in her backstory, I really love Bernadetta. I recommend strongly that you do her supports with Felix.
I love those. Those are really fun.
They're so cute.
I do recommend every support with Felix, TBH.
They're kind of great.
Their technique.
Yeah. But I think it's a good
Are you a Felix stan?
Me?
Have you seen his haircut? Have you seen how he acts?
Panic, I'm not listening to you about hair ever again. You have awful hair takes. And I'm looking at your hair avatar with Arachnia. I don't know if I'm feeling it.
What? How dare you? That's the first time I'm ever hearing of this, so I think you just made that up.
I might have, but I don't know how I feel. We'll have to see. We'll see.
No, I'm not bashing his hair. I'm saying he has crow hair. Kinda.
No, you didn't say he had crow hair. You said, have you seen his haircut? I understood the implications.
Yeah, and I say you're attracted to that hair.
Yeah, that's right. But that's not a bad thing.
No, I never said it was a bad thing. For fuck's sake.
In defense of Felix,
Panic for no reason. I just came at Panic when he wasn't insulting me.
I wasn't even trying to fight. I'm catching hands for no reason. I don't know why.
I'm throwing hands, and this is not the time. Sorry, what were you guys saying?
I forget.
Well, I don't know. Just to cap off Bernadetta, I think for her, like, her C support was either her or Petra. I got their C supports like very close together very early on in the game. And that was the point at which I was first like, oh, this game isn't throwing punches. Like, this girl is a political prisoner who's basically being held as a hostage to ensure, like, her father's cooperation.
Right.
And this other girl was abused by her father to her point that her mother, like, mailed her away from the house in order to save her life.
Right.
Like,
yeah. I do love...
From that point on, I started walking around the monastery just looking at, like, everyone from the other houses just, like, being cheerful and, like, what are you hiding?
What's your tragic backstory?
Even if you die.
Yeah, I do love that Bernadetta isn't, like, a glamorized version of a hikikomori. Like, she's a legitimate shut-in because she has mental trauma.
But then you have
they don't play it up as, like, this cute thing.
Best friend Caspar, who just fucking yeets her off.
Caspar yeeting her out of her situation.
Just... Hey, leave me alone. I want to stay here. No, bitch. Come with me.
So Ingrid actually like breaks down her door to get into her room.
He full on breaks in and just like carries her away, which is
scary.
It's like the Very Odd Parents meme of like, I'm knocking at the door to respect your privacy, but as your parent, I'm gonna barge in anyway, and then they just come right in.
It is like that.
To like all of Linhart's supports, I also really like his one with Bernadetta, where he's like, listen, Bernadetta, I'm not here to, like, tell you to socialize more. You fucking got it made. Like, tell me the secret. How do I get people to accept that I just want to stay in my room all the time?
You figured it out. What's your secret?
They're so quirky. I love this crew.
I fucking love Linhart. Damn, I wish I recruited him.
I wish I was Linhart.
Yeah, me too.
Me too, honestly.
Also, he's just, like, fucking the smartest guy in the whole game.
Yeah.
Like, his C support with Flayn, he's just like, so Flayn, I've noticed that you're literally Saint Sethlean.
So, would you like to talk about how you're literally fucking Saint Sethlean?
Yeah. Yeah, meanwhile, you have Ignaz's support, where he's, like,
oh my
just
god,
painting. And,
you're so like her.
and Flane is like, so Ignatz, what are you painting? He's like, oh, I was painting the statue of Saint Kathleen.
That's not how I look, I mean.
Ignatz, my friend, we're friends, yes? Consider this, paint me in all the glory you would Saint Kathleen. And he's like, okay, well, that's kind of weird. Like, why would you want me to do that? And she's like,
no reason.
Listen, I'll make it worth your while. It'll be great.
Before we move on to Azure Moon, since we just brought her up, shall we tackle Flame now? Since she is a member of your house in whatever house you choose.
Yeah,
that's
the
right.
cinnamon roll of all. Like, her hair is literally just 2 huge cinnabuns.
Alright, they're so weird.
I feel like Edelgard's hair is more cinnabunny post time skip.
Oh, yeah,
Kind
Flames
of,
is
yeah.
like they're...
Yeah.
Flames are
What's
just
it
like...
called? Deconstructed.
What are they? Yeah, they're the like curls. I forget what they're called. Drill
Princess
curls or
curls.
whatever.
The drills?
Yeah, she's a drill.
Yeah,
I
I'm not a
unironically
fan.
grow that. If I have long hair, I get those.
Wait, make it happen.
I have pictures.
You're gonna need a hell of a
I will
fucking curler.
reform and compliment your hair if you
you.
do that.
And I also am growing it out again.
Ooh,
Oh.
nice. Social distancing
luck.
perks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
good point, actually. Oh, maybe now is the
Now's
time.
the time to have that stupid middle part of growing
We've
out
got
your
a
hair
few
where you look
weeks
like a
before
fucking
society
idiot.
rebuilds to the point that we reinvent barbers. So
Yeah, true.
Yeah. I'm kind of whatever on Flane. I think she's like
Cute.
kind of annoying. I don't know, she's fine. But I respect her role in this story. Like, I like that she's actually a saint. Like, I like that twist. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I've played with her like twice now,
Yeah.
so I'm like, here you are in my house again. I didn't ask for this, but here you are.
I have to
I feel
wonder.
I feel like she's disappointingly boring for what she is.
I have to wonder how many people know their secret because they're shit at keeping it. We can't be the only ones. They must just slip it up all the time.
I'm pretty pro Flane's existence in the story, mostly because she provides this weird like humor layer that a lot of other characters don't. I don't know. She just she enters the situation and she just has absolutely no idea what she's
Have you
doing.
seen her?
And
That's true.
Her supports
It's true
with
that
Sylvain.
that can get.
Oh, no,
her
continue.
support with Sylvain.
It's so
Her
fucking
support with
funny.
Sylvain, where
That's
she's
funny.
like, I must
insist.
I'm
insist that you
Sylvain.
keep your distance.
But Senna has told me I'm not to be within 100 yards of you.
Pour
Yeah.
one out for my boy.
I love that she talks. It's all taking place in like old-timey pseudo-Europe fantasy
I think
medieval
that-
times, but she talks like that.
Yeah.
I think Flane is like just weird enough to not be boring for me.
I feel that too. Yeah, like
Her
Yeah,
supports
every-
are generally
Maybe-
pretty great.
Maybe my mind will change on Flame when I use her more because
Yeah.
in Crimson
Gotta get
Flower,
more of a
before the
support,
time skip,
'cause
I
she's
knew I was
just,
gonna
like,
side with Edelgard,
Curious
so I
as
just
shit about
completely
everything.
ignore Flame.
that makes sense, right?
I will say that using her as a unit will not endear her to you because she sucks.
She
Yeah,
is
that's why
the
I
worst,
have
yes.
some resentment towards her because I'm like, I can't even use you in battle. Like, what are you doing?
Does she even have physic or whatever it's called? Long range heal? I don't think she does.
No, she doesn't.
No, I
she
think
doesn't.
it's Annette that doesn't have that.
I think
No,
Flane also
Flane
might
doesn't
not
have
have
it.
it because
She
I never
gets, she
use
gets
Flane, and there must be a
she
reason.
she gets rescue, which is nice.
She gets rescue,
But
and
she
she
does-
gets
she
the
does not
big
have
restore, whatever, mass heal.
Rescue, it only goes like 5 spaces. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna rescue you from like 4 meters away, okay?
Yeah,
That's
rescue
it's
is the
useless.
best. Rescue is the best when you have to do her annoying desert paralog or the beach paralog.
Oh, fuck that
Yeah.
beach map, dude.
I hate the beach.
beach map so
Oh,
much.
that's great.
Me
Okay,
too.
70% of my army can just not move. Okay, great.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
gotta
horses can't do
dismount.
shit. Awesome.
You gotta dismount
Yeah.
from the horses. And
Yeah.
then
I
you
will
use your
say-
mages, because mages can go on sand.
For whatever reason,
Okay.
mages are just great at walking in water.
they've that's always been the thing in all Fire Emblem games, and I've never really understood.
I guess it's
why,
because
like,
they are
mages
not
just
weighed
have terrain
down by their
immunities.
armor or something. I don't
It's
know.
probably
Yeah, that makes
because-
sense.
I think it's also for meta reasons, it's because there's not a lot of horde of mounted magic
Mhm.
classes, so they're like, we need to get them some sort of terrain advantage, so they chose that.
That makes
So
sense.
sand
Right. It's like
and shallow water.
if they can't like do because Darkfire wasn't the thing until like the Awakening era.
Yeah.
And like older games had like Troubadour as like a mounted healer, and then Valkyrie. Sacred Stones added Mage Knight, which was like effectively like Dark Knight or Valkyrie is in Three Houses. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
So bless
Anyway.
up Flane. We kind of appreciate her. You know, close
Yeah.
enough.
I was
Close
really
enough.
sad when I had to kill her at the beginning of Crimson Flower.
Yeah.
I was
True.
sad, but not sad enough.
You don't have to kill her. If you
Can
fight
you
her
not?
with Byleth, she retreats. And then you can also go to Sedith and have him retreat.
Oh,
but
really?
So I didn't realize that until I had like deployed on the map.
No, how would you?
So I had to like get my Byleth from like the other side and go way around. So I could
that would be
That's
annoying.
too bad. I
No,
sent
I'll just
Byleth
kill
all
him.
the way to the other side, and he got his ass rocked by Gilbert.
Oh no. Yeah, I would just meteor them and be like, bye-bye, we're done.
Dad
You know,
Yeah.
too much work to save you. Die, please.
Yep.
My
Speaking
last
of
word on
die,
Flane.
please.
Speaking of Gilbert,
Wait.
Speaking
My
of
last
Gil-
word on Flane. Do Flane Raphael. It's the funniest part
Yes.
of the game. That's it.
Oh, nice. Okay, I can see this.
I also
Yeah,
do
it's
appreciate
absolutely
that
hysterical.
she canonically keeps elf ears inside the big curls.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, her
She
hair
hair
makes
is there
sense.
for a reason.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
I know that.
Wait,
Rhea
now
has-
I don't
yeah,
hate
they
her
all
hair
have
as
elf
much.
ears, because in
Sedith and Cethleen and Rhea.
you can see her elf ears.
Yeah, they all have
They
pointy
all have
ears.
hair that covers their ears because they have
They
elf
have
ears.
big stupid hair for reasons.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's
Fascinating.
good
But
to
then on
know.
a windy day, it's just like, oh fuck, now my ears are out. Shit.
Okay, so speaking of die, please die, let's go on to Azure Moon with Dimitri, one of his favorite quotes of all time, just yelling at people
Kill
to
every
die.
last one of them.
Every
I'll
last
have her
one
head.
of them.
Crush their skulls.
What is his one? It's like, I'll have your head and hang it above Enbar. That one?
I'll hang your head on the gates of Enbar.
Okay, high key, I want to say that
He's
I
got
didn't get
the
to play that
greatest
much
murder
with
talk.
the English sub, but I did check out a few clips here and there, but I love the English dub for this game a lot.
Yes.
And I think
It's
the
really
best
great.
example is the Dimitri going crazy scene. You see, like, his English voice actor absolutely killing it, and his, Japanese voice actor does such a great job, but you really feel that insanity when the English voice actor just yells, like, hang your head from the gates of Enbar, like that, like, full crazy.
I fucking love Dimitri's voice actor. Like, that man
Love him.
absolutely fucking killed it with
One of
all
the cool
his...
parts of this game is that a lot of the voice actors are engaged with the fandom, so they post a lot on Twitter and other social media sites.
Oh, yes.
So they had that phase when they had the Instagram filter where it shows like which you do the like the thing where you're like making a story and then you hold it down and
Yeah,
it
it's
like randomly chooses
it
a
raffles
character.
who your character is, yeah.
Yeah, and then the Dimitri voice actor got Ferdinand, so he's just like, I am Ferdinand von Eyre, and it was so funny.
Verdant von Eyre.
Yeah, it was so funny. I got Sylvain, by the way. I made everyone do it. I don't think you guys did it.
I did
Panda
post
did.
time
No,
skip
I didn't.
Edelgard, and I got
I
pre-time
can do
skip
it later if you'd
Petra?
like.
Yeah, I think you got Petra, but you got Edelgard, and
I
you
got
were
Edelgard
sad. And
first
I'm
time, and I
like,
was
you're
like,
the only one.
what?
You're like the only one
Shit.
sad. You got Edelgard. But yeah, I got
really
Sylvain.
like the Blue Lions. I'm a huge fan of them as a unit. I think they're just...
I like
Azure Moon
them.
is
The
so
Claude and Dorothea VAs have done a bunch of
They did YouTube videos together.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
going
do.
through
They do,
Fire
like,
Emblem
meme
memes and
reviews.
stuff.
Yes,
You want to know
I
what
love
fucks me
it.
up the most? Dorothea and Shamir have the same,
Same voice actor, yeah.
Yeah, who'd have
That's
thought?
so fucking wild.
It's
Okay,
crazy.
sorry, I just need to get that off
Too
my chest.
hot.
No, this was good. I like Azure Moon a lot. I did it as my second route. And
Same.
I have to say, kind of like you guys were talking about going into the game, Dimitri easily looked like the most boring character to me. Like
He looks
blonde hair,
very
blue
cookie
eye,
cutter, plain.
pasta hair. We'll get
Look,
into
here
it.
is
again.
tall
Yeah.
blue boy. Tall blue boy.
Yeah.
He's a classic
And, like,
Fire Emblem lord. He wears blue. He is a noble. I don't know. He just looks. He looks like I'm gonna go play a Fire Emblem game. I'll pick Dimitri. Whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, doesn't
he
have a
looks
sword,
like the
though.
most traditional, and then you get into the
can
game,
do swords,
and
though.
it's really obvious that like there's a lot of intrigue behind him. There's a lot going on. You can't tell from the first chapter what the darkness beneath him, whatever they said
Yeah,
in that.
yeah.
Like there's a lot more
sense of
going on
darkness.
beneath the surface, and as the story goes on, it's really really fascinating to see his character devolve, and I
Yeah,
think it's a
I
cool
agree.
twist. It's so interesting
Yeah.
to see.
Yeah.
It's like at the beginning when you get the first supports with him and Felix.
Yeah.
And Felix is like,
The Boar
Poor
Prince.
Prince, you
The Boar
monster. And you're like, Felix, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, my initial thought when that happened, I was like, okay, so Felix hates Dimitri because he hates everyone.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is fine.
Yeah, that
I
kind of
love
is how
that.
it
And then
came
you
off.
get to post time skip, and Dimitri is just like completely off his rocker, and Felix is just like, guys, I fucking told you.
What I say?
What
Yeah,
did
my
I say,
favorite-
guys?
My favorite like description of Felix is like Felix is a huge asshole. He's also 100% right. And
Yeah.
that's like kind
Yeah.
of what he is. He's just like a tremendous asshole to everyone, but there's honestly some truth behind everything he says, mostly with Dimitri. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
he was the most he was the most aware of his declining mental state, and he didn't bring it up in a good way. He's just kind of like Boar Prince, lol, fuck you. Like,
also the way Dimitri responds, though.
Okay, so I recruited Felix
your parents
for Crimson
died.
Flower.
Oh, poor.
I recruited Felix for Crimson Flower, and I liked him a lot. But then when I started Azure Moon, it just... I mean, I knew that Dimitri, like, goes feral, but I felt like he was still too mean to Dimitri. It's like, he's just being mean to Dimitri and not, doing anything about it.
Because the way Dimitri responds, like, okay, he talks about merciless, bloodthirsty boy prince, and Dimitri is like, crazy Felix. Change of topic.
He doesn't fully deny it. That's the thing.
No, he doesn't deny anything. He's just like, let's talk about something else real quick.
Well, yeah, he's kind of like, Felix is like, I remember when you went on that killing rampage, and Dimitri's like, yeah, okay, but moving on. Like, he just leaves the room because, like, he knows that that's a part of him, but he can't really justify it yet.
Yeah, and he can't accept it.
But he just lets Felix, like, bully the shit out of him because he has no response. Like, he just constantly gets bullied by Felix. And I do really feel bad for Felix. I mean, for Dimitri. I don't feel bad for Felix bullying everyone, but...
Right, and it's pretty clear that, like, post-timeskip, Dimitri, like, does feel super... Like, Dimitri's whole character is, like, really just survivor guilt-driven.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, he feels all of the stuff that Felix is saying. He just, like, he can't admit anything to Felix, like, in their C-support, because...
He's like, if he admits it, it's real. So
right.
Because after all, you know, have you guys heard of the tragedy of Duskor?
The tragedy of Discord.
The tragedy of Discord. We experienced that earlier today. Fun fact. But the tragedy of Duskor is interesting because it's like this one big event that shaped the lives of everyone. You know, some more than others, but even like
Not
people
really
like
Claude.
Ash, like. Well, mostly in like the Kingdom of Foe.
Yeah, the two big moving parts in the war.
Well, I don't know if it impacted the Empire as much. Like, it did, but not as much.
Yeah.
It's pretty much like a kingdom tragedy.
It's a kingdom thing. Because, like, it obviously impacted, like, the 4 childhood friends' favorite sub-squad roll up, and it impacted people like Ash, like, his adopted brother, I think, was blamed for it and killed. It impacted Dedue, the goat, like, obviously impacted him.
Everybody's favorite bro,
Dedue.
The biggest bro in the game.
Yeah. Dedue's the best.
Doug Dimmadue.
He even shows up in Verdant Wind, just like one-man army at the
Oh my god.
That rules.
He just kicks in the door next to Edelgard. It's like, what up, bitches?
It's like, yo,
surprise,
I know you
motherfucker.
killed Dimitri 4 chapters ago, but you didn't kill me. I have 35 defense. Surprise, bitch, but you thought you'd seen the last of me.
I love Dedue. I love his emote. Like, we have his we've made a funny emote of him, like, smiling weirdly. I love it. Use it all the time.
His scary smile.
Scary smile.
I haven't seen this. Where's this?
Scary Dedue smile.
I'll post it. Is
that from his Ingrid A support?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
What?
Yeah.
What? Is that real?
I've never seen this.
Yeah.
No, that's not real.
It's edited.
That's the Photoshop.
Yeah, that's the Photoshop one.
The eyebrow expression is what he does in his A support with Ingrid.
He's the king of forehead.
Like, I made a village child cry, Ingrid. How do I stop that from happening?
Smile.
She's like, please just don't smile. Just don't do it again.
And she's like, first you stop doing that. That's not going to help your case.
Yeah, I love this crew. I feel like they're really wholesome, and I think like each crew kind of matches the theme of their respective route, and I feel like this crew was all about kind of like getting over past trauma to like move forward in various ways.
I feel like this crew has most... Go ahead.
Something I want to comment on about the Blue Lions is that, like, they're kind of, a lot of them are, like, already kind of friends with each other. Like, Annette and Mercedes, and then the childhood friend game. But when you start, like, going into their supports, you find that they're, like, more fractured.
Yeah. For sure.
Like, they seem closer on the outside, but really they're just, like, think about, like,
there's a lot of
Mercedes.
They have a lot of history,
like Dimitri's mind.
They, like, argue for, like, 5 years. Because you don't get A support till the time skip.
That's low-key, like, a really dumb support. I kind of hate that.
It is,
Anyways,
it's pretty bad.
I hate that.
Yeah.
They could have just been in love. It would have been fine.
Oh, they're childhood friends. So, like,
they pick her over, like, one of them saving the other in town, and it's like, this is really worth feuding for 5 years over? What?
Yeah.
And they do that when you have them, like, paired to, like, do stuff. Like, they're awkward when they're, you know, clean. What are the, like, heavy armor supports and, like, tending the horses and stuff?
Meals.
I'm like, you guys are really awkward about this? We got war coming up. We ain't got time for this. Like,
don't time for this shit. Grow up.
The timeline of supports doesn't really make sense. There's so many of them that are like, hey, by the way, following up on our conversation the other day, and you're like, dude, that was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Or even when it's not the time skip, it's like, dude, that was literally like 6 months ago we had that conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of them kind of make sense. Like, I remember, like, the Dorothea Ferdinand one was kind of like something that you could see them not talking about for 5 years, but like hearkening back to, and that kind of makes sense. But like Annette and Mercedes feuding for 5 years and not having a normal conversation does not make sense given that circumstance.
Right.
But
especially since they are good friends.
Especially because Mercedes has never feuded with anybody in her life.
Yeah.
Except Loki Lawrence. She told him off, and it was amazing.
Oh, did she?
Yeah,
Wait,
but
do they
that's-
want support?
She calls him, like, his life is like a sorry living experience. Like, you must have a really sorry life if you pity commoners this much. And
Fuck,
it's like,
yes, I love Mercedes so
Oh,
much.
she's the
Get
only
it,
one. Well,
get
no,
it.
Dorothea
Snaps.
tells off Lawrence too.
Okay.
But
I do.
yeah. But, what were you saying? Sorry, I think Sinris was saying something before we brought up how they were friends.
Oh, I think that Blue Lions has, like, most of the best written characters.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I
think
can agree with
we'll
that.
all agree that, like, Dorothy is the number 2 best written character, but Sylvain is easy number 1.
Let's
Yeah.
go. Sylvain Squad. Okay, I didn't expect to like Sylvain that much, even though like
one
I liked
did.
him on
Yeah,
a
no one
surface
did.
level.
And his,
no one
and his
expected to like
post-task
Sylvain.
design is bomb. Like, that armor
He
is
is.
great.
Yeah.
See, okay, Panic, that is some crew here. We on that?
Yeah.
We on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I
But
love
have you seen his
Sylvain.
hair? No.
Yes. But have
Well,
you
the
seen
great
it's like,
thing
wait
about
a
his
minute.
hair is that it doesn't change.
His hair
Yeah,
literally
He
doesn't
had
change.
the perfect hair as a teen, and he keeps it.
Yeah.
Right.
He's like,
He
it works
nailed it
for me.
first
I'm
try.
just
He
gonna
knew
keep
he was
it.
already getting the ladies. He didn't need anything else.
Right.
I love how like I like seeing a lot of like complexity in characters who aren't overly like broody and like sad, because like
Yeah.
you see someone like Felix, and you guys know I attack Panic over Felix, like obviously defensive about it. Like he means a lot to me.
I like
but, like,
Felix.
You know, oh no, I know. I just attacked you over his hair, but like you know. But so I'm obviously connected to him and care about his character. But like you can tell there's something going on because he's such an asshole and he's so broody with stuff. Like you know there's something there. But I like how with Sylvain, he's such a mostly well put together character. Like he's able to have conversations with people, but you can tell there's a lot going on beneath the surface. And like actually finding out what his real his real complex with crests are makes him really compelling. So
Yeah.
Something
100%.
I think that's really interesting about Sylvain is that in his supports with the girls that you can like with the other monastery people like that you can play as the not NPCs.
Yeah.
Basically.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a jerk to them.
no.
He's like a pretty good guy. So most of his like womanizer behavior is reserved for like off screen. We learn about it later. Not like to minimize that, like he still does it, but like it's just I think it's just really interesting that like that behavior doesn't really happen in any of his supports.
I
Yeah,
actually don't know if I agree with that. I think he hits on most of the people who aren't in his house. But that's because I recruited him in Golden Deer, and he does try and hit on everyone in Golden Deer.
He kind of hits on them, but he's not like this total jerk.
No.
Like,
Well, I think it's a kind of like I think a lot of the Sylvain douchebaggery has kind of been overstated because we do know that he's like a womanizer and philanthropist, but like
Yeah. I do want a scene of him necking. Hey Dorothea, nice shoes.
send feet. Like just want to see that.
Oh no, but his
Go ahead.
support with Dorothea is kind of like that though, because they both kind of like go at each other.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
they
their
are the
supports.
same. They are
Yeah.
the same. I
And
love
the-
it because go ahead.
Yeah, they are like two sides of the same coin, where they both like call each other out and then like agree and acknowledge that they're both like super shallow.
Yeah.
And not really like in the like they don't approach romantic opportunities from like a healthy perspective.
No.
And they
Yeah.
both get like mad at each other for that and then realize like they can't
You know
neither
what?
of
You're
them
right.
has a leg to stand on in this conversation, and they're like, all right, whatever, like we're both shallow, we can just bang, it's cool.
Yeah.
And I like
We're
how they both
hot.
address
It's
the
fine.
insecurities that each person has. Like Dorothea wants true love, but she also wants to marry a noble, but she wants someone to love her for who she is, but she's
she
also
wants
like
security.
yeah, but
Right.
and then Sylvain wants someone to love him for who he is, but he's just kind of going around sleeping with people, and it's kind of like obviously those traits that you feel like people are just going to date you for matter, but they don't matter as much as you think, and that's
Right.
really cool to see.
because Dorothea is exactly the kind of person who Sylvain hates, where she is explicitly just trying to, like, hook a noble.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And then
at least
Sylvain
she's not,
is
like,
the
kind
person.
of being pretendy about it. Like, he knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she knows
she's
about
very
him.
open about her motivations.
She's
Yeah,
like,
and
I
he's
don't want
pretty
to
open.
die poor on the streets.
Yeah.
So that means I have to marry a rich dude.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
we stand the
It's
Sylvain
fake
and
medieval
Dorothea
Europe.
supports. Yeah, and I really like Sylvain. I definitely support thinking that he's the best written character in the series. He might be. I haven't made a decision on that, but I support that.
I'm definitely. I don't know. I accidentally recruited Sylvain because I think
Me too.
As
Were you
Galbyleth,
playing as Girl
he just-
Byleth and he just said,
Yeah.
yup?
Yeah,
I was
he
like, I thought
auto
this would
joins
be-
you if you're Galbyleth.
Wait, really?
Yeah, because he's just like,
Yeah.
hey, professor.
Wait,
He
wait, like, how does
immediately
this happen?
joins if you're playing as Girl
As in,
Byleth.
like, if you go talk to him and hit recruit, he will join you if you
Immediately,
are Girl
no-
There's no, like...
Nope.
Nope.
It's because
Amazing.
he's DTF. He's on
He's
the prowl.
simping.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, new professor. Hey, gorgeous.
Hey, Gorge.
I'm Sylvain.
That is so funny.
Yeah, it's actually really good. That's all the, like, maddening pro guides that I was looking at that were like, you just go Fembyleth because you can auto-recruit Sylvain.
Yeah.
Like,
And he's such a tank in battle. I was like
Oh my
blown
God.
away. He's so great.
Yeah, I made the pivot on my Sylvain in Blue Lions to Dark Mage. I went Dark Mage, Dark Bishop, and
nice.
then into Dark Knight. So he's like a
I have him
magic
as Dark
tank.
Knight right now, but I started as the horse.
Yeah, I made him
Yes.
Dark Knight, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I did that
Yeah.
too.
I
Yeah.
made him a heavy armor unit.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Because it's like you see
Active
their
tank. He
He
post
came up to
time.
me after class and was like, hey, let me wear armor. And I was like, sure, whatever, dude.
It's like you see some of their
I've got, like,
post time
5
skip
million
designs,
people with
and it's
lances.
it's
Yeah.
so clear where the game
my God.
wants you to take them, like
I had
class
to buy
wise.
so many lances at the start of Blue Lions on Maddening because the only way you can do damage to anyone on Maddening is through combat arts at the beginning of the game. So I was just like, okay, go to the marketplace, like buy 15 iron lances, and I didn't have the blacksmith yet, so I was just like burning through iron lances every level. Good
Yeah.
times in the Blue Lions.
But then you
I
have
was
like
wondering.
Yeah.
if you take someone like Ignatz or Bernadetta and you make them something besides archer, and they just walk around in their casual outfit with like a quiver on their back.
With a quiver, yeah. Right, you're like, oh, oops,
Oh,
I fucked
whoops.
up. Yeah. Oh,
I was
it's just
wondering
decorative.
do you guys feel like Azure Moon is kind of like the most main story feeling of the group?
Yes, I
Yeah,
definitely think.
I don't know. I feel like there is no main story, and like Azure Moon maybe, but it's like so disconnected from the rest of it that it's hard to feel.
Yeah,
like
I don't want to call it a main story
Like,
because, like you said,
isolated,
it's disconnected.
It feels
Yeah.
like
It
a
feels-
game at zone.
this
It
is
feels
off
more
topic.
fully realized
Yeah.
than the
Yeah.
other roots. I think.
Yeah.
Because I
It's
feel
a
like the
little
tone of
bit-
it is more triumphant. It's kind of like, I felt really bad through the Crimson Flower route taking down every old classmate. Like, I felt really bad.
Yes,
But
me
Azure
too.
Moon-
And they're like, "Oh, Professor, how could?"
How could you? It's like, bye-bye. Yeah. And then Azure Moon feels a lot more triumphant. Like, Dimitri recovers his mental state. You win
Yeah.
back the kingdom. You win, like, you overcome a lot. Whereas,
It's
other routes can be like, well, this is sad, but gotta do it to
Yeah.
him.
Having heard what you all were saying about Edelgard and the Black Eagles route, like, besides, I guess, Edelgard's support where she has, like, an emotional arc,
Yeah.
Dimitri, I think, is actually, like, the only lord that has a story arc. Claude basically doesn't. Like, Claude is kind of... I don't
Claude
say
is
Claude is, like...
Scooby-Doo in the Mystery Gang.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to say that Claude is, like, flawless, but he, like, kind of almost is. Like, Claude rarely
Yeah.
ever fucks up. He's, like, a tactical genius.
Just on
He's very
top of
charming,
everything,
he's
yeah.
funny.
I feel like
And, like, when you get to post time skip, he's just kind of like, he's the leader of the Leicester Alliance. He's in control. Like,
Yeah.
and he's kind of trying to play it cool, but, like, he definitely, like, has all of the pieces in play. Like, he's already schemed with, like, with Nardell, the king of Almyra. Like,
Yeah.
he has shit in the bag. Like, he doesn't
have too much to overcome.
Exactly. And Dimitri's whole existence is, like, having this really intense arc. And I think, for me, that's why I've really enjoyed Azure Moon over other.
Dimitri
like,
has-
believe me, I think Claude's like my favorite lord in a vacuum, but
Mm-hmm.
it would really be hard for me to say that I don't like Dimitri more as a character.
Dimitri has-
having played through a lot of Azure Moon.
Dimitri got both. He got the personal arc. He got the story arc.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, I agree with it, too. I think Dimitri is probably... I don't know. I want to say Dimitri might be the best written character in the series.
Plus, his
I do-
post time skip design is fire. I love it so much.
Okay, the time we have talked about
has
this,
the ponytail hair.
Ponytail alt
hair.
We stand that.
That's right. I like them both, to be honest.
I like them both, but I do like the ponytail. The ponytail is good.
I think the
He's got
shaggy
the big
hair
wolf
definitely
cloak.
fits
He's got
his
the black
appearance.
armor. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
The cloak is
well, the obvious
drip.
way you do it is you leave him on shaggy hair until he stops being crazy and like puts himself together again. Then you switch.
Then
to
you get the ponytail.
No, I can't stand it.
Then he realizes that hairbands exist.
Yeah, I love it.
He comes out of his bloodlust and is like, oh, Mercedes, can I have one of those? You don't need those anymore.
How do you guys feel about that? Because I know that it's kind of controversial in the same way that, like, Edelgard has some controversy about her. Dimitri kind of has some controversy about him, where people kind of feel like either they go on too long or he's, like, too much of an asshole. What do you guys think?
Well, okay, I know I've said this to Sean, Mia. I don't remember if I put it in, like, general chat to you other two. But I feel like both... Yeah, use guys.
Use guys.
I feel like Edelgard and Dimitri are both like that old tweet that's like, villain motivations are, yes, I may have killed millions of people, but have you considered in the past I was sad once?
Yeah.
I disagree with that about Edelgard.
They're both kind of like that in my view, except the difference is that Dimitri eventually like snaps out of it and realizes like, oh, being sad once isn't justification for murdering whoever I want.
But Edelgard, her justification isn't I was sad once, it's I'm gonna make sure nobody else is ever sad again. Well, she's like, not exactly that, but like, she's like, I'm gonna make a better world where that won't, stuff won't happen.
I know,
again.
obviously it's reductive, which is the joke in the tweet, but like, the idea, they both like have this trauma that like spurs them into action.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But like, Edelgard rolls with it and is super proactive about it, whereas Dimitri like comes to realize that it's not healthy to be clinging on to what he's clinging on to, and that he needs to like step back a bit, and he can still like act on like the goal that it has given him, but he can't just fixate.
Also, Dimitri has killed way less people than Edelgard.
He's probably killed more people with his bare hands than Edelgard has.
Personally, yes.
Edelgard has probably resulted in more deaths,
Yeah.
would be my guess. Just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Net
I
4
feel
or
like,
5 year time.
I don't know, because I feel like Edelgard was already kind of coming at it, not in like a healthy way, I'd say exactly, but like
Productive.
a better way than Dimitri was. So for Dimitri to change
More
and Edelgard
proactive,
not, I feel like the implication there is that Edelgard is worse because she doesn't change. But I feel like it's more that she didn't necessarily have to change how she was approaching her trauma, whereas Dimitri did.
I think a good way...
that makes sense.
I like the way you were both phrasing that, because it's kind of like Edelgard initially had her trauma and came away with a productive plan of action that she felt was really necessary, and it took Dimitri longer to come to terms with his trauma and find a productive plan of action. Like, by Dimitri overcoming it, it's like, okay, now I have my plan of action. I know what I want to do, and it's not ruthlessly murdering everyone and growling at rocks. Now we got the plan.
And it's like, I'm a sucker for like the deep trauma story where things get worse and worse before they get better.
Yeah.
So I really, really love Dimitri's redemption arc. And I think that, Sean, you were saying, like, some people think that, like, his staring at gravel phase goes on for too long. I thought it was really effective that it goes on for as long as it does, because I kept thinking, like, they can't keep this up for much longer. And it it kept going. I was like, and then after, like, you think Dedue is dead when the route begins, and then Dedue comes back, and it's like, oh, this'll do it. Like, now that Dedue's here, he'll, like, soften up a bit, and then no change or anything. And it's not until Rodrigue dies and he hits like the lowest point that he's able to like get some clarity and claw his way out of it. And I think that the fact it was prolonged so long is what makes it so powerful.
I think so too.
I think that does make sense. I think I saw some criticism that I like could agree, could disagree with, is that he went so long without any change that it felt weird that he would just sink that low and then immediately be able to kind of like apologize and rationalize everything. But I think it makes sense the way you phrased it. It's like, you know, he's continuously doing bad. He really did need to hit rock bottom, and then he could snap out of it. So I agree with you.
I will say my main issue with Dimitri's arc is that the way that he snaps out of it is by like just Dad Death 2. Like Dad Death 1 snapped him into rage mode, and Dad Death 2 snapped him out of it. And the way that I mean, like, if as someone who's played a lot of these games, like, and people have joked about this for years and years, but, like, dad death is the primary motivator for any, like, Fire Emblem protagonist. Okay, hang on.
I bet their moms are already long dead, though.
In Fire Emblem 6, Roy's dad dies, which spurs him to war with Byrne. In Fire Emblem 7, Lynn's grandfather dies, which spurs her to take over the throne, and both of Eliwood and Hector's parents end up dying because of, like, game plot. Sacred Stones, your dad dies in the opening cutscene. What's the one after that?
And Awakening,
and then Griel,
Lucina's dad dies, and she goes back to the past.
Right. That in Awakening,
Play
that
some shitty games that suck
to come
ass.
back in the Ike game. Ike's, like, adoptive dad, Griel, who's, like, the leader of the mercenary band, dies fighting the Black Knight, which spurs Ike into action. And I don't know what happens in Fates. Your dad is the main villain, so you kill him eventually, right?
Yeah.
Technically, you get
kill the
spurred into
dad, become
action
the
by your
protagonist.
mom dying in Fates.
Yes,
Your mom
that's true.
dying
Oh,
is
is that
kind
in-
of a
yeah,
trigger.
The Hoshido mom
Yes.
is
Yeah.
assassinated by your real dad.
Right. And I
With the
actually, I
sword
don't know
that
what
he gave.
happens in...
Yeah.
I don't know what happens in Radiant Dawn, but I think Micaiah and Soth are both orphans. They're like the sort of pseudo-lords of that game.
Mm-hmm.
And as someone who, I don't know, like, I really love the series. I think it's really cool. I think it has lots of cool flavor and fun character designs. When Rodrigue, like, when Dimitri was about to get stabbed by Fleisha, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen here. Rodrigue jumps in front of the knife. I was like, are you serious? Like, you're seriously,
Dad.
like,
Could you
your,
not?
like, Violet's dad dies, and that's your character motivation. And then you kill Rodrigue to kill dad number 2 for Dimitri, and that's Dimitri's character motivation. And I was like, okay, yes, like, death of close loved ones does spur people into action. I'm not going to say that isn't valid. It definitely is. But I am so tired of it.
Yeah.
And then,
I'm so tired of it.
and then Edelgard
I
dethrones
liked-
her own dad, and Hubert kills his dad, and
yeah.
Edelgard
Yeah.
kills Ferdinand's dad.
Silver Snow is basically
she
let's go
doesn't. She
kill our
imprisons
dads, the
him.
root.
Oh, that's much
It's
better.
like the whole route is just like everybody in your house being like, man, guess I'm gonna go murder my parents.
Guess I
in
gotta
this
go
next
murder
battle."
some people.
I love I just love the dankness of, like, Rodrigue dying and Felix is, like, standing there in the background and there's just, like, no kind of, like, word of, like,
My
last
son.
word to his actual son. It's like, my son Dimitri, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm so glad
Yeah.
to see you before I die.
Dimitri,
And, like,
you
I
were
feel
always
I
like
feel
a
so
son
bad
to
for
me.
Felix.
being Felix
I feel
is
so bad for
suffering.
Felix. Because, like, Rodrigue just kind of, like, gave up on Felix.
He literally gave up on parenting him. He's like, well, my son dies because I said something wrong when he was a teenager, so I'm just going to kind of give up on this one and just focus on Dimitri, because that's
There's
all
still
I got.
hope for Dimitri.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a good point. Yeah.
He
So I
really
guess
gave
I
up on
can't-
him.
I guess I can't dislike Felix. I mean, I feel like that kind of brings the sympathy back up for Felix for me.
Being
Seeing
Felix
just how
is suffering.
blatantly Rodrigue just kind of is like, that's the person that I'm technically the father of.
Fuck
Yeah,
him.
that's what you were saying, Sha, that like Felix is a huge asshole, but he's not wrong.
Yeah.
Because you
he's
know
100
what causes the rift between him and Rodrigue in the first place is that when Glenn dies, Rodrigue is like, well, he died honorably like a knight should, and that's all he said about it.
Yeah,
and-
like no kind of like actual emotional support for the fact that like his oldest son and Felix's brother died. No kind of sense of reality of like, yo, this kind of really sucks. And I do like that aspect of Azure Moon where they're kind of, I'm not going to say deconstruction, that's a meme word. They're kind of tackling the idea of knightliness and being a knight. And I like seeing that through a lot of the supports, like
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
like ones with Ingrid. You know,
Mhm.
Felix is
And
all about like,
Ash.
Ash
And
fucking
Ash,
loves
like,
knights.
It's
Yeah.
actually like very George R.R. Martin in a way.
yeah,
Like
It really
not,
is.
not as graphic, but the game like tackles a lot of the same subjects that
Yeah.
A Song of Ice and Fire does, which is really impressive because A Song of Ice and Fire like tackles some subjects.
it really does.
Oh
Unfortunately,
yeah, you're a
there's
noble
less
knight. Well,
incest
you're gonna
in Fire
die
Emblem.
face down in shit.
Yeah.
We'll take that for honor.
What was I going to say? Oh, I think a thing that would have made the Rodrigue death moments better as like the redemption point for Dimitri is if they had focused a little bit more on the Fleisch part of it.
Yeah.
Because
right.
like Fleisch kills Rodrigue, and then I guess it's like
you kill her.
kind of implied that Byleth then just like kills this little girl.
Yeah. Yeah, you just like you just straight up like walk up and kill her.
Yeah.
Oh, because Rodrigue just goes, "Professor, do it."
Yeah.
And then like there's
Yeah.
no cut. It's just like a slashing sound
think-
and a scream.
I think what they could have done better was
Show it.
Dimitri should have killed Fleisch, and then that should have been like what snapped him out of it. Like,
he
should have more explicitly reflected on the fact that like by killing Randolph, he did to Fleisch what Edelgard did to him.
I was thinking about that too.
Like that's what they should have focused on.
Because when Fleisch, like, when you see, like, Randolph dying, you can see Fleisch starts to, like, brew her plan and she becomes maiden. And I'm like, okay, she's going to try and kill Dimitri, of course.
Right.
I definitely was like, oh, great, this is, like, the one-to-one. They're going to talk about how the cycle, like, perpetuates itself and blah, blah, blah. And, like, Dimitri does kind of come to the conclusion independent. Like, I think he does say, like, by doing this, I'm just, like, perpetuating more senseless violence. Right. But he never addresses, like, explicitly that he directly almost led to himself being killed by doing what he was doing, like, I don't know, out of revenge.
Also, to give more props to Dimitri's voice actor, let's shout out the best line in the entire game, which is when he's, like, cradling the dying Rodrigue and says, "Are you to join the ghosts that haunt my every move?"
Yeah.
Oof, I feel it. Oh, I do have... Well, I do want to talk about one of the best lines also in the game is, I guess it's technically an Azure Moon support. It's between Sedith and Felix, where
I was thinking about that.
I haven't gotten this
That's
yet.
a really good support.
I'm going to try and cram them in.
It's kind of like Sedith talking about Felix about he's like a loner and doesn't have friends, but he chooses not to, so he's kind of like, you know, go like talk with your friends, they care about you. And Felix is like, well, they don't agree with my ideals, so I don't like them. And Sedith is like, if you make an enemy out of everyone who doesn't exactly agree with your ideals, you'll be alone and everyone will be your enemy. I'm paraphrasing it poorly, but it's like that general sentiment of like, you need to accept people who are different to you. And you can see that it like makes an impact on Felix. And that's kind of like a nice thematic takeaway from the game is it's like, not everyone is going to have the same ideals as you, but if you push them away and you don't try to get along with them, you're not going to be, you know, you won't have anyone. So I think that's a cool support.
I really love those supports, especially the part in it where it's like, Felix is like, well, everyone else loves chivalry, and I think chivalry is fucking dumb. And and then he says like, are you going to like accuse me of blasphemy now? And Sedith's just like, dude, I'm not a knight. I don't care about chivalry. I just want you to have like healthy relationships.
Yeah. And in that moment, Sedith was the best dad Felix could have ever had.
Yeah.
Felix is like, chivalry, watch this. Like, 4 times attack, iron gauntlets, 4 Crest of Fraldarius prize. Like, bam, bam, bam.
It's interesting. I love Sedith a lot. Now we can shove Sedith in here.
Sure.
Because he's like a pretty mid dad to Flayn.
Yeah.
But he's a really good father figure to a lot of other characters.
Like, compared to other dads in this story, he's dad of the fucking year.
Oh yeah, he's an S-tier dad comparatively.
Like, did any of you do the Sedith Leone supports?
I haven't done that yet.
Not yet.
No.
I haven't actually done a lot of Sedith supports because I always end up not there.
You know what's really funny?
What did they do?
Is all of Leonie's like paired endings with dudes, they're all like dad figures of some sort.
Nice.
It's almost as if
she's got some sort of complex, I think.
It's almost as if.
Yeah.
Does she?
It's almost as if she wants to bang your dad.
Almost like she wants to bang Gerald.
Really cool.
Yeah.
She fucking loves Gerald.
What were you saying, Sinners?
But the Sedith and Leone ended up paired up on my first playthrough, which like took me by surprise. But I did really like their supports. They're about fishing, and Sedith is like, his wife was like super into fishing.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
But he doesn't know how to do it, so he's just kind of like sitting out there on the dock, just like not catching anything.
He doesn't even bait the hook. He just
he doesn't even bait the hook.
That's so funny.
And Leone comes out and like helps him fish, and then they talk about how like, oh, her experience with fishing is like she always had to like fish to eat to survive, whereas he does it for like calming sentimental reasons.
Yeah.
And they kind of like share those aspects of the hobby.
So she knows how to fish super effectively.
Yeah.
Right.
I do kind of love Leone. She's this huntress.
Leone is so great.
Is this our cue to move on to Golden Deer?
You don't like Leone?
Before we move on, I just wanted to say something about Dimitri and Edelgard. Is something I've noticed is that like they're both a little bit blind to people's suffering, and for Dimitri, it's he's a little bit blind to the suffering under the current system because all his closest friends are like super horribly suffering due to crests, but he just doesn't really notice. While Edelgard doesn't really notice the war being as horrible as it is. So it's like they're both a little bit blind. to other people.
That's insensitive. He lost an eye, dude.
That's a good foil. Like, Dimitri is, like, too detached from everything, whereas Edelgard is, like, a little too overbearing. Like, even before the war, a lot of her supports with the other Black Eagles are her, like, trying to tell them how to do things, and people being like, Edelgard, step off. Like, I can handle myself.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I do like how we can all acknowledge that, like, both Edelgard and Dimitri have their points and their demerits. Like, I think that's the point of the game. I think a lot of people have unfortunately missed the point of the game, and they're just kind of like, this one person is 100% right, did nothing wrong. This person, literal trash, hate them, did everything wrong. And they
I follow a lot of lesbians on Twitter who are really just like unabashed Edelgard only Final Destination.
Yeah,
no, all other lords are so miserable.
Have you seen the people saying that at the end of Azure Moon, when like after you beat like Mega Death God Edelgard Altar?
I do know that is a thing. I do know that is a thing.
Like, Edelgard.
Yeah. Dimitri tries to spare her and is like, the war's over, like, you've lost, just let it end here. And then she like stabs him in the chest.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and then he kills her. But I have seen people saying, like, oh, well, if Edelgard really wanted to kill him, she would have stabbed him somewhere more lethal.
Oh my god.
Okay, so how I interpret
more lethal
that
than
is
the
actually...
chest.
How I interpret that is actually Dimitri still kind of being a little bit oblivious and, like, not really understanding Edelgard.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know, I feel like...
who was the one who told me this? That I'm not sure if they were here or elsewhere, that their theory was that Edelgard wasn't going to go, she was going to die with her movement, and so she knew that Dimitri wouldn't kill her unless she attacked him first, so then she stabbed him, knowing that he would do it in self-defense, but that was like the only way. So it was like a death
about that.
Yeah,
view,
we
but I'm not
talked
sure.
about that, Shah.
Yeah, I think I told you in another conversation.
But you told me someone else had said it to you.
Yeah, someone else told me. That was
Suicide
not my
by
thought.
Cop.
But, yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like suicide
totally
by cop. Exactly.
I
like
definitely
that
believe that Edelgard wouldn't accept being spared.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Edelgard is just not the type of person to, like, let soldiers die for her and then, like...
And then she gets captured and sits in a dungeon.
She was going down with her movement. Right. She was going down with it one way or another.
And Dimitri doesn't realize that, and she's like, if you're not going to kill me, I'm going to make sure you kill me.
Yeah. So we can respect their resolve. Did you guys have any last thoughts on the Blue Lion crew in general, Dimitri, the story?
I will say, since I think we're moving on to Golden Deer, I do want to segue that my favorite support in the whole game is Dimitri Marianne.
I need to see this one. I've seen two of them, but I haven't seen the final one.
That is a really good one.
I am really in love with the Dimitri Marianne support. I think she, like, really, kind of like how you guys were saying that Dorothea kind of, like, slides into the other houses very well. I think Marianne, like, fits very well in with Blue Lions, because her whole thing is, like, you know,
because
she
every
has
support
all this
is just
guilt about this
people
thing in her
being like,
past that she couldn't control. Like, you know, it involves involuntary slaughter because she thinks she'll turn into a monster and kill tons of people. And she and Dimitri basically, like, learn through each other to, like, I don't know, to forgive themselves.
Oh, that's cute. I like that.
Yeah, it's really, I don't know, it's really super sweet. So I would definitely recommend on any of you doing your next Blinds playthrough, grabbing a Marianne. She's a good one.
Nice. I gotta check that out, because I have heard a lot. I've heard so much about Marianne, but since I haven't played through her route, I don't know the deets. So I'm excited to get more to the bottom of this.
And her
it's like
male horse with their girl name, Dorta.
Of all the characters in the game, I feel like Marianne, without, like, playing with her, leaves the least impression.
Yeah.
Well, that's because
similarly.
she doesn't even show up in the time skip battle after the time skip. And I think
that's true.
This is kind of dark, but I think it's because without the professor or whatever, she's like, I'm just gonna kill myself because I can't stand this. So that's why she doesn't show up.
I think it's pretty strongly implied in some of her, just, like, around the monastery lines, that, like, if it weren't for you, then she probably wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
And if you don't recruit her on your team, or you're not in Golden Deer, then she just doesn't show up post time skip. Which is, I don't know.
Interesting.
I love Marianne.
Let's not think too deeply about what that implies.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, if we're all done with the Blue Lions, it's party time with the Golden Deers. Let's go. Time to end racism with Claude. What's up?
All right, Golden Deer expert, take it away.
Am I the only one who's played through Verdant Wind in full?
No, I have also.
You also have. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I think Verdant fucking slaps. I think Claude is like the best breath of fresh air this franchise has had.
It really is nice, yeah.
And
nice
like
change of pace.
Like Claude
no
got
angst.
Fire Emblem's head out of its ass by just like being funny.
I like it.
And I don't know, like for someone like me who's been entrenched in the typical like noble drama that just like I don't know, really has just sunk deep into all Fire Emblem titles. I guess except for the Ike one because you're a mercenary. But like it was really, really nice to just like be like, okay, this, you know, these two factions have been embroiled in turmoil for hundreds of years, and I'm gonna go hang out with these guys and see what they're like.
Go hang out with Claude. There's
Claude
no line of heritage. There's no moral quandaries. He's just like, this is a mystery. Let's solve it.
Exactly. Yeah. Claude is like, I'm interested in how the world works. There's a lot of stuff here that doesn't add up. Like, y'all have a lot of books. I'm gonna get to reading.
A lot of forbidden books. Let's find them.
I'm always a sucker for the characters that like appear a lot more lazy and easygoing, but have a lot of like hardworking, like intelligent curiosity underneath. And like Claude definitely fits that perfectly. So
that's also Sylvain. There's another reason.
It is Sylvain.
It is also Sylvain. Good point.
I wanted a support with Claude and Sylvain or Claude and Dorothea, because these are like the chaotic squads who could do so much, wreak so much havoc.
The chaotic
can
neutrals.
You imagine Claude and Dorothea trying to outflirt each other? Like, I would love to see that.
Funny. That would be so fucking funny.
I want these
Imagine
supports.
Sylvain and Claude trying to outflirt each other.
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
Like, instead of Lawrence, make it Claude.
Yeah. Because that would also
Lawrence.
be like funny instead of the Lauren Sylvain support. Confession. So I am an absolute Lawrence hater, and I left him at like level 15, like for the entire game. I didn't like him.
How can you hate Lawrence? He is perfect character design.
I got him no higher than C support with everyone. Like I never got his B's at all because I just could not stand him.
Yo, I love how Claude is so hot. He sucks up any semblance of attractiveness from any of the other Golden Deer guys.
It's so true. It's so true.
He sucks it all up, and I'm like,
what
okay,
about
this
Raphael,
is fair.
though?
Yeah, we know about Raphael, though. We've had like actual disputes between all of us on like who is the worst looking Golden Deer guy, and I'm on pre-time skip. Ignatz has the worst hair I've ever seen of all time.
I agree.
Yeah,
that's so bad.
Ignatz
He's like a nice
not
kid.
Worse than Lawrence.
So Lawrence's face sucks.
Lawrence is amazing.
His hair
Stop,
is not
but
that
that's
bad.
just
Lawrence
mean.
No, his
sucks,
hair
and it
is
works
bad.
really well for him. Ignatz is just like a dumb book boy, and he has the most miserable bowl cut I've ever seen. Like post time skip, he has. If you ask me, post time skip Ignatz has quite a bit of a glow up compared to pre time skip Ignatz. I've heard people dispute this, but
that's
still
a
doesn't
very
look
big
great,
talking point.
I don't know. It's
Who has the
beautiful
best?
to me.
Who does have the best glow up post time skip? That's
Dorothea,
an important
she gets rid of the
question.
hat.
Yes,
Oh, guys, with the
that's a
hat.
good
I'm
point.
so done with this. So done with
gang
this.
coming out.
Jack's onto something
biggest
here.
blow up post time skip is definitely Lawrence.
Yeah,
Because he goes from looking absolutely miserable to being disappointingly hot.
Disappointingly hot is the best phrase.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
I'm going with Caspar, even though he's not in the house, so not as relevant.
That's a good one.
Also,
I would agree with that actually.
Also, Leone, because I don't like her short hair and I do like it longer.
Really?
I'm not.
I love the
Leone
short
gets
hair.
real
like
hot.
I love the short hair.
I'm such a sucker for
don't-
short hair, and you never get girls with short hair in anime. Like
Well, we
never
do.
ever.
But the problem-
you never
We
get
do.
anything shorter than a bowl cut.
I feel like
do get it.
I feel like Three Houses doesn't do short hair very good because Mercedes cuts her
Yeah.
hair and it kind of fucking sucks.
I don't mind Mercedes short
never.
hair.
Just take
but
the veil
I agree
off.
with you in general,
Yeah,
Panic,
if
that
you
they
put her in,
don't
like,
do
if
short
you-
hair that well. It's not about
Yeah.
the short hair; it's how they do the short hair, and that's what I protest with
Because she's got
Leone's
this
short hair.
big fluffy mane of hair and
I
pre-time
do like the
skip.
fluff.
I do really like her ponytail.
It's
Yeah.
true.
She's got the Moogie
I won't
fluff.
Say that, yeah, I won't say that her post time skip hair is bad. I do miss
I don't
her
like
short
it at
hair.
all.
I thought it was like, I don't know, she's cool and spunky. She's plucky.
You know who has great short hair? Shamir.
Yeah, Shamir's got the
Shamir,
best
So she has great short
God,
hair.
Shamir
She's
is
the
like
peak
easily
of
the hottest
hotness.
character in the game.
yeah. I gotta agree here. I'm
Robin
I
Hood
was really a sucker
mercenary.
for Shamir.
So that's like good short hair. I'm
Yeah.
not against
Yeah.
I'm against bad short hair and Ignatz's hair, which is just
because
very bad.
it's not like short. It's like it's the medium. It's like Ragnar hair.
You know, it's really come back to bite me how I just said the best short hair in the game looks just like Panic's avatar. So
Haha.
that's what happens
So funny,
when
yeah.
you. That's what happens
Fucking
when
love
you
Shamir.
clap first and think second. But yeah, I think so. I think Yeah, but I think a lot of the Golden Deer boys minus Claude kind of look like a 2-pack of ass. Sorry.
Didn't he? Shit stinks.
What about Raphael, though? Raphael?
I think he's fine.
I'm sorry,
I think he's fine.
I love how dumpy Raphael looks. He's just an ogre.
That's a nice, fine piece of man right there.
He's like
all muscle, no brain.
He's so massive. It's just like
no thoughts, head empty.
Absolute unit. Oh my god. But
Jack, I do respect that you don't like the design. I think that
Blue Lions has the pretty boy squad.
Raphael kind of became the like unsung hero for me of Golden Deer. Like
he's
I
great.
think the way that he's just like a chill dude. He's really chill. He's very forgiving. He really just like I think the thing that I like about him the most as a character, even though he doesn't have a huge story role, is that he does a really good job at meeting everyone at their level.
Yes.
Like when I think his C support with Marianne is like,
what the fuck are you doing? You're talking to birds, you weird.
Yeah, Marianne is talking to a bird in like the garden outside the officers' academy. Like, you know, that sort of like that lawn there.
Yeah.
Like Raphael, like, you know, booms approaching, scares off the bird and freaks out Marianne.
Classic.
And, like, you know, they talk a little bit and he's like, oh yeah, she was talking to a bird. B support starts. He's in the same spot as she was, talking to a bird. And she's like, is Raphael talking to a bird? And then she, like, goes up to him, like, sort of quietly, and then he's like, oh, hey, Marianne, and the bird flies off. And he's like, oh, she's like, like, whenever more than one person comes around, they always fly off. Damn it. And then she's like, did you understand what he was saying? And he's like, oh, no. But I don't know. I just wanted to talk at him. I figured maybe if I talk to enough birds, they'll figure out what I'm saying. And I don't know. That was one of those moments where I was just like, damn.
He's a fucking sweetheart.
He's a huge so sweetheart. Sweet. I'm
he
excited
helps out
to get
Lysithea,
to know him more.
like she keeps telling him to fuck off, but he's like, but you're just like my sister. That's what my sister always says. I want to help you.
Yeah. It's really sweet.
And Hilda helps him make jewelry and stuff for his sister. And
I love Hilda. I don't even know Hilda that much.
Hilda's like one of my favorite characters,
weirdly enough. She's up there for me, and I don't even know her that well.
She's such a girly girl, and it's amazing.
She's just like, I love how she's so like,
how she
just uses everyone.
Yeah.
Oh,
like, she's not just,
she's like,
her support with Sedith, where he's just like listing all the stuff she skimped out on. Oh, it looks like your heel is, like your wrist is healed nicely since you sprained it yesterday, and you couldn't do cleaning.
I
feel much
really
better.
Fragile body, and you look at like Freikrugel on her, which is like an axe the size of her.
Yeah, right.
She's just like the frontliner, heavy armor, big fuck off axe.
Yeah.
I'm a delicate flower.
I love her. I love her relation to Claude because the other two are kind of like. They're, like, subservient to a fault, you know, like, they'll die for them immediately.
The other lords have, like, right-hand guys who will just never leave.
Yeah.
And Hilda she's like the right girl. Yeah.
Okay, but Hilda does die for him in Crimson Flower.
See, and that's the twist. That's what's sad is because you don't expect that, but then you see it's like, okay, she would die for Claude, and it's very sad.
Although my Crimson Flower run, I avoided Hilda, so I was able to keep her alive, but, like, she doesn't retreat like Claude would. She's like...
Damn.
I killed her, and I felt bad.
In Azure Moon too, in the level where you're like rescuing Deirdre while it's under siege, like basically it's a race against time to like rout the enemy before they get to Claude, and what's holding them back is Hilda is at the end of like a long bridge with like an archer and a healer, and she just like tanks like waves and waves and waves of enemies.
That fucks.
I love
That's
it.
really
That's
sick.
So cool.
That's awesome.
It's so cool. I love it. Yeah, she's such a character. Go for it.
Yeah. I would say, like, where Golden Deer really shines for me, and I don't know, I think especially if you're just coming off of Crimson Flower or Azure Moon, Golden Deer is really great because it's, like, everyone is a lot more down-to-earth. Like, Hilda is probably, like, the flightiest sort of, like... Well, okay, besides Lawrence, but I'm just going to pretend Lawrence doesn't exist because I didn't really interact with him. Like, Hilda is, like, the flightiest, most, like, noble one of them because she's, like... She's very like, oh, I broke a nail, you know, and she tries to get everyone else to do it.
Also, she loves her brother. Have you heard about her brother?
Oh my god, Holst. Do you know how great Holst is? Oh my god. Oh, I was writing this letter to Holst.
You heard about the tragedy of Holst? Of Holster?
Is it...
The tragedy of Holst just is Balthus existing.
That's so true. That's so true.
Balthus looks like a porn parody Claude.
Oh
God.
That's an
Who's
interesting.
I don't know if I
Is that the big pirate flying dragon guy?
I just hate that you said the sentence.
I understand the vibe. I get where you're coming from. I don't think they look similar, but I think like the vibe is right. Where it's like Claude
Like
in the porn.
that guy.
Claude in the porn parody says the dumb stuff that Balthus just says normally.
Yeah.
Like, I saw Balthus's design and I was like, oh, he's gonna be Golden Deer aligned. Just because he looked like Claude.
He's got the sideburns, yeah.
He just looked like Claude. I'm like, oh, he's gonna be Golden Deer aligned. And he was. So.
I forget. Sorry,
If
what
they
were you
look
saying,
dumb,
Mia,
they're
about
probably in Golden Deer.
You were saying something about, like, the true heart of Golden Deer.
It's a story about family. Yeah. That's what's so great about it.
Yeah. Well, it kind of is, though. It's like, I don't know. It's really just like, it's chill. That's what I like about it. It's like they all get along. It's like a lot of them have like some stuff to work through. Like Lysithea is really prickly because she's convinced everyone's treating her like a kid, but after her like C and into her B supports with everyone, she pretty much opens up. Marianne's hiding a lot of stuff, but even while she's pre-time skip and like hiding a lot of her tragic backstory, she still has like quite a few good interactions with folks. Like, I don't know, her and Hilda have a really sweet support. Her and Ignaz's support is really, really sweet. I don't know, there's just a lot of like really tender sort of like loving, like people caring about each other moments in that cast. They don't have a lot of like deep-seated trauma to work past. The deepest is probably Marianne and it's like besides Marianne, the deepest is probably Ignaz and Raphael. Oh no, Lysithea. What am I forgetting? Okay, scratch that. Yeah, you're right. They have like the two deep trauma characters, but everyone else is just kind of like chilling out.
The girl who went through the same procedure as Edelgard, but she was one of the early ones who were used to perfect it, I guess.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Poor Lysithea. Lysithea fucks big time. That girl is a monster.
Lysithea. She's a fucking beast.
Yeah. In those who slither in the dark's defense, they did succeed at creating a super weapon.
She's unironically. Have any of you played maybe Sinris Mass Effect?
I have not played Mass Effect.
Oh my god. Okay, there's a character in the second one who is like a child captive with lots of experimentation, and she's like the strongest quote-unquote magic person in the entire series.
I see.
That's Lysithea.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the final boss battle for Golden Deer? Because most of us haven't gotten there, but, you know, I hear great things.
I will insert the song here while we talk about it. It's fucking epic, dude. It's like undead nemesis and this operatic, insane theme playing.
Yeah, and the 10 elites on the battlefield, that's like the sickest fucking thing. Where it's like, oh shit, we're fighting Nemesis and the 10 elites.
You know a game has written its lore and well when like some deep lore characters can just show up at the end out of nowhere and you're not like, what's happening? You're like, this is crazy.
I was a little bit, what the fuck is happening? I just we freed Rhea, we killed Edelgard, Dimitri died off screen. We're done, right?
Yeah, right.
And then the final boss just sprung to life. Ganondorf is here.
I fucking love Claude's line, like right before you go into the Nemesis fight, like in the month before. He's like, okay, let me get this straight. Rhea is the Immaculate One and Saint Seros. The hero's relics are made up of the bones of saints and people like the Progenitor God, and you're the Progenitor God?
Yes,
and Nemesis
that's right.
is on his way to kick our ass?
Must be some
What's
kind of
going
fire
on?
emblem.
But who was flying the plane?
Edelgard like 3 months ago. Why is this happening?
I love this. I'm so excited to get to this.
It's fucking nuts.
It's really slaps. I don't know. It's like it's weirdly like zany. Like it has its serious moments where it's like
it's not a coincidence I call it Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Game.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because
it was the groundskeeper all along.
It was the gatekeeper.
It was the gatekeeper.
he was working for those who slither in the dark.
You pull the mask off Rhea and it's the dragon.
Nothing to report. My ass. You've been reporting on us the whole time. No.
Yeah, it's everything's like the other routes are crazy on their own, but this one just stacks everything.
Yeah, I think that sort of my main complaint about it I know I keep coming back to this point, but just the fact that they like shotgun all of the major plot events in what feels like pretty quick succession. Like I felt like getting to Endbar was supposed to feel like the big endgame thing, but we kind of just did it. Like we did it. We killed Hubert. We killed Edelgard. Like Dedue showed up. I was like, "Yo, Dedue!
What the fuck, Dedue?"
Yeah, and then we killed Edelgard, and then I was like, "Okay, so like, is the game over? It doesn't feel over."
Yeah, I
felt
then, the same way in Silver Snow.
And then they're like, "Oh yeah, we found this letter from Hubert," and then he's like, "This is where Agartha is. Don't ask me any questions. I'm already dead. Bye." And then you like go to Agartha, and
if you're reading this, I'm already dead. But
while fighting robots, and then after that, you're like,
"That's right." You go into this whole like cyberpunk complex,
right?
Laced.
And I don't know. Even when you're in there, it's like I don't know who Thales is. Like, why do I feel any real reason to go after him?
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's one of the things that benefits more from playing other routes.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. And
I feel like, oh, sorry.
No, go.
I do admit that I kind of resent a little bit Claude and the Golden Deer because they're like, I feel like it's like, oh, so the writers made Dimitri and Edelgard have to like do hard decisions and morally gray stuff, but they're just like, Claude, whatever. So it's kind of like, I feel like it's not fair.
He's here for drinks,
like, they're not on even playing ground, it feels like, because it's like, no, I want Claude to be like, to feel as like complex as the other two. And I haven't done Golden Deer yet, so maybe he does feel that kind of level of complexity.
One thing I haven't talked about yet to talk about, which you have told me a lot about, and I find fascinating because it's completely absent from every other route, is Elmira.
Yes. So let us talk about Elmira. I think part of the reason, like, okay, so I agree with you, Jack, in that, like, Claude doesn't have a ton of, like, deep-seated trauma that he has to work through. You don't see that kind of same progression in his arc at all. But, like, Claude's whole thing is that he's, like, the Church of Fodlan, like, part of the tenets of the Church of Fodlan is that they are supposed to be isolated from the outside world, and all that has done for us is make people hate each other, and that's really fucking stupid. Like, we need to, like, open the borders and do this, and, like, a lot of what... Like, weirdly, I think a lot of where that comes into play is how much you interact with Elmira and Elmirans, which is why I think, like, Cyril fits into Golden Deer really nicely, and in the other routes, he doesn't really deal that well. Like, I think in him and Claude's one of their supports, like, you know, because Cyril is all like, oh, I love Lady Rhea. Like, Elmira is stinky and boring, and it doesn't have Lady Rhea, so, you know, like, what's the point of Elmira being a thing? And Claude is, I think Claude has this line where he's like, man, you're already on the other side.
He's like, you're too far gone.
Right. He literally has this, like, sit down, like, POC moment with him where he's like, geez, dude, like, I don't know what I can do for you. Like, if you don't understand this. Elmira is this really weird thing because, like, you know how, like, Ingrid is, like, Dusker racist? Hilda is like Elmira racist?
I heard Hilda's worse, though, because she's like, because wasn't it like they had Elmirans as slaves or something, whereas Ingrid is like more kind of less that there's not the slavery thing.
Yeah, I wasn't really, I think that Cyril did work for House Goneril, I think, or worked for Unnoble House. And I don't remember, and I have done their supports pretty recently, so I would remember this. I don't think she goes into that in their supports, but like, when Hilda walks up to Cyril, she's like, oh, Cyril, you're hard at work, I see. And he's like, oh, hey, Hilda. She's like, I heard that Elmirans were lazy, so I'm really surprised to see you working so hard. And he's like, okay. And
what
like,
about Lady Rhea?
Oh,
right.
Hilda,
like,
hardly working.
I will say Hilda's definitely worse than Ingrid in that respect, because Ingrid, like, figures out that she's racist and then gets over it. Like, Hilda, by the end of it, her A support with Cyril is she's like, oh yeah, I wrote to my brother about you, and this is what he said. He said that any person, regardless of their place of origin, like, as long as they work hard, you know, means that they're a good person. And, like, so, yeah, I guess that my brother is such a nice, open guy. And she doesn't at all be really like, horrible. I was super racist. She's like, wow, Holst is so woke.
That sounds really horrible.
No, why are my favorites racist?
So unbearable to see. Like, believe me, I do still think that Hilda is a really interesting character, and I do like her a lot. But that was like, ooh, boy.
Can they have a paired ending?
That's a great fucking question. If they did, I don't want them anywhere near each other.
I'm gonna Google this.
I'm gonna find it
Hilda
and read
realized that he was not... Hilda realized that he was not lazy and said, he can do all my work for me. I'll marry this guy. Like, can you imagine?
One of the good ones. Yeah. Was there a
He's
thing
one
that I
of the
said to you
good
about Elmira
ones.
that I haven't mentioned in this? Just that it plays a big role?
Yeah, mostly just that.
Right.
I find it so interesting that it's, like, critical to the story. It's, like, a large part, and Elmira is not even mentioned in any of the other routes.
Yeah, like, because Claude is, like, the Elmiran prince. They basically just, like, slid him in
I
there.
thought there were multiple. He's, like, one of them, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I don't know if I, like, got all of the supports necessary to, like, find out the details of that, because actually, like, in my understanding of the route, his backstory is a little hazy. Like, I know, obviously, he's not from Fodlan, because he's,
also,
like, brown.
I did find the Hilda Cyril paradigm, so I will read that.
Oh, God.
Okay. It's... Here, I need to think about this, so why don't you read this while I do that?
Hilda returned to her territory and founded the first artisan academy in Fodlan. Years later, as the successful headmaster of that school, she journeyed to Garreg to make a donation to the church. There she encountered Cyril, who had graduated from the officers' academy and joined the Knights of Saros. When each saw how much the other had grown and matured, a mutual attraction between them blossomed naturally into love.
They got the big
Cyril
horny.
eventually left the church to become a knight of House Goneril at the invitation of Hilda's brother Holst. As Holst's new brother-in-law, Cyril provided essential aid in negotiations with House Goneril's Elmiran neighbors.
Oh, and that makes sense, because they like, spearhead Fodlan's locket at Fodlan's throat, which is, like, the reason they're always fighting with the Elmirans is because they're
So she came back years later and was like,
border.
talk about a glow up.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Oh, no, he's hot.
No.
That is one of my favorite parts going into Golden Deer time skip is, like, Claude and, like, everyone meets back up with, like, the Church of Saros people, and he's like, oh, Sedith, Catherine, like, Manuela, it's good to see. Whoa, Cyril.
Holy shit,
We were
Cyril.
talking about the biggest glow-ups earlier.
Cyril.
Is definitely the biggest glow-up.
Cyril
that's
gets
true.
so hot, and I just need to get that off
He
my
goes from,
chest.
like, this pudgy-faced kid to, like, dummy hot.
Yeah, it's way true.
I don't know. I don't really like him either way.
That's fair.
But I'm also biased because
That's
he's
true.
too much of a Rhea simp for me to like him.
You're an Edelgard apologist, so...
I'm not an Edelgard apologist.
I just
I'm
apologize for
an
Edelgard.
supporter.
Yeah, she has
but
never once apologized for anything Edelgard did.
Okay, fair.
No. But like,
I know what I'm
kidding,
about,
I'm
son.
We're just
she
teasing.
has.
Yeah.
I don't agree with everything Edelgard has done. You know, I just kind of agree with her mostly in general, and most of it.
I think, weirdly, so my stance, and I've been saying this to you forever, Ben, is that you can't convince me that and I haven't played Black Eagles, disclaimer, but going into Black Eagles, I don't feel like anyone can convince me that what Edelgard wants is better than Claude wanting to end racism and open Fodlan's borders and kill the Illuminati and just, like, make all bad go away. Like, Claude
It's
is,
very
like,
naive, in a way.
I think
is
the
super
difference
naive.
between Claude and Edelgard is that Claude is kind of, from what I've seen, it seems like he's almost a little too wishy-washy about it. Like,
He doesn't
he's
really
not
have a
willing
plan.
take the risks. I mean, he will take the risks when he has, like, Violet, but it feels like Edelgard is more like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make it happen, whereas Claude seems kind of more like he wants to do it, but he isn't able to do it until Violet comes back and he's able to use the war that Edelgard made to do his thing.
Right, like, Claude needed an excuse for unification to happen, and the war was definitely that.
Yeah,
Like,
I think that's a good point, Jack. Like, in Azure Moon, after the Kingdom Army, like, liberates Deirdre, Claude is basically just like, cool, Dimitri, you got this under control. You can take the entire alliance. I'm out.
Yeah.
So
That's so
I don't know,
funny.
I feel like
That's so Claude.
I feel like Claude and Edelgard are kind of different a little bit in ideals, but I guess it's also more that Claude is more kind of has a more global view of it, whereas Edelgard is like, this is about the people of Fodlan, and I want to make things better for them. Where, like, not like she doesn't care about the other nations, but she has to focus on, like, the internal affairs first. Whereas Claude is more like the external affairs thing. Like, I don't know, it feels like, Claude is like, things will get better with better external policy. And Edelgard is like, things will get better with better internal policy.
Right, but Edelgard also, like, not to be a huge Edelgard hater, but Edelgard also worked with the people who did the Tragedy of Duskur. Like, just
I know,
did
and
literal,
I don't like that either.
Literal, like, brown people genocide, and Edelgard is, like, totally cool with that, and Claude is like,
I don't
hey,
think
what
she's
about
totally
racism?
Cool. I don't
No,
think
she's not
she's
totally cool with
cool.
it, but I'm just saying that, like, Edelgard is willing to use people who did something like that to achieve her goals.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't really see myself being as into that as... It's true that, like, Claude just being like, my plan, end racism. First off, 1 Fodlan. Second, question mark, 3 profit.
Yeah, so I don't know. I guess I don't like that about Claude as much, but like I said, I'm also kind of biased because I'm coming into this from, why can't Claude be as messy as Dimitri and Edelgard? So I'm biased, and I haven't even played Golden Deer, but...
Yeah. And I like Claude as sort of, like, I don't know, everyone in the other routes is very involved in, like, Fodlan drama, and Claude, like, sees the Church of Saros and is like, the Church of Saros is fine. The main thing that they're doing poorly is they're not, like, doing trade with other nations very well and, like, allowing more, like, people of different races to, like, mingle. Like, they're very isolationist, and that's not cool. Like, that's my beef with the church, but, like, if I take over, work with Rhea, get her to stop doing that, then, like, the church can stay. It's functionally fine. It's just, like, a church.
From what I've heard, he feels a lot more collaborative and less, like, war and, like, time to fuck everyone up.
My way or the highway.
Definitely.
Yeah, and we can respect, like, not using war as your end-all be-all as a problem-solving technique.
Right. And it's like, I'm also totally... I'm more on board with Claude using war to end racism than a character using war to settle their personal grudges.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, I know that that's, like, a huge, broad-sweeping thing, and, like, yes, Claude isn't as, like, super fleshed out of a character, but... I don't know. It's hard for me to, like, concede the moral wrong from Claude, even if his plan is the least concrete.
Well, I don't think he's, like, morally wrong exactly, and that's kind of my problem with him. Not that he needs to be horrible, but I just wish he was more messy and complex.
Yeah, Claude is, like, pretty much, like, the good guy. Like, weirdly, even though he's, like, the least classical Fire Emblem character, he's, like, the most classical in terms of, like, aligning himself in the game.
Would you
like,
say that he's a Mary Sue?
With the excellent battle strategy, he accomplishes everything he sets out to do and has very few casualties and suffers, like, very few personal losses.
And that's why I'm kind of like, why does he have to be that way?
And I don't know.
But like I said, it kind of comes from...
How about his beard, though? He kind of can't...
Edelgard.
He's kind of not pulling off those beards. Those
the
chin
beard
straps.
is not great, I have to say.
Yeah, we stand.
The beard is not great.
We agree. Yeah.
I love the earring, but the beard is not.
Earring.
The beard is not working super well for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm also just cool with, like, Claude being, like, the... It's weird because Claude, I went into the game thinking, like, Claude is the most afterthought. There's, like, this whole Battle of the Eagle and Lion thing that they clearly came up with, and we're like, maybe we should, like, give people a break from this narratively, because it's
guys,
kind of exhausting.
The game is called Three Houses. Wait, fuck!
Yeah.
Wait, make something up.
Oh, shit. But I don't know. I like Claude as being this kind of, like, sort of outsider, like, I don't know, like, outsider cool POC who comes in with these, like, weird woke policies while the others are bickering over, like, centuries-old noble feuds.
Yeah, it's a fresh take on it. It's kind of like the game, which seems like a fresh take on, like, classic ideas, and that's kind of like Claude's role from what it sounds like, you know?
Totally. Like, this Fire Emblem is, like, a revamp of Fire Emblem, and Claude is, like, an internal revamp of Three Houses. Everyone else is focused on, like, more classical stuff, and he's just like, what if we go broad? What if we go wide instead of, like...
Mr. Worldwide. Let's go.
Yeah, Mr. Worldwide.
And does, does Alliance have still, like, the nobility to the same degree that the other two?
It has nobles. Like, look at Lawrence.
They have all the
lords,
right?
But look at Lawrence.
Right. So the way that, like, the Alliance works is they have, like, a council of nobles that come together, and then they decide on, like, general collective political matters, which is why when the war happens, things get weird, because there's the, like, Imperial Loyalist faction, and then there's, like, the House Regan gang.
Right.
That is, like, that's like, the squad, but it means that, like, the Alliance as a whole unit basically isn't functioning anymore.
So do any of the characters in Golden Deer address, like, the class conflict themes that come up a lot in the other two houses?
It seems like Leonie would. But I don't know.
She mentioned
something
about the nobles being lazy and not doing, like, dishes, but I don't know if she's like, my life was ruined because nobles suck ass. Like, I don't know if they had that.
I think
that
I feel like,
everyone...
okay, oddly, I feel like Lysithea might be the most relevant because of her history.
Hers was more of, like, internal war, but it wasn't about being a noble. It was more of, like, yo, these guys from the Empire kidnapped me and tortured me, and that shit sucks.
Lysithea and Marianne are the most crests, which means they're the most like that side of nobility. They're like, crests suck. So like they're more in like the Sylvain camp of nobility, where it's like nobles are bad because like crests are bad, and valuing people just because they have crests is stupid. And those two are like, yeah, we didn't ask for this. So like,
but having a crest literally makes you better. Makes you a better fighter.
It's true, yeah.
Makes you hit twice of your feelings.
Other than supports with Laurens, because that's when everyone gets to be like, dude, fuck off. The class thing is way less big of a deal than the other ones.
That's
I would say, because also largely in part because Golden Deer has the most commoners.
Yeah,
it's got like the nobles are Hilda. Well, I guess it's actually like is it a 50-50 split? I guess.
Yeah,
Claude.
Hilda, Marianne, Lysithea, Claude.
Lysithea, Laurens, Claude.
Oh, so I think I actually counted the other day, and I think that while Golden Deer has the most commoners, it's the Black Eagles that actually has the least crests.
Oh,
but I'm not certain about that, because Black Eagles, the crests are Edelgard, Ferdinand, Linhart,
Bernadetta.
Casper doesn't have a crest.
And Bernadetta. So Black Eagles has 4 crests.
Bernadetta's got the crest of the fucking year. It's so good.
The Year Award.
But then the Golden Deer have the 5 crests of Laurens, Hilda, Lysithea. I mean, counting Lysithea as 1, because I don't think it's fair to say count her as 2 for that.
Only in
and then Claude and Marianne. So I just think that's interesting that Golden Deer has the most commoners, but Black Deer has... Not Black Deer.
The Black Deer.
Black Deer.
The ultimate.
Have you guys heard of the new plague? The Black Deer.
Black Deer has the most crestless characters. So I just wanted to point that out, I guess.
That is interesting.
That is actually right, because Petra's nobility, but she is non-Fodlan nobility.
Technically, her starting class in the game is commoner.
Is commoner, right. But she has a noble background.
Yeah.
I mean, like, obviously, Brigid nobility seems to be way different from Fodlan nobility, just in terms of its, like, whole class-conscious stuff.
Thinking about this, just to bring it to the Blue Lions, they only have, like, 2 characters, Ash and Dedue, that don't have crest.
Yeah.
Just interesting. They have a lot of
Blue Lions is big crest energy. I definitely went out of Golden Deer into Blue Lions, and I was like, oh, fuck, like, crests matter now.
Yeah, that was insane.
Yeah, it was like half my units didn't have crest before, and I was like, okay, so these are just, like, useless things that just happen sometimes. Like, I don't know. Claude gets health back
sometimes. These are just
normal,
gross people.
Fun fact, I don't know if, like, you guys have ever tried this, but, like, once I was in the Azure Moon route and I got Claude's bow and arrow, I gave it to Ash, and since he doesn't have a crest, every time he shoots with it, he loses, like, 10 HP, because it shows, like, him actually taking damage. You know how I figured
that out? Is that Annette's house relic is an axe. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to fucking give Annette an axe, I'll just give it to Gilbert. And then he was using it, and for a couple of rounds, I was like, why is he losing 10 HP every turn? What the fuck is going on? I'm like, oh, he doesn't have a crest. Yeah. He can't use his own relic.
I didn't even notice at first. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with him? Why does he keep losing health? Like, there's no poison. What's going on?
Come on, Ash.
Yeah.
Get it together.
Yeah. But I think those are interesting observations. Do you guys have anything else you wanted to talk about with the Golden Deer squad?
I think it's cool how Marianne basically slides under the radar for the whole game, having a mystery crest. Like, you just... I didn't notice that she had a mystery crest until, like, just before the time skip, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah. What is her crest?
The crest of the beast.
Yeah, her crest is the crest of the beast. It is the crest of Maurice, who is...
The mark of the beast.
I think he's the... No, he's not the 4th saint, is he?
No, he's not the 4th saint. He's like the... No, he is the 12th elite, effectively. Like, he was one of the other heroes in the War of Heroes. There were Nemesis, the 10 elites, and then Maurice. But Maurice's crest, like...
and then Maurice.
Berserk, basically... Yeah, and then Maurice, this fucker. Maurice's crest basically, like, goes berserk, or I don't know, he goes nuts, and then he goes into beast mode, and then he doesn't leave, and then he just, like, kills a bunch of people and goes and lives.
He just beast mode for 1,000 years.
No. There are 21 crests total in the game?
There are 21 crests. Wow.
Yeah. Does that include the DLC crests?
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of the DLC.
Speaking of the DLC.
That's a transition. To the recently released Ashen Wolves DLC, which I think most of us got to play.
Yeah.
I have done one battle in it, and then I decided to leave it for later when I beat Silver Snow, and then I never got around to beating Silver Snow. So
I got to play it because I need to use one of the classes for Lysithea. It's that like Dark Flyer one.
Yeah, so the
writing magic.
Dark Flyer kicks so much ass.
I need
Dark
that.
Flyer is so busted.
So I went into this thinking that Basement Children is probably the dumbest concept I've heard of in a long time, but it actually works out pretty well. We only have like 4 new characters, but it works out. Yuri is the main leader. We have, I forget their names already.
Shadow McHot Boy.
Yeah.
Yuri, there's Balthus, who's the golden deer aligned punch guy.
Yeah.
There's
not Cassandra. What's it? No, Constance.
Constance, who's absolutely fucking
and then
wild.
And then is her name Happy? The last one.
Happy.
It's
yes.
Happy.
And then there's Happy, who's queen.
Who's queen?
Happy.
Ben and I are big Happy stans.
I was a Constance stan through the DLC.
I love Constance's design because she's got the blonde hair, and then on the inside it's blue. That's so awesome.
Why is it blue? Really nice. Why is it blue? That doesn't make any goddamn
How the
sense.
fuck did you color that? How did you dye your hair like this?
Happy is so sick. I love Happy so much.
She's just like the most cool casual girl in the whole cast.
Happy is your friend who says things to you that actually offend you, but she thinks they're compliments.
Yeah. It's like when you have a tea party with her, if you like do well, at the end she's like, wow, this was way more fun than I expected. Yeah. And it's like, she totally thinks she's complimenting you.
And it's like, thanks?
I think.
Yeah, right.
Thanks, I think.
Yeah. I haven't played it yet, but Constance is probably my favorite just from what I've absorbed.
She's got
and then Yuri, I don't really have an opinion on Hoppy or Balthus, other than I don't really like Hoppy's design, and Balthus's is kind of but
Balthus is just a JoJo, isn't he?
He's a JoJo character.
He's a JoJo.
Yeah, let's just go with that. He's in debt. That's probably a JoJo character at this point.
Yeah. He's in debt and wears no shirt. He's probably a JoJo character.
And wears like big ass chains and a codpiece.
Balthus is fine. He's fun.
He's funny, yeah.
I think the girls of the Ashen Wolves are definitely the standout characters.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm actually not too fond of them, that much. I haven't gotten to tea party them and, do too many supports with them, so I haven't gotten that far because I just finished it. But so far, I have the most intrigue about Yuri. He seems really interesting. No,
Yuri,
go away.
Yuri is very hard because he's just longer-haired Byleth guy.
I have to like Yuri contractually because I dated a cute boy named Yuri. So
I love Yuri on Ice. I love Yuri. This is it.
Yuri in basement. Punished Yuri.
Yuri in basement.
Yuri
I think it's got the second coolest design of the Ashen Wolves, but that's not really saying a lot. Never mind.
I'm honestly not big on the Ashen Wolf designs. I don't like them that much. I think they're fine, but I'm not feeling it. They feel too weeb for me. I feel like they're not that grounded, but I mean, it's not like that many characters in this game are grounded. They just aren't that aesthetically pleasing to me, but I can definitely understand liking them. But they're just kind of fine. I haven't warmed up to them yet, but that can definitely change. So we will see.
So Yuri is just edgy McHot Boy. He feels super generic in a way that I don't think any other character in this game does.
My counterpoint to that is not that he feels generic, but he feels so ungeneric that it's really confusing. Yuri has a lot of shit. Well, Yuri has so many moving parts. He's a hot boy. Well, he's a hot boy spy who led a gang of thieves. He is good at singing. He's a master tactician. He's a faith healer. He just has this weird backstory.
He does anything and everything that could possibly be considered cool and mysterious.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He plays the guitar.
Super boring.
Yeah. He can ice skate. But
he's an amazing. His support with Dorothea is he's an amazing singer. But when she's like, "Yo, you're a great singer. You want to do our amateur opera performance with us?" He's like, "No, I'll never sing again." I was like, dude, fuck you!
Even if I die.
I just want a soundbite of Panic saying that nonstop.
It's everything. It always works.
I kind of picked Yuri as a default because I'm not too big on the other ones. So I like the intrigue of him and Bernadetta having that connection of he was the guy in the backstory. I'm down with that.
Yeah, I do think that's neat. That's the one aspect of his character I like.
Yeah.
That's what I'm down with, and I like his trickster class in battle, so that's pretty cool.
Oh my god, he's so overpowered in the DLC.
Foul play.
He's ridiculously good.
Foul play Fetters of Dromi is so broken.
The way to beat the DLC is just to make choke points and put Yuri in there, because nobody will ever hit him.
He's absolutely untouchable.
Yeah.
His speed is off the charts.
Love it.
I think this just occurred to me, but I think part of what makes Yuri a weak character to me is that his backstory is like based in something that doesn't appear anywhere else in the game. Like everyone else, if they have like
that's a good point.
Events in their past that ground them, you like see those things from lots of different angles over the course of the game. Whereas Yuri's band of thieves, he just like mentions in all of his supports, they're just like around always, but you don't know anything about them.
Right, and even in your support with him, you like go help him on like a thief mission. I was like, are we going to open a paralogue? Is that what's going to happen here? Like that would be cool.
I can see that.
But instead, just like the next support, you cut to him and he's like, oh, hey, thanks for your help last time. And I'm like, okay, these people you care so much about who I
know literally nothing
seen.
about.
And it's like, I don't know, like every route kind of has one of those, I think. I don't know so much about Black Eagles, but like, you know, Blue Lions has its Glenn. This character who is invisible but like very visible felt through all of the characters.
And of course, how can we forget the tragedy of Dusker?
Yeah, right. And then like Golden Deer kind of has Holst to a lesser degree. Like Hilda mentions him a lot, but like post time skip he gets brought up a lot from like a tactical standpoint. And you know, it's like there are various other characters who it's like, oh, Raphael has his sister. You know, who he's
and
like,
him and
trying to take
Ignaz
care
has a
of,
shared past of their merchant families and people died.
Right.
I'd say
and
that
it's
would
like
be.
I'm trying to think for Black Eagles.
For Black Eagles, it's like
The
a lot
it's
of
like their
them
parents.
have all of the characters' parents have relationships already that inform the characters' interactions.
Yeah.
Like everybody knows where they stand with each other based on what happened like in the war with Dagda and what's it called? The Conspiracy of the Seven?
The Black Eagles. Petra's grandfather.
The Insurrection of the Seven, yes.
Yeah.
Petra's grandfather is brought up fairly often.
Yeah.
At least
And then you
Petra.
also have like,
But we never
that's the
see
thing
him.
with like Petra's dad and Caspar's dad, and
Linhart's dad hate each
dad,
other.
and then
and
like
But we do
Hubert's
see
dad
Ferdinand's
and
dad.
Ferdinand's dad hate each other. I don't think we saw. I don't think we
Yeah,
see
we do.
him.
At the
Yeah,
coronation
no,
scene.
we see Ferdinand's dad in the coronation scene, yeah.
Oh, we do. I remember he was just being he was slimy.
He's just
as
like
fuck.
a bald fat guy with a bad mustache.
He's just there
he's
to
like
like
a
a
monk.
monk.
Ugly
Do you think
bastard.
that Ferdinand grew out his hair to flex on his dad, who's bald?
Oh,
Take that.
Dad, you lost your position as the prime minister. Well, check out these locks.
Yeah. Only the prime minister can have the best hair. Looks like you're out of the race. Goodbye.
Wild hair flipping.
Yeah.
But it's,
I love
right,
her.
but
So
it's
what do
like
you guys-
Yuri's Band of Thieves are really disconnected from everyone else because they're not linked into anyone's drama. They're not even linked into like any of the other Ashen Wolves' backstory or anything. It's not like, oh yeah, like those guys stole my. You know, I could definitely see like I don't know, Happy being like, oh yeah, like we nursed one of those guys back to health when he like wandered into our village in the forest or something like that.
Right.
You know, Constance being like, oh yeah, we chased those scum off of our territory after they tried to break in. You know, there's no like grounding point for him in terms of his like backstory. He's just like a mysterious drifter who's really hot, and he uses his hotness to do more mysterious drifting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will
This
see
actually
more
makes me want
when
to
I
play
play
the
more.
DLC even more, just so I can like see all this firsthand.
Yeah.
It's weird because I thought he was a fairly well realized character in the DLC when that like instinct of his goes towards like protecting the people of Abyss.
Yeah.
That's true.
But once you leave Abyss and it's like the DLC never happened, then he just like doesn't care about them anymore and has this like other group that we've never heard of before and that we never hear of aside from his like vague mentions of them.
Right.
Yeah, that's tough. It's tough to like make the two mesh to a degree because it's like,
whereas
you know,
in contrast, like Balthus has like tie-ins all over the Golden Deer.
Yeah.
Like Lysithia's parents like sheltered him for a little bit. He's like best friends with Hilda's brother and all this.
Yeah.
Like Constance knows everybody in the Empire already. Like she was childhood friends with Mercedes and Ferdinand and everything, and like the other people know about like the fall of House Nouvelle.
Right.
And like Happy was like kidnapped and experimented on by Cornelia, like the woman who becomes like the dictator of the kingdom.
She's so hot, though.
Yeah.
No.
You just say that because she's got big boobs, and that does not make her hot.
And evil eyes.
She has big titties.
Big titty and
big
evil
titties
eyes.
and a mean attitude. Yes.
It doesn't.
I don't know. That's not good enough for me.
Jack, you are a woman of taste, and I respect it.
Can we clip
yes.
Panic saying big titties and a mean attitude? I feel like that'll come in really handy.
As the editor, yes, I can clip that.
Big titties and a mean attitude. I will say my biggest beef with Ashen Wolves is that Aelfric's plot also has already been done in Fire Emblem before.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, really? Is it, let me guess, Sacred Stones?
Yeah, it's in Sacred Stones.
Yes, I was right.
Yes, it's in Sacred Stones. It's Orson, who is like, he's your, I'm trying to think of like the comparison in this game. Like, you don't really get like a pre-promoted unit early. I guess Catherine?
Yeah.
Like
when Catherine first shows up and kicks ass?
Yeah. So like, everyone, like, historically in Fire Emblem, you've always had, like, your lord, and then the lord starts with, like, a pre-promoted unit who's usually been a paladin.
Like
Ike gets Titania, Ellawood and Roy both get Marcus. I don't know what Marth's paladin
Awakening is Frederick. Oh,
Frederick.
Marth's is, he has a few, I think, because I played the first few chapters of Shadow Dragon, the DS remake. And there was a few of that.
Yes.
I forget their names, though, because they were so boring, but...
Yeah, right. The game does not have the best characters, but Orson is... So there are two lords in Sacred Stones, and Erica, they're twins. Erica has Seth, who kicks a ton of ass, and then Ephraim, her brother, has Orson, who is like... He's also like a kick-ass paladin unit. You get to use him for like your first couple missions when you play from Ephraim's side. But then it turns out that he's actually working for the enemy side, because the enemy side is like deep necromancy, and he wants to bring back his dead wife. So he ends up like turning in Ephraim and his like gang of cavaliers that have been hiding out in the woods doing like guerrilla raids, so that he can like get in cahoots with the necromancers and bring his wife back. And I thought, I don't know, just like the whole setup with him, even though he's not the most amazing character, was like, I don't know, I thought handled a lot better. So Fire Emblem, as I'm sure you all are vaguely aware, has this habit of like just reusing character archetypes from the past and like...
It's that Unraveled.
The knight,
Unraveled
like the female knight who's a Pegasus knight, and she's cool.
Right, like Ingrid is that. I don't know, they did break from tradition a little bit in this game in terms of that, which I do appreciate.
And then there's also the dark evil vizier or whatever, and that's Hubert.
Yeah, right. The weird, ominous, spooky man. Yeah,
and he's like in the shadows, and he's all like very evil looking and acts very evil. And
yeah, Gilbert is probably like the most straight comparison to like a Seth or a Titania, in that he's just like, you know, strong knightman, who seems sort of bland at first glance, but has but has lots of stuff going on underneath. So it was like the instant I saw Aelfric, I was like, okay, well, this guy's definitely up to no good. Look at that hair. It's so awful. He has to be a villain. And then, like, then the more they start talking about, like, your mom, I'm like, okay, he probably wants to bring your mom back from the dead, because this has happened before. People with bad hair bringing back their, like, dead loved ones. And then it happens, and I was like, okay, I don't know. I mean, in a vacuum...
But he turns into a sick boss fight.
It does, yeah, he does turn into a sick boss fight.
He does. I was petrified when I saw that, like, the whole area was red. I'm like, is he just gonna take everyone out in one hit? But then when he, like, rearranges everyone, I'm like, oh no, I can work with this. This is fine.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think it was fun from a story angle, but it's like, while Three Houses has done a reasonably good job at breaking from Fire Emblem tradition in terms of, like, yes, it's still about, like, noble drama and all of that. It broke away from a lot of the, like, story tropes. This one kind of just, like, went full back into it. And I was like, okay, well, I got 4 new characters out of this. That was worth it. But Loki, I don't know if I would pay this much money for, like, the story.
I would trade the 4 characters for more supports with the existing characters.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would probably take that trade, too, actually.
Like, yeah. I just want more supports from the existing characters I have. Like, the ones I was thinking about before of, like, you know, what is it, like, Bernadetta and Marianne trading, like, hiding spots. Like, you know, how to avoid people. Like, all these kind of, like, possibilities we can imagine that we'll probably see in fanfics, but we won't see in the game.
Right, totally. Yeah. Like, why doesn't, well, I guess you can interact with Dedue, actually, but it was like, I was surprised that Dedue doesn't interact with, like, Cyril or Petra as, like, other people who are not from Fodlan. And obviously, I don't want to be like... Yeah. I don't want to be like, yes, the brown people all have to talk to each other.
No, but like, it's cool. It's a cool perspective. And we got to see some of that, but it would be cool to see, like, that other perspective. Like, I'd love to see Dedue and Petra kind of talk about being accepted, but not really being accepted, Right. That would be something more interesting to talk about instead of just being like, because so much of their character is wrapped up in where they're from. But let's talk about, like, some real honest takes about how that has impacted them.
Yeah, totally. I would love to do Cyril, because I think they have really similar backstories.
Yeah.
In terms of, like...
Oh, yeah.
Like white savior.
Right.
Hero worship.
Speaking of doing Cyril...
Even if they have no character growth out of it, I would really like to hear them talk to each other on it.
Yeah.
Because Dedue, as, like, the older one, could probably give some very interesting advice to Cyril, who seems to be kind of following in Dedue's footsteps of, like, extremely devout loyalty to the person who saved his life.
Yeah.
And it's like, why didn't we get that?
Yeah, I would love to see all of these topics explored. And I feel like it wouldn't take that much. I mean, I know nothing about how to make these games or supports, but I will just take a shot in the dark and say it shouldn't take too much. So please make it happen.
It's probably more of a hassle to get the voice actors and everything than it would be.
They can do it on their own. We have Claude and Dorothea's voice actors, making YouTube videos together. They can make their own support. In fact, I will write it.
I wish he'd make less YouTube videos.
No, that's so mean. No.
No, it's because he likes to do things like Edelgard's a fascist, and then, like, all his fans are like, Edelgard's a fascist.
That's why this makes sense.
I want you for Golden Deer, and Edelgard is a fascist.
Yeah, I don't know. If he feels too memey, I'm like, it's like, I don't know. I don't like it. Sorry.
He does seem like a big meme.
But no, I do think that especially Joe Zige's, like, media presence has been kind of divisive for a lot of people. I've seen folks talk about it on Twitter. I mean, I think, I don't know, he's, like, the funny one in a game full of serious people. It makes sense that he would try and use that to, like, build a little bit of a social media following. Mm-hmm. It's, like, kind of a shallow grab, but I don't know. It feels very low-hanging fruit, so I don't bite, but,
Yeah.
I can respect the guy trying to build his career.
I haven't seen too much of him. I like the fan interaction. I like how they've built the English voice actors interacting so much with fans, fan artists, each other. I think that's really great.
I think it kind of depends, because then you have, like, the Dimitri voice actor, like, responding to thirst tweets about Dimitri, and it's like, no, go away, dude. This is not about you. This is about Dimitri.
Oh, really?
Right.
But how is he responding to them? Like, is he joking along with it, or is he, like,
I can't remember exactly, but he kind of, like, reacts as though they were thirsty. But
that's like his character, though. Like, he's probably playing along with it. I don't think he's actually like making moves. It still rubs me the wrong way. I think. Yeah. I mean, I think it's fine. It's just like, I think it's fun to see. I'm not defending that one specifically. I mean, it sounds fine, but I don't know the details. Yeah. But I like seeing something like Dorothea's voice actress retweeting a lot of Dorothea fan art.
Okay,
like, that's really cool to see.
That's good. I don't know. I guess it's just kind of like boundaries. Like, there are certain boundaries, and I feel like sometimes they're not entirely where they should be, but I don't know. That's just my opinion.
No, I agree. I think that definitely has been shown. I don't really follow a lot of those folks on social media, but I could definitely see it getting out of hand in a bad way if it hasn't already.
Yeah. Solution, you should all delete your social medias.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying it has gotten super bad. I don't know. I just kind of
I haven't seen any of it be bad, so I can only speak on what I've seen, and so far it's been really charming, so I appreciate it. But speaking about things we appreciate, let's kind of wrap up this 3-hour-long conversation on this 200-plus hour-long game, and just talk about...
Let's get to the stuff that people actually came here to hear.
Yeah, let's just talk about the real shit. Let's talk about our favorite characters, and who we romanced, and then who are the favorite ships. So we'll try and do, like... Don't list, like, 10, but try and make it, like, your actual favorites. Panic, let's go with you. I know you had this at the ready from the get-go.
All right. So, obviously, first playthrough, played as Gyleth, romanced Manuela. Of course. Mm-hmm. How could you not?
Of course.
Second,
that's why you got the game.
That's why I got the game. I had one goal in mind. A lot of other cute girls appeared along the way, but no, my heart was set.
You didn't lose your way.
Distract you.
You were not swayed from your righteous path of MILFs.
Romancing the lonely drunk MILF.
Someone needs to love her, and you are the man for the job.
Exactly. You had to be the love in her life.
Right.
It's very noble of you.
Second,
it's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
Second run through, girl Byleth, romance Cyril.
Oh, really?
We started off with the most interesting person first, and mine will be so much less interesting. But thank you, Panic. I appreciate you.
Why Cyril?
Because then he could get the big titty One-san be
because
Byleth.
then in that scenario, Byleth is the big titty teacher.
Yeah. Her boobs around the corner
This is when
before
we
she
learn
does.
about the inner working of Panic's mind. Let's go.
This is no secret.
If you can't date the big titty teacher, you must become the big titty teacher.
Exactly. Like, there's no other way to hook up with, like, self-insert hook up with female Byleth.
Can Manuela have a lesbian ending?
No.
No?
No.
No, and it's so terrible because she's like, oh, Professor,
If only
you
you were a
and I,
man.
like, please don't get married after this war.
Oh, right.
Like, let's just the two of us hang out single together. And it's like, no, you're so horny.
But she's got an ending with Dorothea, doesn't she?
Yeah, that's like...
Yeah, she does.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
And it's implied that they're romantic because it's like their household was filled with lots of love, and I'm like, oh yeah, they gay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on. Third
But you
playthrough.
can't.
Gyleth again. Wanted to go for Marianne. Last second, I was changed my mind and hooked up with Lysithea.
Interesting. Do you save her, though?
I do
you
think
save
we
her?
save her, yes.
Okay,
And
that's
you live
cool.
happily ever after as the king of Fodland, and you have this fucking murder wizard at your side. Murder gremlin. Just stuffing her face with cake while you rule the
As
queen.
she should.
As
More
well she
sweet,
should.
please.
So then after all that,
and-
who are your like favorite characters and then like favorite ships in general?
No, wait. I wanted to say, on my fourth playthrough, I'm not done
Oh,
with.
that's right, you did it.
I
for it.
have, of
I
course,
forgot.
put in the work, and I'm ready to romance Rhea. Gotta
Going
fucking
straight for
poke,
forgot.
dude.
I forgot you were on the last one.
Yeah. So right
Ben, I
before we
think
started
you-
recording, I looked up that scene because there's no way I could get to it in time. And it's okay. She kind of actually owns up to a lot of the wrong stuff she's done. Like, okay, yes, sure. I tried to use you to meet my mom again, and I kind of changed history and blah, blah, blah. But you know what? Now I want you to be king, and I'll just be by your side. All is fine.
It's like the Rhea apologist ending.
You know, I might have done a few things wrong, but we can smash now.
Yeah.
But
She
remember,
probably has
I
a
was
bit of a
sad
come
once.
to Jesus moment after she involuntarily transforms into a dragon and tries to kill everybody she knows.
Oh, hell yeah. But she gave you a
Yeah,
lap
that's probably
pillow
true.
once, dude.
That's true.
And sang you a song.
Incredible.
Incredible
Inspiring.
character. Yeah.
You're like,
so
wow,
those are the
big titties,
so-
lap pillow, 10 out of 10.
So I guess those are my 4 hookups.
I respect that immensely.
Respect.
Nice, thank you.
I can grudgingly respect that.
Yeah.
Well, I should mention that one of the first things that happened when Jack here joined my Discord was a parent.
No, we are not doing this. We are not
No.
doing this. No.
Okay, sure, I'll cut that out. Fine.
Alright,
But that-
is it my turn?
It's not the big.
Yeah.
I declared my turn. Unless Panic, you have more you want to say.
I guess not. No.
Any ships that aren't you plus MILF that you want to discuss?
Or Cyril plus Milf.
Or Cyril plus you as MILF?
I do appreciate Ferdinand and Dorothea.
Let's go, Panic.
That's a
Let's
good
go.
one, yeah.
Portrait
Squad.
of the hero as
And-
MILF.
Did you ask why? Or
No.
No.
no, because it's like it's pretty obvious.
If you want to know why, I'm curious. I mean, if you want us to know why you...
No. I
tell
thought
us
someone
why.
asked why.
No, I
wanna
said
know.
let's go.
I'm
No,
intrigued.
I think their supports are really sweet. They have this whole misunderstanding between them, and he was actually smitten by her. And yeah, I don't know. It's very classic. It's very romantic in a very classic
is.
sense.
It is romantic.
And it's very cute because it does a lot for his character. Like before you think he's just a scumbag, but he genuinely tries to get close to her and like work out their
And
misunderstanding.
she's
And
like,
he's like,
snarkily being kind of an asshole about it and giving cryptic
Yeah.
But I feel like
hints, and
from
he's
both
trying to
his
figure
other
out what the
supports-
fuck she means.
Yeah, I was really
B.
curious, so I looked it up actually. because I had to look it up before I got to the support because I'm like, what the fuck does she mean by
you called me a bee? You must mean that I'm a diligent worker. It's Ferdinand.
I love his misunderstandings.
Yes.
I don't think I've gotten one where Ingrid and Sylvain hook up, but I think they're a good couple too.
I support that as like her beating him into shape and being like, you know, and his reaction to her wearing makeup is so cute. Like, imagine Sylvain tongue-tied. Yeah. Like, can you imagine? Yeah. Oh my god!
Like, oh, but it's like not like it's sweet.
Yeah, I stand.
It's the like, oh no, she's hot, but in like a more endearing way.
Yeah.
Oh god, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are good picks, Panic.
What do I do around a woman I'm actually attracted to?
Yeah, right. He's like, oh, do I hit on her? No, but I can't do that. That's like insincere, Sylvain.
Fuck.
Hey, Ingrid, you look, good?
See, there's not really any more that's kind of coming to me right now. Those are like my two big ones.
Maybe we'll inspire you with our picks.
Yes,
I'll
just agree with every other.
Well, never mind. That was...
All right.
No.
Yeah. Let's go. Metal Rain. Shower us with your wisdom.
Okay, so
metal.
On my first playthrough, I romanced Petra. On my second playthrough, I actually picked the Sothis ending just because I was curious about what it would be.
That got added later, right? Or could you always do that?
No, it was always there.
Yeah, I think it was always there.
I could never pick it.
That's interesting. How is that?
I don't know.
I could never pick it.
Oh, you haven't gotten the Sothis ending?
I've never seen it.
No,
I think the thing to get it is you have to, like, in the dialogues with Sothis, you have to pick enough options that, like, she likes. So
but
it's
you
not
only get, like,
automatically
3 choices with her total in the game.
That's interesting. How does that work?
Because you can't give her gifts.
Yeah, but no, because sometimes in dialogue, you have the option when you're, like, talking with her.
No, I get that. Yeah. I just meant, how did the ending work out?
It was alright.
Because Sothis is gone.
What was happening. I thought for a second that she was like going to like manifest as a person, but that doesn't happen. So I don't know. She has some sweet things to say. It was kind of underwhelming.
So is it just like the masturbation?
It's literally
ending?
just you choosing yourself.
Yeah.
You give yourself a ring.
Pikachu.
I choose me.
No one is good enough. I pick myself.
I am my own girlfriend.
Yeah.
I'm never really into like the ships with the Avatar characters very much.
Yeah.
I'm like anything.
Yeah.
I'm much more about the like actual real characters hooking up.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel with like the Byleth ships can only be as good because she's so boring. He or she is so boring.
When I first beat it, I didn't even know that there was gonna be like a post credit. Everybody hooks up if they were close enough. So I was so happy to see this. Like, oh, all my kids. All my friends, they all got married.
It is really endearing.
I love seeing the other ships more than my own almost. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so who else? Well, did you only do the 2 or do you have more?
No, that's all the ones I've completed so far. But the good ships, the stuff I like.
The good ship.
So first off, the only acceptable Sylvain ship for me from now on is with Mercedes.
That one's so cute. I love
so
that
cute.
one.
It's so good.
It's so
like
cute.
Sylvain cries at the end.
Yeah,
like,
it's so cute.
How can you pick anything else?
Like, who can make Sylvain cry and be like genuine enough to do that? That's some
so
shit
cute.
right there.
Oh, did I get to mention my Sylvain joke of like Sylvain's character development is like these hoes ain't loyal club remix, and then by the end it's like these hoes ain't loyal sad piano version. Like that's Sylvain's.
I think that is actually the funniest thing you have ever said, Sean.
That's I have to mention the only good joke I've made. And I made it once and no one laughed, and then I made it again and you validated me and I was like, yes, I knew I hit with this.
I am funny.
The best Manuela ship, because Manuela has to get shipped to someone, is Ferdinand.
Ferdinand also good, yeah.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
It's really sweet. I love their paired ending because Manuela becomes the prime minister and Ferdinand is a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
That's if you do it in Crimson Flower. If you do it in Silver Snow, I don't remember exactly what happens if you do it in Silver Snow, but
I love any ending where Manuela gets to have some kids. She seems like she wants to be a mom so bad.
They do have kids, yeah.
That's cute.
I just love, like, from their C support, I knew it was meant to be, because it's like, It's basically like Ferdinand is like reciting poetry to her.
Oh my god.
She's like critiquing his poetry. You get the idea that this is kind of like a class or just like something they do a lot. And then he says something about like, she's like, all right, like you're free to go for the day. And he's like, but Professor Manuela, I can't leave now. We're finally alone. And she goes, oh, I suppose we are.
Looks like it's just the two of us, huh?
I love that Manuel immediately is just like, yeah, I'd hit that. Yeah, he's pretty cute.
But it's about how, like, when he was young, he saw her, like, performing at the opera, and he was, like, enraptured by her. And he comes back in the later ones, and he, like, recites, like, some of her parts, like, from the opera back to her, and they do,
it's
like,
really sweet.
Just the fencing parts
performance
and,
together.
yeah,
It's really good.
That's so cute. What the fuck? Aww.
So I think those two are probably my favorite. I think Shamir Cyril is a good one.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
I also like Shamir Dadu.
I love Shamir too.
Shamir pairs really well with other people who just like are super chill.
Yeah.
It's like I initially on my first playthrough was like, I'm gonna romance Shamir because she's the hottest character in the game. But
She's
then,
the hottest character I have ever seen.
Yeah. But then like all of her supports with Byleth are kind of like, yeah.
Well, because she has to talk.
Yeah,
And
right.
that's so not
She
Shamir.
has to carry the conversation, which she cannot do as a character.
Yeah, like, I think Dedue's supports with Byleth are way better at that, because you basically don't talk to Dedue. He's just like, in his A support, he's like, the flowers would be sad if you were not here.
Yeah.
I think that's really sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Linhardt
The
Bernadetta
flowers.
is a really good one.
Oh,
That is
really?
a cute one.
Yeah. Dimitri, I don't feel like there is any good ship with Dimitri in his own house.
Yeah.
In his own house, probably not.
Yeah, so I feel like I didn't actually do these supports, but after like listening to you talk about the Mia, I think I would ship him with Lysithea.
Interesting.
Marianne.
Or Marianne, yes.
Yeah, I was thinking
Yeah,
Marianne
yeah.
too, yeah.
Yeah.
I love Dimitri Marianne to death. Oh my god.
I also got, accidentally, on my Blue Lions playthrough, I got Petra Ash, which was better than I expected it to be.
That seems interesting, because they do have
yeah.
a support and all.
Petra basically, like, she goes back to become, like, Queen of Brigid, and then she, like, establishes an order of knights to, like, have an excuse for Ash to come join it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Aww.
It's
That's
really
kinda
cute.
sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love their A+, because they have a plus support. And, like, in that support, like, she's, like, as Petra is in all of her A support, she's like, Ash, come back to Brigid with me. It is excellent. You will love it. And he's like, I don't know, Petra. Like, that sounds great, but I want to be a knight. And she's like, do not worry. I am queen. If you want knights, I will make knights. Problem solved.
I will
And
be
he's like,
making
"Oh."
the knights.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, I mean, all right.
I think, last one, I like Felix Ingrid, but I feel weird about it because, like, it feels weird for Ingrid to go from Glenn to Felix.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was
I
thinking,
had
and
that
I didn't want to reinforce that, like, Felix is the second pick, even from Ingrid's, like,
Yeah, right.
betrothed status. Like,
Right.
yeah.
First my dad, now you.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
Can I see that list?
Yeah,
Thank you.
just to jog your memory.
Yeah, just to jog my memory.
There you go.
Felix has good
that's
supports
all
with
my
Dorothea.
favorites.
Are they a good pair?
Who?
Felix,
Who?
Dorothea? They have good
Yeah,
supports.
they're my go-to.
they're pretty good.
They're my
I
go-to.
am not a
like
stray
them.
cat, Felix.
I'm not a... I love that. Yeah, I guess. Do you want to go, Jack, or...
I guess I will. Obviously,
I wonder
Edelgard is my
who.
number one pick. But the other characters, I actually was kind of almost torn when I got to the Crimson Flower, and it's like, who do you want to spend the rest of your life with? I was like, oh, but Yaritza, he's so hot.
My ice cream.
The first
That's
Yaritza
just like
support,
him.
holy shit, I died laughing.
It is the funniest fucking thing I've ever read.
But yeah, I like the ones that I like the most, the characters are Edelgard, Yaritza, and Hubert. I also kind of wanted to marry Hubert, and then I also like Dorothea and Lysithea, and that's like 5, and that's like way too much. But those are like probably the ones I like the most.
Yeah.
Good picks.
Good picks. Mia, do you want to go? Do you want to go? I don't want to interrupt.
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, okay, so I've only done one playthrough. I'm close to done with my second playthrough. I married Dorothea as Gal Byleth because she comes on to you so hard as Gal Byleth, and I was like, man, this is hot, and I'm gay. I can't not do this. I was like,
she also male Byleth looks bad.
Also, no, male Byleth looks bad.
How dare you?
No,
I'm here for it.
I will say that, like, Gal Byleth has ridiculous anime titties. Like, I'm pretty sure they made them as 200%. Big as they could, so you could see them no matter what angle she was at in, like, cutscenes.
Like, when you turn a corner, you see her boobs before you see her face.
Yeah. And it's like, because you see her often at, like, backwards three-quarter view, and they needed to make the titties be big enough so that you could see them in that angle.
Someone went through the game files, like, the base model, how much... like the titty size of everybody, and I think female Byleth is like 200% from the base model, and Manuela is like 220.
Okay, but this also takes into account their height, so it's kind of relative, but still, she's still got
like Cynthia has no increase from post to.
She's got some serious
from pre to post, but her model gets bigger itself. So
right. This playthrough, I was going to also cave into lesbianism and marry Mercedes, but I got the Sylvain Mercedes A support, and I was like, I cannot separate these two. So now I'm not sure, like, do I just go for the cop-out ending and go for the Sothis ending, go for the Rhea ending?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do.
I don't know if Rhea ending is cop-out, because you got to put in a lot of work to get it.
You have to work hard.
You have to shower her in gifts before the time skip.
I got her to C in Golden Deer, and I think I got her to B, but I missed the timing of it. Like, I was too late. So then I just bought it. I bought up to C for like with the Renown New Game Plus thing. So then it was a lot easier for me to get B and A in Azure Moon.
Yeah, if you want to get it naturally, you literally do just have to like stand there
every
and throw flowers at her.
Yeah.
Here, another one.
You can also do tea time with her and
you can
do good tea time.
I have not done that since they
It didn't used to be that way, and I'm glad they added it because I think they realized, okay, it's kind of impossible for people to hang out with Rhea and get sport points up.
Still wonders being battle. Apparently, she has like battle voice lines.
Yeah, Sothis does too, and it's really funny because Sothis still has her chair attached to her model.
So really?
So when they hack it and use her in battle,
it's just
her chair is
sliding around.
It's a super tall chair, so it's just like swinging around. Like, it's hilarious.
The best thing about Rhea is in the faculty training, she can teach you fists.
Yeah.
She's a
like. Did you see the opening cutscene? She was totally beaten on Nemesis.
She was
that's true. That's a good point. That is true. She is brutal in battle.
Something interesting I think about that is that the Enlightened One class, it's like brawling and swords and faith, which is kind of like Rhea.
Like what Rhea does.
Yeah. Like So I just thought that was interesting.
That's interesting. Cool. Yeah, that is a cool observation.
Anyway, go on, Mia.
Yes, as for ships that I really liked, so I've already waxed a lot about Dimitri Marianne, huge fan. Who else have I said that I'm really into? Claude Petra, I really like.
Oh, they're cute.
I really like Claude Petra, mostly because their first two sports are incredibly stupid. Like, it's literally like Claude goes to take a nap under a tree, and he's like, oh, this is the life. And then there's like a thud right next to him. He like startles awake. And then like it's Petra jumping out of the tree. And she's like, Claude, what are you doing sleeping on the ground? And he's like, I'm taking a nap. And she's like, no, you must sleep in the trees or else you will be attacked by wild animals. It is safest, trust me. And he's like, but how do you get up in the tree without losing the sleepies? And then in their B support, like, Petra is just, like, walking through the same, like, forest section of map, and then Claude's like, hey, Petra. And then Petra's like, Claude, how did you get up in the tree? I thought you were not very good at climbing. And then Claude, like, jumps down from the tree, and he's like, yeah, you see, I'm not. I spent 30 minutes trying to shoot a rope tied to an arrow over this tree branch. Because I figured you'd come by eventually, and then I could say, hey, Petra. It's like, and then in the A support they actually have like a nice conversation. I think two of my like big MVP ships, Lysithea Cyril. I'm a huge fan of Lysithea Cyril. It's like one of the sweeter supports in the game because Cyril reveals that he doesn't actually know how to read.
Oh, that's right.
That no one ever taught him how to read.
And that's why when you get the notes from him in the box in the church, they're just
pictures.
like pictures, the scribbles of things.
Yeah,
because he comes to her with like a shopping list and is like, help.
Yeah, he's like, look, Lysithea, you're smart. And they like establish this relationship where they do that, and she teaches him how to read, and then like in the last support, he writes this really like stilted but very sweet letter to Lysithea, in like really messy handwriting, and then at the end, he says like I've like really enjoyed getting to know you. It makes me bappy. And she's like, and she just like starts like crying a little. She's like, bappy. And then Cyril walks up and he's like, oh, hey, Lysithea. And she's like, Cyril, it makes me bappy too. And he's like, what are you talking about? And it's like big cute. I really dig that support.
That is cute.
That sounds super cute.
Felix Bernadetta, surprise left field ship that I just saw someone draw fan art of on Twitter, and I was like, I'm intrigued. What do you know that I don't know?
In real life, which is cool.
They're actually pretty popular shit.
That's good, because, I don't know, I really enjoyed it. It's like...
They're cute.
The whole time Felix is trying to get Bernadetta to, like... I think in their first support, he goes up to her... Yeah, he startles her.
And she, like, flails and disarms him.
Yeah, she panic disarms him, and he's like, what the fuck did you just do? Like, that was amazing. And then the rest of the supports, he spends trying to, like, shadow Bernadetta and figure out how she did that so that he can use it in battle. And then, like, he finally does, and he's like, I see. There's a moment where you flail your arms like a wild animal. And you just clip their sword. It's genius. She's like, what? Why are you smiling? That's weird. Stop that. I really also have to give a big shout out to Flame Raphael, one of the funniest supports in the game. Very cute. And of course, Shamir Catherine.
Yes, I was about to mention, how do we feel about them? Because I love it.
I actually am not really into them.
Really? I'm curious what your takes are.
Jack is a Catherine
hater
love him
because
Catherine likes Rhea.
I don't like
Catherine likes Rhea? Oh, okay.
I feel like this is kind of like embedded in my own history, but I feel like I had a Catherine once, and Shamir deserves better because I deserved better than that.
But I feel like they come to an understanding, and they're like old mercenary comrades, and it's like, you know what, why not just stick together, you know?
I don't like hate it, the shit, but like I'm also like really not into it.
Yeah,
I
it just gives me
that.
To their credit,
I don't like it.
Yeah, to their credit, they have one of the funniest moments in the game, which is
absolutely my favorite moment in the entire game.
You start one of their supports, and they're like sitting next to each other, and Catherine says, "Hey," and Shamir goes,
"We don't need to have this conversation."
That's funny.
Sums.
Yeah, I plan on getting their supports to see what they are. Like, I plan on getting all the supports ever between everybody. Yes.
I wish you the best of luck. That will be an
That's many.
Yeah.
I have it all mapped out. I have a spreadsheet.
Wow.
Oh, I'm excited to hear how that goes.
You should share that spreadsheet.
Yeah, you should, actually.
I'll post it right here. No.
We can all go full optimal. Yeah, and I haven't played Black Eagle, so I don't really know. I'm interested in Edelgard and Lysithea's support.
Yes, their support chain is really good.
Yeah,
I'm really into it.
I've got to imagine.
Oh, I forgot to say all my supports. But basically, I ship Edelgard with, like, everybody.
Really?
Like I counted the other day, and there's, like, 7 ships of Edelgard that I'm like, yes, I like this, I will seek this content out. And then there's, like, another 7 that I'm like, yeah, I can dig this.
Nice. I respect that you're not like, Edelgard is only mine and only Byleth. It's like, no. Everyone deserves a little Edelgard in their lives.
Yeah.
Do you
I just
also
want to see your
support...
character from all the angles, you know? Like,
do you also support Edelgard Hubert?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's not super healthy. He's like worshipping her her entire life. And then in their A support, he's like, I'm in love with someone. And she's like, oh, really? Who? It's you, Lady Edelgard.
See, I just want to clip of Panic doing all the voices.
I just want to say that.
I would like that, except for in the Hubert Dorothea supports, where she's like, "You're totally in love with Edelgard. Don't deny it. I know it's true."
Nuh-uh.
He's like, "You fool! Your simple mind can't possibly comprehend the feelings of loyalty I have to her."
It is so much more.
What I think it is. What I think
so
that
much
is.
more. Yeah, it's like I just want that to be true, so he can't actually love her.
Okay, but my theory is that he
That's
like
incredible.
he like told Edelgard he loved her, so that way she'd get off his back and stop bugging him.
Oh, I do like that.
Oh, that's cute.
But, and then
that's cute.
But then he does. I think eventually in their paired ending, he does love her, but like it's slow. But like, yeah. But when he says that in their A support, it's like to get her off his back.
That's a good idea. That seems in character. Yeah, I'm very not for. Well, I guess the A support with Dimitri and Dedue. I was gonna say similar, like vassal servant thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But they kind of work some stuff out.
Yeah.
I really just like saying Doug Dimmadue because everyone says Dimmadue for the thing. I'm like, yeah, Doug Dimmadue.
I love that. That's silly.
That's good.
We support.
Did we ever... Yeah. We never got to an observation I made once. I told Shah, and it was the funniest thing she's ever heard, I guess. That
is,
Edelgard is an incel.
Oh my god! Wait, what? No, you said she's a school shooter.
Yeah, she writes a manifesto. She wants to change society, and she literally shoots up the school.
She does not literally shoot up the school because she doesn't have guns,
but she brings an army.
There are bows.
Yeah.
There's bows and magic.
Magic and axes.
Yeah, that was really funny.
Wow. That's dark.
Yeah,
that's dark, but not wrong. I feel that. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, I guess
Shah,
it's my.
What are your faves? Let's get this over with.
Save the most boring for last. I don't.
No, it's okay.
Felix and me.
No, I would not. Oh my god, could you imagine? That would be like. I have this thing where a lot of the characters I like all have these like cat like personalities, but it would be like if I said hi to them, they'd tell me to fuck off, and I'd be like, "Yep, okay, I respect that. Let's go."
I respect that, and I love
you're
you.
not a Felix fan. I would totally think you to be a Felix lover.
Oh, I am a Felix fan. I just wouldn't ship him with me.
That's fair.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like shipping, like, a lot of the characters I love, I don't, like, ship them with myself. Like, even with Violet, I don't, like, view, like, in reality, I would have nothing in common with them and not get along. I just, like, you know, in this fictional setting, I admire them and find them attractive. So, I mean...
totally find Edelgard and Dorothea totally attractive. And I feel like Edelgard would be out of my league, but Dorothea, she might be okay with me.
Wait a minute, that's a slay. You're a broke ass bitch. I can hang with you.
No,
I was like, wait a minute. I understood the backhanded compliment in that sentence. I'm sure they would both love you.
Aw, thank you.
I got you.
I'll just have to believe that.
Edelgard would be like, let's take down the Mormon church together.
And I would...
My queen.
Yes.
My liege.
I would be a new Hubert.
You'd be the Hubert, yes.
Get down on a knee, kiss her hand. Do the night thing.
So I've like romanced, I'm like 2.5 routes done, and I've just done like the female Byleth with Edelgard and then female Byleth with Dimitri, because I feel like in each route it makes the most sense to just go with the house leader, and it's my one chance.
You're going to be ruling side by side anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I like seeing the other ships that pop up from my forced interactions, and besides the ones that we've mentioned, I really like Felix and Dorothea, my king and queen, because they have such a weird, like, dynamic of him trying to ignore her and her trying to get him to pay attention to her. And, like, you know, they both kind of call each other out an appropriate amount, and I like the different paired endings they have, even the ones in Azure Moon, but also the one, I think, in, like, Crimson Flower, where he's, like, a traveling mercenary, and he runs into her while she's singing, and they have the, like, oh, she sings only for him. Super cute.
Yeah, that's...
That's cute.
I didn't realize Crimson Flower people had different paired endings, but I guess it makes sense because, like, the whole...
Yeah,
it's so different.
Because he gives up his house, so he can't own his house anymore.
Right, so like, the context of society is so different at the end of Crimson Flower.
Yeah, so I think that's it. And then we talked more... I think we mentioned some of my other ones, like, I like Dorothy and Ferdinand. I like Sylvain with either Mercedes or Ingrid. I think both are good. Him and Dorothea, too, because they call each other out on their shit. But And I could definitely see Hilda and Claude, despite her racism, they have a cool dynamic.
This is something new. Like I just learned that Hilda is a huge racist.
I just learned it too. I'm like, why are my queens racist? What is this?
Yeah, Hilda's canceled. Sorry, guys. You can't like her anymore.
Hilda's
okay.
over party.
I still love Hilda, even though she's canceled.
Yeah. So hopefully Claude can teach her more about not being a racist. One could hope.
Yeah, one could hope.
Yeah, so I like those. I like a bunch of the different ships. And I don't know. Those are the ones that come to mind. I haven't heard you guys mention any bad ships, so I would say, like,
I don't like Edelgard Hubert.
Okay.
I mean, that's not, like, I mean, I kind of disagree, but, like, I'm not gonna, like, begrudge you that.
I don't feel strongly about them.
Do we want to do, like, lightning round, least favorite ship?
I don't really know if I have one.
Well, I don't know if You already know my opinion on Catherine and Shamir. I don't think it's, like, the worst, but it's my negative opinion on them.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
She's so hot, though.
I don't know if I have, a negative opinion on this ship. Oh, sorry, I interrupted.
I was just gonna say, but, like, Shamir deserves better.
I love Shamir. No. I think you're valid. Catherine seems like a highly irresponsible partner. Like, a fun one, yes, maybe for a fling, but, long term, I don't know. Fighting buddies, yes, but,
She basically just assaults
I haven't gotten to their full supports. We will see.
But what were you
I haven't gotten to so many. So I don't know if I dislike this ship. I just don't feel like... I feel like it's more popular than it should be. And maybe that's the overrated ship, so to speak. Because none of them are really that bad. But I don't really see the appeal of, like, Dorothea and Petra, like, based on their interactions that much. Like, I think they're fine, but I don't think they really have a certain chemistry to them, which I've seen other
girl
people...
boss energy.
Yeah.
Like, I just remembered two ships that I do hate. But it's more paired endings because Hanneman has paired endings that are romantic with Dorothea and Edelgard, and he has kids with Dorothea in their ending. And I'm like, no.
Wait,
nope,
hold up. Here's the thing I'm wondering. Does Hanneman and Manuela have an ending?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
They're cute. I stand.
I actually, I don't think I would, like, pair them together, definitely, but I do like the Hanneman-Dorothea supports.
Yeah, but, like...
Because she's like, so you were a noble and you renounced it.
And you just chose not to be. Yes, that's right. Wait, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
You can do that?
Cool, actually.
Yeah. But so what ships do you guys not like?
I think...
There's not many.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Lauren's anyone.
I had one where
Jack
Lawrence
informed me
and Hilda
that Lawrence has
together.
stans.
Okay.
Yeah, I once got blocked by a Lawrence stan on Twitter because I pointed out that her reading of Ferdinand was entirely wrong. Because she thought that Ferdinand, like, wanted to steal Edelgard's throne, and I was like, that's not what he wants at all, right? And she argued with me, and then I got blocked.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's like, that's factually incorrect, but go off, queen.
I know a Lauren stan who actually cosplayed Lawrence. She's like that. She's like that deep. Her cosplay of Lawrence is very good. Post-time skip, obviously, because you have to be hot Lawrence.
There's so many, so many of the post-time skip, like, armor designs are so great. I love them.
Yeah. The armor designs are really good.
It's true.
Yeah.
I will say that I don't love the Raphael Ignatz paired ending because I wanted it to be sweet them being pals even if they don't get to be gay. Like I wasn't reaching for that much.
They barely interact in their paired ending.
Don't they just become
what
merchants?
happens in their paired ending is that it's like Ignatz and I think it was like Ignatz went off for a while and it was like after Raphael's sister grew up. And then, one day, after many years, Ignatz returned to his hometown with his new wife, Raphael's sister.
Damn.
Their families became, very close, and, they were, whatever. It's just, weird ending where it's, the two of them were really close, so I banged your sister.
Ending, but
Bro,
not
it just
really
reminded
paired.
me, Ignatz and Petra, their supports are great.
Oh, they
all
have
the stuff
really
with the
great
glasses.
Support,
and she tries them on and they change the icon.
Right, yes.
It's all very cute. But I think he's probably...
also has good support.
Ignatz is probably pretty good with Flame, right?
I need to get the rest of those. I really need to.
I think him and Flame are kind of cute.
Yeah.
And his Flame supports are really good.
His Flame supports are very good, yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
has great supports
for a
with just
character
about
I
anyone.
super don't care about at all. I like a surprisingly large number of his supports.
Yeah.
I think the only character people unanimously don't really give a shit about.
No, I
feel
love
like
Ash.
I feel
Ash
like
is cute, but I feel that.
We've
I
hardly
feel
been
like Gilbert
talked about
kind of fits
Ash.
that more.
Yeah, but what else can you say?
Yeah, Gilbert, I think, is more of that.
I like Gilbert more than Ash.
I don't really
Really?
count Gilbert
I mean,
as like a main cast kind of guy.
Boomers, get
right.
out.
The thing is, the reason I don't
Animal
like Gilbert is just
main
because
cast Boomer.
it's just because sifting through his stuff is so miserable.
Yeah, right.
And it's
that's
like,
true.
Yeah.
I respect the character. I think it's handled very well. It's just like, for me, Ash fills a really important role in Blue Lions by being the one who refuses to be miserable through all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, he has, like, his Catherine supports, and he has moments where he, like, goes through some hardships with his Lonato stuff and all of that. But I think the fact that he is kind of able to be a relatively, like, normal grounding presence for a lot of the Blue Lions is pretty important. Mm-hmm. I don't know. He just, like, breaks up the muck of, like, really deep shit that all of them are constantly stewing in.
But his post-time skip haircut, I hate it.
Isn't it just his same haircut with one side push behind his ear?
It's weird. It's like one of those ones
weird.
that
I don't
doesn't
know.
really
It's
make
like-
sense because it's
remember
going in two
feeling-
directions
It's a
at
comb
once.
over sort of thing. I don't know. I don't like it.
Oh, it's like a comb
It's like
over,
a
isn't
comb
it?
over, but then the bit under the comb over is going the other way.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
If you want to
I
end on
never
a
actually
bombshell,
noticed that.
I kind of don't like Felix's post-time skip hair.
It's miserable.
It's
why I
combed
wanted
in
to
like
ask that
4
about it.
different directions.
Yeah.
I like it, but I'm not sure which one I like or dislike more. Like,
Yeah.
pre or post. I think they're both around the same tier.
My
think
friend and I
they're-
tried to
like a
he has
spiral.
long hair, and I tried to parse out the Felix haircut with him once, like in
It's
person.
impossible.
And it was actually impossible.
It's like a
We couldn't
Mobius
figure out how to
strip.
make
It just
work.
never ends.
It's weirdly high maintenance for someone who you'd imagine would, like, throw it in a ponytail and just go train. Like, why would he
would do the
intricate?
Dimitri ponytail.
Totally.
Or
Totally.
Yeah, the Dimitri's
Right.
ponytail should be universal.
should just be
Right.
available on everybody, yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
how about this galaxy brain idea? Man bun Felix.
Yes.
Isn't that his
Interesting.
pre-time skip design?
It's
I always
essentially.
got
ponytail,
man bun
sort of.
vibes.
I think it's a ponytail.
I'm talking like the sort of like trendy hipster guy bun.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Asahi and Haikyuu bun.
I
Yeah.
haven't seen Haikyuu.
More
it's a
facial
good-
hair for guys in this game.
More facial hair.
I think we could
I don't
do
know.
with
I
some
saw
more
Claude's
facial
facial hair, and I'm like, I don't think we need more of that.
I
hair. Oh yeah, I
want,
guess the
like-
facial
I
hair
want
would
I
be
don't know.
Ferdinand
I feel
to
like
have
not very
a
good.
big ol' mustache.
What if
No.
what if
Yeah,
Lauren
Ferdinand
Ferdinand definitely should have come back with a mustache.
Oh, that would have
If
been
Dimitri
sick.
wasn't taking
fucking
care of
thing.
himself during the time skip, then why is he still like all smooth?
Yeah,
Yeah, why is he clean
Shouldn't he have
shaven?
a big old beard?
He's
Yeah.
traumatized himself out of growing hair on his face.
He
had to live with his
He
dad.
borrowed Hubert's straight racer.
Everybody should just have like a 5 o'clock shadow, but just the punish Dimitri, it punished everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do
Who,
we?
who could really benefit from
Who could benefit from facial hair? This will be our last thing, and then we'll
Cyril,
wrap up.
Cyril should come back with a full-on big ass
I
beard.
think like Raphael could rock a cool beard.
He's
Yes.
got the...
Maybe
it would be better
Caspar.
than the mutton chops
Caspar
he has
too,
now.
yeah.
It should be a full beard.
Didou could
Caspar.
have like
Caspar seems like
a
the
nice
kind of guy who'd
beard.
grow a goatee just
I feel
because
like
it's
to
cool.
do
Yeah.
make it work.
Yeah, because Didou has the like really stern sort of like strong jawline. I think
Yeah.
like a sort of clean, imagine like a clean silver beard on that handsome face.
Balthus should go like
damn.
full beard.
Absolutely, like
Balthus should have like a beard that comes all the way down to like the bottom.
No,
of
he
his
should have
V-neck.
mutton chops. He should have the mustache that connects to the sideburns.
oh my god,
Connects to mutton chops and doesn't go around the chin.
that would be so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, Eloise has good facial hair.
Eloise has good.
Eloise
Yeah.
and Hanneman.
So does Seth.
We didn't even
Seth
talk
has
about
facial
Eloise,
hair.
the pun father of them all.
We didn't talk about Eloise at all.
Eloise is sweet.
I
He's
like
one of the
Eloise.
more ignorable characters in the game, but I
Yes.
do like his
I never
supports
used
with Byleth.
I hated
Yeah.
him originally because he was annoying, but I've kind of warmed up to him now. And
He
I'm like,
is
okay,
just
he's
dad
not
jokes,
bad.
the character. Amazing he
Yeah,
didn't die.
right.
Maybe the third dad.
Yeah. Right, he talks about his wife and everything. Like you would think, oh man, this guy's super dead.
Yeah.
All right, well, on that
Yeah.
dad note,
Not on that dad note, we
Speaking of
saved
dead.
one. Yeah. So we've had a long discussion. It's been really fun. No hands were thrown, and I'm proud of us all. We did good. Had a very balanced discussion. I hope others can do the same without calling Edelgard and Dimitri Nazis, or I don't even know what Dimitri's called besides
Fascist.
Smelly. People call him Smelly.
Smelly. Yeah,
Smelly.
I love
forget
it.
that I've seen people call Dimitri.
He's definitely smelly.
He's canonically smelly.
I saw Dimitri in the post-time skip cutscene, and I was like, this man hasn't showered in 5 years.
No, but he somehow got this badass armor and manages to keep it.
You know what's funny? He actually has a battalion, a special battalion when you get him again. So it's like he was like alone, but he's got this whole battalion with him. So it's kind of funny.
That is funny.
That's true.
I don't. That's interesting, right? Because he has wave
Maybe he
attack,
tells
which is
them all to
fucking
keep
busted.
the distance.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you're with me, but you're not with me.
Yeah, right. They're like, oh man, we still really love and appreciate His Highness, but we're not going in there.
Man,
Yeah.
he
He's
smells.
gonna take one look at us and be like,
His Highness is
"Are
quite
you
stinky."
Imperial spies?" And then just rip our
Are you
heads
more
off.
ghosts to haunt my every...
Yeah. Yeah, so I had a great time. I hope you guys had fun. I'm so
Yeah,
glad that
this is
everyone...
great.
Yeah.
This was great. So thank you to Sinris, Mimi, Jack, and Panic. And thank you to everyone who listened in. Please let us know if we didn't cover something. If you want to share your thoughts, please leave them in the comments. Please let us know more Fire Emblem thoughts you have, who your favorites are, which is your favorite route. And if you'd like to hear us talk about more video games in the future, let us know. Otherwise, please subscribe to us on YouTube and check us out on iTunes and Spotify.
Yeah. And let me plug real quick. Me and I
Yes.
have our own podcast for the Type Moon universe. So, like, mostly the Fate series, obviously, but then also all of the other works of Kanoko Nasu. It's called The Magic Circuit.
We haven't done an episode in like 100 years, but that's mostly because my life kind of like imploded and then caught on fire. I had a real rough time, so we haven't done an episode in a while. But
we've got
promise-
a nice backlog you can check out now, and there will be more stuff coming in the not too distant future.
Yes, once I get my mic out of storage, we promise we'll be making more content. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play Music, Pocket Casts, also
All sorts of places.
Yeah, you can find us in a lot of places.
I don't mind taking a
SoundCloud.
look at Sinris' background.
SoundCloud, we're on SoundCloud. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. It's called The Magic Circuit. Twitter, the-magic
Circuit.
Please check it out.
Thank you for doing the social media plug.
Yeah.
Yeah, please check them out and social distance with us with more content in the future. So I hope everyone stays safe, stay healthy, and stay home and play some Fire Emblem.
Hell yeah.
Or Animal Crossing.
Or Animal
Animal
Crossing.
Mostly
Crossing.
Fire Emblem.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Playing.
Have a good night.